Just for Alan, we're going to turn the mics in. He said the silence is so loud. What do you think this operates on its own?
He getting real fresh now.
Yeah, he's getting real fresh. He went to one final bout. He thinks he's cool. Welcome, everybody, to the Faction After Hours podcast. We have another guest. I feel like they're always guests. We haven't had a normal one in a while, but I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
We have JP, one of the most, I feel like, I personally, every time I see an engine that's an SR, I'm like, JP probably built that.
Yeah, for right now, definitely.
Would you say that is, I don't know. You said you like to stay humble, so you can say what you want, but I feel like you're definitely one of the more reputable engine builders, specifically in the SR20 realm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely take a lot of pride in what I do, and I always strive to shoot for the best.
Yeah.
So I never cut corners. Everything has to be done better than my own standard, better than my own personal work. So far, everything has worked out great, and everybody's been super happy. So it definitely boosts my confidence. I can say that I can do really good work and stuff.
Yeah.
So over time, it's definitely been nice. Like mostly like our friends have been supporting us. So
That's like the same mentality we had too when we started. It was
I feel like you guys both, when we visited where you do your work, which if you haven't checked that video out, it's on the YouTube channel, the Faction YouTube channel. But when we went there and you guys were talking, I was like, what the fuck are they even talking about now? Like, I don't even know what the hell is going on.
But I mean, like he said, like he does things like better than his own standard. Like,
Yeah.
Or like up to his standard. Or like, for example, if you were going to work on your own car or something like that, and you were working on your own engine, you'd do the same things that you're going to do to a customer engine.
Yeah.
Or if not better.
if not better, yeah. I could take chances with my own engine
Yeah.
because if something happens, it's on my own. Like I'll be mad at myself. Be like, all right, whatever. I took that chance using that bad part that I knew was probably gonna be bad.
Yeah.
But with a customer, I'm never gonna be like, oh, like let's it fly or something. Because like I know if something bad happens, that customer's gonna be so upset, and I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that they're as happy as I am.
I mean, that's our mentality too. I mean, my mentality is like I would rather spend the money, whatever it is, spend the time, than have one person out there talking shit about something that went wrong. You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
It's like, dude, customer service and like reputation is way more important than making money.
Google reviews. No, I'm just kidding.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's way more important to me than making money. So it's like the same mentality.
Yeah.
And with engine work, it's like you got to be real anal with engine work. I feel like because like one thing.
Absolutely.
That shit could snowball.
Absolutely. It's not like a paint job where it's just like you deal with some orange peel and it's whatever. If you miss like the valve lash, then you're cooking a valve on the track or something. And that's gonna ruin somebody's day. Like that.
Yeah. Or like something with a bearing and then clearances weren't right.
Absolutely.
Now the crankshaft's fucked. Now you gotta take everything apart again.
And to a lot of people, what you do is not something that like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just learn this shit in my garage and cop me one of these. I don't fucking know what you used to.
Yeah.
Like,
buy a CNC machine.
let me just buy a CNC machine and I'll just do this in my backyard. Like, no, you can't. So it's like, people trust you is what I'm kind of getting.
Yeah,
at.
I mean, it's like paint shops, fabricators. I'm thinking like roll cages, and machine shops. Those are like the three things that most people that build their own cars are like not capable of doing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
like I wouldn't personally trust a cage that I built
Exactly
for myself. You're bugging.
You don't think that would work out?
I don't think
Absolutely.
so.
And the wiring too. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
I just got a new chassis harness for one of my spare cars because I just did not want to deal with harnesses.
I was going to ask you about that. So that company is what? It's called Chassis Harness?
Chassis harness, yeah.
Okay.
So they're not S chassis specific. He's more of a E36 guy, BMW. So he ventured into the S chassis world.
Yeah, because I was watching your story and I was like, oh, okay. Because, we used to make those, but, it's probably like 4 years ago now.
The Hoytsma harness.
Yeah,
I didn't even know
4
who
years
that was
ago.
when I first saw that on the.
Dude, there's such a
pages.
market for that, though.
There is,
know?
yeah, absolutely. And it's growing because these cars are getting old. The harnesses are getting brittle. And I'll pay anybody that's good with wiring to give me the quality product because it's just like I said, like my engine.
I was going to say, that's how people feel about your engine work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like they're watching the stories. I mean, I'll tell you how I knew you for a long time, but I didn't I don't think we really met until I brought that engine over there.
Yeah, I don't think I knew of you through social media and like I've gone to English Town a couple times and stuff, but like I never actually formally met you up until that time.
And then I saw you like start doing more and more machine work, and like I'd watch the stories, and I'd learn a lot too while watching them. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then I think my engine blew up then, and then I was like, oh fuck, like I'm gonna have to send this out. Who am I gonna send it to? I was like, well, JP. Honestly, this is my first thought. I was like, well, JP works on SRs. I was like, I don't know how much experience he has because I know I saw you like just started doing that stuff, and I was like iffy. But then I was like, at the end of the day, this guy cares about what he's doing. It's like very obvious that you care about what you're doing. So I was like, let me take a chance. And then I sent everything to you. You gave me my engine back. You built engines for our customers, and everything's been going well so far. And I was like, all right, cool. So I went off of you literally based off of like your passion and how much you were like explaining to people on Instagram and stuff like that.
I appreciate that, and I remember you mentioning that when you brought it because I was like, dude, like thank you for trusting me with your build. Your extremely expensive HKS entire setup.
Yeah.
Because that's like you could have gone to MassWorks, you could have gone to anywhere else, big names, because that's what I did back before I did my own stuff.
Yeah.
I trusted the big names because I was like, I want the best of the best. There was nobody else doing it, but if I knew that there was somebody doing this and being as transparent with it as I am, and the work proves itself. Like my car runs perfect. Everybody else's cars that we've done runs perfect. So why not give them a shot?
Yeah. That's what it was.
How long have you been doing what you're doing now?
So,
or like just, I mean, I guess, how'd you get into this? Like specifically, I guess like engine building.
So it starts way back, like in high school.
Take it way back.
Yeah.
Like we'll take it way back. Like I feel like I'm a boomer. Like I'm 32.
Yeah, I'm
That's
32. I'm 32 as well.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, that's why I feel like I relate to Frankie.
This is the grown-up table. Okay. So
all
you
right.
guys can hang out over there.
All right. We got our fancy drinks and stuff over here.
Yeah.
What you got?
The
Water
new-
wetter.
You got that new age
we gotta
shit.
stay
Water wetter.
hydrated.
Yeah, we got water. We're healthy.
But so you were in high school. Would you have like a machine shop or something like that in high school? We had one, but it sucked. Like no one ever was
Oh my
wanted
God.
to take that.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
No, we had absolutely no machine shop. We had a wood shop. We had a wood lathe. That was the
Okay.
closest thing to a machine shop that we had, and it scared me. I didn't want to do the lathe projects because I was always in fear that the wood was gonna come and hit me in the face.
I was gonna say, you ever have a kid like lose a finger or something in wood class? Because I had that happen.
What?
Yeah. I forget his name, but
It was Frankie Bovino.
dude, he got fingers missing and shit. I was like,
What was it?
I'm
The
not gonna
table
take
saw?
wood class.
Was it the table saw?
probably. I
They
don't
probably
remember.
didn't use the like. You know how they give you wood? They're like when you don't feel comfortable, just take the wood and you push that through.
Dude.
They definitely didn't do that.
I was like, fuck that class. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So
God damn it.
high school didn't have any car. They had an auto mechanics class.
That's good.
Which I took because I took the wood class like 3 times in a row and I couldn't really do that. So I needed an extra credit. And I was like, you know what? Like, I think I want to get into cars.
Okay.
So
that was the first mistake. All right, let's see how this goes.
yeah, that's where I went. Back then, I wanted to be an airline pilot. That was like
Okay, that's kinda sick.
That was my career path.
Why do I feel like I could?
Yeah, I could see that too.
Can
Yeah.
Can you cut to the camera of Jake? Look at him.
Look at him. Yeah. This is your pilot speaking. Like, yeah, I feel like.
Yeah, no, that aviation. I don't know. I feel like I have a thing for machines.
Yeah, me too. I like planes. All right.
Oh yeah. So
Only warbirds. All right, that's it. I don't fuck with any like
No
Boeing
Boeings.
757. I
Yeah.
don't.
That's
fuck
funny that you say you like machines and planes and stuff because I feel like that takes a certain level of like detail too. Like airplane mechanics are crazy. Like
Yeah, they can't
the
fuck up,
tolerances
man.
on an airplane is a lot tighter than it is on a car.
absolutely, and that's actually where I learned what I can say I know now. It was because, like I said, I went to high school, took the auto class, which was just reading books. We took a lawnmower engine apart. We put it back together.
oh, I did. Yeah, we did
And
that.
that was it didn't fire up. I didn't even know if it was gonna work. I just took it apart, put it back together, and that was it.
Wait, they didn't make you start it back up?
No,
Oh,
no.
they made it make sure that
Yeah,
shit
it
turned
was
on.
just like put it back together, and that was grade A. Like the teacher was just like, you know what, just don't care. Like he's probably getting laid off the next year. I think they cut the auto program for that. So, but one moment that like really struck to me in high school was one of the technical schools in Connecticut owned a R34 GTR and an NSX.
Wait, what?
So
What?
it's a crazy story how they own those cars. Mind you, this is like early 2000s, so like the car was still relatively new,
Yeah.
super new, and I didn't know what a GTR was. I knew what an Evo was, so I was like, I like Evos and stuff. And then they were like, we were in the auto class, and they were like, okay, Porter and Chester, the technical college, is going to come by and give us a presentation. And usually they bring the NSX, which was just like a riced out NSX with a system on the back. And I thought the NSX was cool because my uncle had an NSX growing up, and I was just like, oh, that's my uncle's car. So they brought the R34 to the classroom, and I walked in there, and I don't know, this car just like struck to me. It was like when like Ash sees that legendary Pokemon and like destiny changes forever for him. I feel like that was my epitome.
Wait, you said it was a 34?
Yeah, it was an R34 GTR.
That was literally probably brand new when you.
It was yeah, and like mind you, Too Fast Too Furious had just been recently released, so like that was a hot ticket of the car. So I was like, holy shit, that's that car from that movie. Like, what the hell? But like back then, I didn't know that I couldn't do an oil change back then. So we graduated high school. Long story short, the car actually got impounded because it was an illegally imported car.
Yeah, that's what I thought happened, and they probably crushed that thing too.
So I think, that car got crushed. That car was actually at the mall a couple times. Yeah.
See, yeah, because if it was an illegally imported car, I feel like there were pictures of them always getting crushed.
Wait,
Yeah.
the R34?
Yeah, I think this happened in 2007 when they crushed it. Yeah. It was full-blown R34 GTR.
But the NSX was okay. Technically, we got the NSX here.
Was it brought in by that company that would bring in all those R34s?
Motor X?
Yeah. Was it a Motor X car?
I think the Motor X cars are actually legal.
They
and
are.
Those are the big bucks ones because those are the ones that got legalized. You know, anything that's not Motor X.
Well, I heard that they said they were legalized. I don't know. This is alleged, but I'm just saying.
I watched mad videos on that.
Yeah, there was a whole thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
they said they were doing it, but then they didn't do it.
Yeah, there was some. They that's why they messed up. If they just stayed legal, doing the right things, they would have been fine and they would have been sick. But like, it looks like somebody messed up. They got greedy and then.
Well, the thing was, it was like, dude, there was big problems with those not being legal. It was like the way the fucking roof was designed or some shit. You know what I mean?
The glass too. I heard.
I was like, there's no way they're fucking fixing
Is that
this shit.
really what it was? I thought it was an emissions thing.
Dude, it's like it has height. It has like structural differences that aren't DOT approved. Shit like that.
Yeah, it's
like the A pillars.
Yeah,
will
some with
break.
the A pillars, some shit. Yeah, windshield, like he's saying. Like
Damn,
there was
I
a
never
lot
knew that.
involved,
But-
and they were
but-
like, "Yeah, these are all legal." I'm like, bullshit. I remember reading their website when I was younger, and I was like, there ain't no fucking way.
Forgive me if this was mentioned already, but why did that high school have that?
No, it was the technical.
Technical school.
Yeah,
Why'd they have that?
I have no idea, but I remember it was on dealer plates.
Who's in charge of the budget over there?
I don't know, but
They just wanted it on 34.
That's what's up.
But dude, like nobody else knew what that was. Like it was just me and my other buddy who was into Subarus back then, and he was always wanting a Supra. So back then we looked at Supras. You know, a hot Supra back then was like 20 grand, like
Yeah.
a big
Yeah.
turbo, like nice
yeah.
Supra, 20 grand.
Yeah.
So we were looking at those, and then he's like, "Yo, it's the Skyline GTR, blah blah." Like I see those in Australia. Like I've always wanted to buy one. They were like 20 grand for a GTR back then. Like nice. Like
This is so weird. That
But then
that
the
school just
importing
had an
process, I
R34.
feel like wouldn't. I always thought that the problem with importing something that obviously wasn't supposed to be imported here in the first place would be so fucking hard. So I'm like, I hear it's 20 grand.
Dude, you just
But
gotta
then
know
I'm like-
someone in Florida and you're good.
That's true, I guess.
You know what else I think it was? I think it was because it was a school. It was probably imported under like a show and display type deal, and I think that probably got expired, and then they kept the car because I know there was dealer plates on it for a long time. Because I was like, what the hell is a dealer plate? And then my buddy told me, he's like, oh, because like you can't register that car, so that's the way they drive it. But it's like the school owns it. I was like, well, that's kind of weird. But that's
kinda
when I
weird.
started to learn about like
then
these
you-
like loopholes into like.
Then you
you
came
know.
in the next day and it was crushed.
And,
And it was a soda can.
Damn.
yeah, I mean, I graduated and I saw it at the mall. Like we had like the local mall, and it was like there a couple of times. Like I have a couple like really like old iPhone 3G pictures of it, like really grainy.
Yeah.
If I walked into Paramus Park
and there was
a GTR and R34,
And it was the year 2007 or
and
some
I
shit?
was 10 years old, or no, 2007. I was probably like
2010.
12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
I'd shit a brick right there. Because, like, how often are you getting to see that?
Dude,
Like,
especially then when it was like kind of new.
Yeah, no,
like, what
and like the engine was popped, RB26, and like I was just like, oh man, like
I'll tell you one thing though, that probably got a lot of students to sign up.
yo.
dude. Thing is, like my high, I don't know the era that I grew up in was just weird. There was no car kids other than that one my friend that was into Subaru, so like
Yeah.
nobody knew what this thing was. Like they just kind of took it for granted. And I think about that back then. I'm like, dude, like all these kids were sitting around this beautiful R34, and like nobody gave a shit. Like,
This is the weird. I feel like it's almost like a. Do you ever feel like it was a dream and you're hallucinating?
I knew that was like different. I knew that at that moment I was like, okay, like I think I really want to get into this. Like this is this is really appealing. This is a really nice car. Like I want to own something like this. Like
Did they ever let you drive it or like take you out in it?
No, dude. I was probably like 15 years old
God
or
damn
something.
it, Frankie.
Dude, imagine they just dude. That's a good way to get someone hooked.
Yeah,
I would want to if I heard that thing.
Yeah.
The RB26 sounds a little different than like some. You got the ITBs in there, like that thing when it accelerates.
I like how they sound.
Yeah, it's like nice.
Yeah.
When they're relatively stuck, I like it.
I love RBs. I love the purr a lot
Yeah.
more than a JZ. That's why
I was gonna say which one's better, Jay-Z or RB?
I like the RB.
Do you get a lot of RBs?
Yeah, we do. We do a lot of Tommy Fia's RBs. So honestly, we do more RBs now than SRs at this point.
Damn, we gotta start sending more over. Come on, guys, send us your engines.
No, yo, chill. Chris is tired. Just kidding.
Yeah, you had like a stack of RBs there when we were there.
Was
Yeah.
there?
Dude.
Man, I was so
Well,
tired.
I go
that
there
day.
like every weekend now, so no. But yeah, thank God you were able to come down here and save me one trip at least.
Anytime, dude. I know you've been up there like a handful of times
Yeah.
now, and so
Dude, something about Connecticut, man. I don't.
At least they got Royal Farms up there.
The driving though.
There's
driving
one
through
right by you.
Connecticut, it's not for me.
yeah, 84 is definitely a nightmare.
Yeah.
but if you're in Connecticut, it's not so bad. So like living in Connecticut, as long as I don't have to come down here during this time or
It's like that highway is just. I don't know what it is, dude. Something about it. That
Yeah.
shit puts me to sleep too.
There's this body shop down, or I don't know what kind of shop it is, but there's a 996 Carrera just sitting there, and I'm like, damn.
Wait, where on the? Oh,
I'm
near the-
literally so close to JP.
Oh,
I was like,
the
yo,
Porsche shop near
oh yeah, the Porsche
it
shop.
just sits there, and I'm like,
yeah.
that thing's gonna blow up one day, because it's been sitting. That's what the secret is with those.
Do you guys work on those a lot?
Yeah. So that shop down the road, they've serviced a lot of Porsche stuff.
Okay.
So they bring us everything that's blown up and stuff.
Oh.
So
And remember that engine that it was on a stand when we went there. That
Oh,
thing
that's
was
right.
Sick.
Oh yeah.
You don't like, and like, I don't know why, but I don't remember if it was like a normal engine stand, but that shit just looked weird on a stand because it was like
flat.
flat.
Yeah. Well, that was the air-cooled engine too, right?
yeah, so it's like a Porsche. So the transmission bell housing is like a little circle, the way it bounced to it. So that's why it has its a special engine mount.
Oh, so it was a special engine.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Dude, the engine in those 911s, the air-cooled ones, that's the only reason I got into them because I was like, damn, I want an air-cooled engine one day.
That's how I learned how to drive stick in one of those.
What in
In an air cooled one. Yeah, my dad had one for a little while.
So I just started looking. I started doing research. I'm like, all right, what's the last one with the air-cooled engine? Like, I just keep looking.
Yeah, they kept the air-cooled engine, I think, up to like 89, I think.
Nah, 90
Or-
98.
Yeah, you said
Really?
the
'Cause
one that
the-
everyone likes.
The
has
99
air-cooled
the
one, right?
993 was
Yeah.
still air cooled, and
Which
then
is
they switched to
crazy.
996, which my roommate has one.
That car's ugly as hell. Sorry.
It is, but it sounds very. It still sounds very Porsche.
That's the one your dad has, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It still sounds very Porsche-y. There's everything in there feels like a Beetle. Like
I
a
like the
2000 Beetle.
997
I do too.
because I think it looks better. But
They also still blow up and shit until you get a 997.2, which is
because
like,
of that bearing.
it deletes
situation?
the IMS. They
Yeah.
revised it to not have one, I think, or they made it better. I
Yeah,
don't know.
that weird bearing.
But yeah, I like Porsche, dude.
Yeah, I like those engines. I like the air cooled ones. I just
That's-
like because it's it's different.
Yeah, we work on the air cools mainly, like not so much the water cooled stuff.
Okay.
It's more intricate, but the air cooled stuff is like we have CNC programs for them, and like we do some pretty cool stuff with them actually.
Yeah,
so.
because I
That's
saw
sick.
because they have individual cylinders, right? Like they're not. It's not
Yeah.
a block.
So so you bolt each cylinder is its own jug basically. It's kind of like
basically like a Harley
What?
engine.
yeah. So you can basically assemble it like a Lego. So like you have the cylinder with the ribs, the cooling fins, and then you put the head on the top. So
And the there's heads are individual or they're
yeah, it's each
Okay.
individual head. So each individual head's like kind of like a little square. like
Yeah.
so, and it's just the intake and exhaust port, and then the valve guides, and then the holes for the push rods.
now there are like weird things with Porsches, right? Like the rings that they have on the cylinder heads, right, or something.
What? I didn't know that.
It's some weird. I
the
mean,
the way the head gasket seals,
Yeah.
it's like a counter bore. So like we actually machine that. We put that in the CNC, and the CNC interpolates the circle, and it gets a true flat again because it just warps over time. But the way it mates to it, it's just like a cap almost. Like you're
Oh, wow.
capping the cylinder with the
and
with
it's
the
not.
head.
Is it an actual head gasket or is it like?
I don't know. We haven't put one together.
Okay.
Usually they put them together, so we just do the bare
Dude, I was
machine
doing
work.
some research on this shit. I was like, I got so deep in YouTube one night.
You
I'm
look
where
like
the
a little
fuck am
bootleg
I?
Magnus Walker driving around.
Hell
in a little
yeah, dude!
911.
I love Magnus Walker. Any video comes up on YouTube with him, I watch that shit.
Yeah.
Although now he's getting a little sold.
My
out,
dad was
but-
cool as fuck when he would drive that 911 around. The first one he had, the
What-
black one,
What
the
was it?
air-cooled one. It was a G-body 911. It was a 87.
That's
with
like the
a-
best one.
Yeah, with a 3.2 swap. Some bigger. It was a good engine.
Yeah.
And a G50 trans
And that's the most expensive one now, right?
or G80 trans.
the 80s
They're
one.
all fucking expensive. I don't look
That's
for
like
those.
the one that
Jimmy just bought.
RWB.
Jimmy just
does-
bought one
yeah.
too, I think, right?
Yeah, RWB will
Casual.
cut the shit out of that car real quick.
But yeah, no, he would be so cool. He would be leaving at like 5 a.m. on Sundays, just be gone all day. And I'm like, where the hell have you been? Now I get it. I'm like,
Oh, now you get it.
yeah, I'm like, dude, he was probably having a day.
He's
Yeah.
badass. Yeah, that's sick.
But
All right,
wait, I want to know. So
Yeah,
so,
we always do this.
God damn it,
Yeah.
where the hell were we? There was a technical school that had the RB and the NSX.
yeah, they had the
And you saw this
R34.
thing.
So the R34 pretty much made me fall in love with cars.
Okay.
So back
At that
then,
point, you weren't like into it at all yet, like
No,
fully.
I hadn't gotten my license yet. Like I knew what an Evo was, and like I knew I wanted a car, but like I wasn't sure yet what I wanted. You know, like back then. Okay, I hate to admit this, but back then I wanted a Toyota Celica, like literally
Which one though?
the 2000s, like the hairdresser car.
Oh, the one with the pointy legs.
Yeah.
Oh, hell
like
yeah,
the
That
dude.
comes with
Cruise
the. That's
yeah,
a
that
one
was
ZZ.
like I wanted that so bad.
That shit had a body
Dude.
kit from factory.
I
that was
love
fire.
that car,
It was
man.
the TRD body
Yeah.
kit, dude. I wanted it so bad. I would go and like search for it. Like,
I
I didn't
love
even
that
know
car.
standard back then, so I was like, I want the Triptronic because like I want to shift, but I don't want to like
Nah,
have
dude,
a clutch. Like
I drove one. It was a manual. This girl had it. I was like, yo, you got that car? I literally just hung out with her because she had that car.
You're fucked up,
Dude, first of all, I'm kidding if she ever listens to this.
God forbid.
But so we took it up to Bear Mountain. That shit rips.
It had the intake, that dual VVD.
But then you found out the car was slow as fuck, probably, right?
well, I mean, I just like how it looked. Like I was like, I want the TRD trim with the big wing, and then I was gonna put this like stupid body kit that I found online. It was called like the Vader kit or something. Like, thank God I didn't have money back then.
Vader
because, like,
kit.
dude. It was
I'd
so
run it.
bad.
Yeah.
That's a 1ZZ engine, I think.
I
in
think
those.
2ZZ. Actually. Yeah.
2ZZ is the one that you want that doesn't blow up.
Yeah.
Or is there
1ZZ is the one that does blow up.
I mean, that car is sick, man.
It's
the
there-
thing is, it's front wheel drive. So.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much support to it, and
Not
like I
really.
said, all the other Toyotas just overpower it, especially like a GT4 coming from a GT4, and then you have like this, like literally like commuter car.
But
But
back then, that was like that was a cool car.
yeah, it was. They were $9,000, dude. Imagine
Yeah.
paying $9,000 for that car nowadays. Like it was insane. And I
I'd
like
give
I
you 900
remember
bucks.
they had an exhaust for it. It was like the Cosma exhaust, and it sounded really loud. And I was like, I want that, and I want that exhaust. And
Yeah.
Dude, those cars sound nice up top. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They
Well,
definitely
Toyota.
And the interior. If you guys are listening to this, go check out a Celica interior, the specifically the 2000s one, because
I like
a
that
lot of
car.
those cars took a lot of styling cues from the same cars of that era. So that's like the Supra and all that shit. The gauge cluster and shit. Like it's very driver looking inside.
yeah, MR2s too are the same engine actually.
MR2 is
Yeah,
sick.
2ZZ.
They take. That's why I think it was a 1ZZ in there. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. The chat's probably gonna be like, it was a fucking 1YZ or whatever. But
Yeah.
Did you
one
end
of
up buying
them-
one of those or what?
Yeah. Did you have one?
No, dude, they were unaffordable.
Oh,
It's like
$9,000.
Yeah, it was
yeah.
$9,000, and I also was looking into a Mark IV Supra. That
Oh,
were,
gosh.
Oh.
there was a white automatic one down the road, and they wanted $11,000 for it. So I was,
What, dude? Yeah.
it was white, it was nice, and I was telling my dad, I was like, I want that, and he's like, you're not buying that piece of shit Supra Toyota for $11,000. Like, why would you pay $11,000 for a 1994 car? And I'm like, Dad, like, I need this
Yeah.
money, I need this car, like.
That's what all parents say. So,
So
that makes
like,
sense.
I mean, we don't have money, dude. Like, we're immigrants. Like, my parents just.
Side note, where are you from?
I'm Colombian.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were trying to figure it out earlier.
So.
Were you?
Yeah.
Damn, I got here late. Okay.
So yeah, we came, we moved here, and then we've had to start from scratch. So my parents didn't have that much money, and came time for me to buy a car, and I didn't have money, so they were like, find an economical car that you want. So back then I was looking for A86s. I was looking at
Damn, you're just running through these expensive cars, but I'm forgetting the
But-
time frame here.
yeah,
They were probably how much was an 8.6 back then?
$3,000 tops. So that was within the budget. But as soon as I showed my dad what a 1986 Toyota Corolla looked like,
He said, "What the fuck?" are
he's
you
like,
doing?"
"What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why would you spend $3,000 on that piece of shit looking thing?" Like,
I'm waiting for him to say, "Okay."
Yeah,
You know,
what got
what
the
car
okay?
did he get the okay?
Chrysler
So-
Sebring.
so mind you, this like I showed him that, and then back then actually I wanted the R34. So like I found out that we couldn't have those in America; they didn't come with them.
Yeah.
So then I found S15s.
Okay.
Like within the same category of the cars, and I was like, dude, that's a really sick car, and they were cheaper than the GTR R34. So I was like,
Yeah.
let me see if we have this in America. No, we don't. No. So
Everything you wanted was just like, nah, you can't.
You
have
used to
it.
be able to find them, like a Spec S. There was one that was for sale for mad long, and it was down the road. I don't know if you remember, Chris, but it was in like Clifton. It was a white one. It was like $9,000 Spec S.
wow, that's
Josh probably owns it now.
Honestly,
No.
why do I think?
Stoneback had that car, but I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
where it came.
There was a white Spec S in Clifton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
When did
Yeah.
you come to this country? Like, were you a baby or?
I was 11 years old. I think 10 or 11.
Okay.
Yes.
So, did you see any cool cars when you lived over there that like we couldn't get?
I mean, the market's definitely different. It's more so like European cars and like
Okay.
in like American cars. There wasn't that many like Japanese cars other than like Toyota FJ45s and stuff like that, like off-roading, which there's like plentiful of those over there.
Yeah.
But no real sports cars. Like I think they got like one NSX in the country entirely,
God.
and like everything else is like
Yeah, we'll send you one.
different. So, but
That's crazy, dude.
I
All right.
remember back then, actually, good thing that you brought that up, because also an epitome of my life was there was a supermarket right across the street from where we lived. We lived in a condo, so my parents would always go shopping at this big, kind of like a super Walmart, basically. It's like
Okay.
a mini mall, I would say. And then they had a Formula car there for display, the Lucky Strike.
What is that with Connecticut?
This is in Connecticut now?
No, this
or
is in Columbia.
I was about to say.
Oh,
that's
oh
even
my
more-
God!
that's
I was
even
like,
more
bro,
shocking.
what is going
No,
on?
we're talking like
Why is there a Lucky Strike car down there?
So I think they were doing some sort of promotion, but like there was a big crowd, and then like I don't know, dude, I was like probably like 5 years old, so this was like
Core
late
memory.
mid '90s, yeah. Like
Okay.
one of my earliest memories was like going to the mall, and my mom's like, "Oh, they have like a race car there," so like she brought me up to it, and I remember seeing it. And I was like, "Oh, dude, like this is like one of those like I didn't know distinguish back then Formula
Yeah.
One from anything, but I realized the car like had the big wings, big tires, and like
And that was when they were like real sick.
yeah. This was like the V10, V12 era at its prime. And like
Yeah.
I knew of those cars like from TV and stuff, and
Yeah.
like little cars that I had, but like I remember I was like, holy shit, like this is it. Like I'm looking at it, and like I remember looking at the tires, and like I was so short back then that the tires were as high as I was. Like I was like, dude, it's got ginormous tires. Like that's
Yeah.
and I went and told my dad, I'm like, Dad, like I saw like the Formula race car, and like it had ball tires, and then he told me that those were special tires
Yeah,
for
yeah.
like racing and stuff. But I was like,
Damn, that's cool. You remember that?
I do, dude. It's like I vaguely remember it, but I remember like obviously the subliminal advertisement of Lucky Strike cigarettes. like- But I remember I was like,
Yes.
dude, that's sick. Like Lucky Strikes, I don't know what that is, but that's sick. Like,
Yeah.
and then I grew up watching Formula Kart because Juan Pablo Montoya was a Formula Kart racer back then. So like South
Okay.
America was big into the Formula
Yeah.
racing. So that's kind of how I got into like the motorsports section. My dad was more of a truck guy.
Okay.
He was a diesel mechanic engineer at a company, so
wow.
he did a swap actually like way back then.
So did that kind of help you find your way too? Like
It was
your
a big
dad was kind of
support.
into that.
Yeah, it was extremely supportive having a dad that was into that, because that was basically he knew what I was doing and he
Yeah.
supported it. So
Yeah.
and he knew because way back in the day we had I forget what it was, like a K2 Blazer, like the old school
Square body.
square
Yeah.
body Blazers.
Yeah, I don't know anything about shit. I know that word. I know
Yeah,
that word.
The K2, I think it's like the hot ticket, like that's what people want. And
What's
like,
a K5? I think that might actually
or actually
be
the
square.
K5, sorry.
Is the square body.
K2s are the rollerblades.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Rollerblades.
I had those for a week.
Those are sick.
That was all
You
I
were a
did.
fruit booter?
Yeah, I was a fruit booter for a week. Jesse Martin knows.
Oh God.
He tried to get me to do it, and then
Well,
Oh, wait, a what?
K5 square body.
So yeah, he had a K5 square body, and he was saying that he was gonna change the engine to like a diesel truck engine. So I was just like, that was also around that time when I was really little, and I just knew that my dad was putting a truck engine in the car, and I don't know for whatever reason, because my dad specialized in diesel stuff, so obviously he wanted to have a diesel powered car. So
Wait, so your dad was a diesel engine specialist too? Like, so
He was
this
a-
definitely runs kind of. You were kind of.
it runs in the family
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, my dad went to school for mechanical engineering, so he worked at a coal mine, basically, like working on these giant excavators and stuff. So I got to play with like bulldozers and stuff like that way back then, which is pretty sick. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, it was like like my dad was just a mechanic guy. Like he also owned like 2 18-wheelers that like he just had contracted driving around. So
Oh, wow.
there was always like, my dad was always working on stuff. And I looked
Yeah.
up to that. I was like, I want to be like my dad. I don't want to pay anybody else to work on my stuff.
Yeah.
He saves a lot of money doing it. Like that's badass. Like,
Yeah.
so my dad supported everything that I do. Like I ruined the toolbox. I ruined the garage. I ruined everything. Dude, the driveway's a
I
mess.
can relate to that.
Yeah, I was gonna say all the tools are they're gone.
My
They're all
dad's
gone.
my dad comes in here sometimes. So where are my tools? Dad, I don't know where the fuck any of those tools are.
Yeah.
I got like 2 wrenches left. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, I feel bad, and I once I make it, I told my dad I'll buy him a nice toolbox. But luckily, he doesn't work like mechanical stuff like that anymore. He got into
Yeah.
machining too, so that's also why like pushed me to get into machining, was because he went from doing just mechanical handwork to machining stuff. So I followed that footstep, and that kind of like all clicked in. And then I told my dad, oh, so back to the 240, how I got the 240, because
Oh,
it
yeah,
all
yeah.
ties in together.
So wait. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, we didn't get to that part.
Yeah, 'cause
yet,
he's
but
still looking
was
for a
it-
car.
Was the 240 the car you landed on? You were like, fuck it,
No,
this is it.
so like I told you, I wanted the S15.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I really wanted it. Couldn't get them.
Okay, now this is making sense.
Yeah.
I couldn't fathom seeing an S50. Like there was no cars like this around Connecticut. We had the R34, which is a lucky thing.
Yeah.
But I couldn't. I back then, if you asked me, I probably would have told you that there's no S15s in the country if you asked me, because
Yeah.
there's none.
If only
So-
you knew what was going on in California.
Or in New Jersey,
But
too.
internet,
Oh, yeah.
But internet wasn't like that back then. You didn't just be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you knew like of like Formula D and stuff and like stuff like that, because it was still early. But like you knew those were race cars. Like there wasn't like you could just buy one.
Yeah,
of those.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was also like, you know what? Even if I find an S15, I think I did find an S15 in a Craigslist ad here in New Jersey of some weird shop that were selling like JDM cars. And I don't know if it was a scam, but they had like R33s and like for like 20 grand.
Yeah, no, I believe it. Yeah,
I'm
those shops
telling
are
you,
around.
there was that one
Yeah.
that must have been where I looked at the
Yeah.
Spec S, because it was on Craigslist.
And
Yeah.
a lot of importers would just somehow.
It was like
Oops,
like a
we have a
picture of a
S15.
shop, like the cars were parked outside, and like dude, I vaguely remember it was probably like
I might
2008.
know who JP's talking about. We're not gonna name names, but I think I know.
Where well, I guess I shouldn't ask where either, but
Somebody else will have a better story. Sorry. to
Yeah.
Interrupt. But
So you-
I
so-
think I do know who he's talking about.
yeah. So this was happening at least.
Yeah.
That'd
Okay.
be yeah, interesting. That's crazy. You guys know that
Like,
because I
That was
vaguely-
Vin swap era.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It seemed like one of those type of places.
Yeah, there was a. I mean, dude, we're like right in that area. Like we're surrounded by like 5 different engine depots. Like this was definitely a big area as far as like import cars and VIN swaps and.
And it was a lot of like
things.
chop up a car, bring it, reassembly.
My car's registered now. I can say it. My car's from an engine depot.
And you guys also have the port here too, so like
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure a lot of crazy stuff comes in and out
That'd be
and
sick
gets
to
lost.
drift
in-
down
I
there.
just remember we were drifting one night and the cops all came, and then one guy was like getting bothered, and we're like, "Yo, what's up with that guy?" And they're like, "His VINs don't match." And I was like, "Okay, let's get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, no,
Like that guy didn't have a good night.
Damn, really?
Yeah, I was like, "What the fuck?"
You
So
know,
yeah,
yeah.
it happens. But
yeah. So I mean, like I said, glad I didn't have money back then, because
you
I
would have
would've-
ended up with one.
one of those or something else stupid.
Yeah.
Like I would also go on eBay and find like race car S14s for like 14 grand, like an SR20 swap with a cage
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff. But back then I didn't know about S14s. So I found S15s, and then I found, oh, there's S14s, there's S13s, and then the S14 came as 240SX in America.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like looking those up, and I was like, you know, those are pretty cool. Like,
Yeah.
I like the Kabuki like facelift first,
Yeah.
and I said I wanted that. So I started looking them up on Craigslist. Back then, you could find like a '97 with like a fender bender for like $1,500 automatic.
Yep.
So Craigslist was just full of 240s, S14s, and I was like, all right, sick. Like, this is where I'm gonna get my car, because back then, like, $3 grand was like a good budget for my parents to give me as a car. To
Yeah,
start.
yeah.
So
So what'd your dad say about this one?
well, I asked him, and I was like, hey, I want this car as a 1995 Nissan 240SX. And he's like, that's a bad idea, blah, blah. Once again, with the old car thing. He wanted me to buy like a 2008 Mitsubishi Eclipse, like the freaking hairdresser car. He's like,
Yeah.
why don't you buy an Eclipse? That's
Which I also like that car too, but
Ew.
it's so
like
it's so
the-
not a good
not
car.
the Spider one, though.
Yeah,
like
no,
I'm
not
talking
the
about the newer one
The
before
round
they killed
looking
it.
joint.
Yeah.
The one that,
I'm
the
talking about the Spider one, but not a convertible.
No, not the 3G
The
Eclipse.
three.
Not that. The one after
Loved it.
that. The one after that looked like a jelly bean.
I don't like
Yes,
that one either.
That one.
But let me tell you something
That's
about
even worse.
let me tell you about something about those. Those there was a high trim package of that came with
V6.
really big wheels. They were like 18s, and they look like that. They look good enough where I feel like that's the next spare that people are gonna start buying.
You like currently? You think?
It looks like if you take the center cap out, it looks like that one weird work wheel where it's got like the indents.
What
in
if you
it
just
and
started a trend right now?
shit. God damn it.
Yeah, write it down because you just said it out.
Yeah.
It's
God
out
damn
there.
it. No, because they work on the IS. I think I'm pretty sure.
Well, anyway,
But anyway, god damn it, tangent again.
Anyways,
don't
yeah.
don't go buying those wheels. So I need to.
So he wants you to buy a 4th gen Eclipse.
So I still refuse, dude. I was like, no, I'm either getting an S14 or an A86, like one or the other.
Yeah.
So, down the road there was like a little dealership, and one of my buddies said like there's a Nissan 240SX there, and I was like, oh shit, like they don't believe you, like.
And
then
a
sent me-
dealer too. It's like what?
Yeah, and he sent me a picture of it, and it was literally a 98 with gold emblems, white, parked in the front. Like it was like a kind of like a home mom and pop dealership type deal.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh no way! Like back then, I didn't even have my license back then. So
They want
drove down.
$10K for that thing.
I drove down with my mom. My mom was going to the mall, and I was like, Mom, drive me. Like I need to stop at the dealership on the way to the mall because it was on the way to the mall.
Mom, drop me off here. I'm buying a car.
So I stopped. Yeah, she dropped me off, and then like there's nobody. It was closed, and I see the car, and I was like, oh my god, like this is an S14. Like I've never seen one in real life before. And like I just looked at it, had like the Nissan like wood grain trim on the center console.
Oh,
Like,
what?
you ever seen those?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
the stick-on one.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it had that. It had the gold emblems. It was white. It looked like it was somebody's daily driver because there was stuff in the back seat.
Yeah.
So I left a note saying, hey, I'm interested in buying this car. Please call my phone number. So I left a note on the windshield. I went home. Then I think the next day I got a call. And then it's somebody. And I'm like, hi, like, blah, blah. And then I was like, hey, like, yeah, I'm interested in buying the car. And like, he's like, no, I'm interested in buying the car. And I was like, what? So like they thought I was the owner putting the note on the car that was for sale. And they call me, and I was like, "No, dude, I want the car first. Like screw you, dude." So I started freaking out. Like, I'm like, dude,
I need to get this now.
like,
Now.
I need this. I'm like, dude, I need this. So I told my parents, I'm like, this car's probably gonna be like $3,000 at the most, like, or $4,000.
Yeah.
So we went back one time, like I think during business hours, and then like I went inside and I found somebody, and he's like, yeah, I want to ask about the white Nissan outside. And then they're like, oh yeah, let me get whoever, blah blah. And then they got the person. And they're like, oh, that's whoever's blah blah blah's car. Like it's not for sale.
I had a feeling that's where this was going.
Yeah, that's the reason I don't drive a 98 white right now.
Dude, that was like the Spider-Man meme. Like everyone's pointing. No, I want the car.
Damn.
Yeah, dude, and like, mind you, back then these things didn't have that much appeal. So like the fact that like somebody else was targeting that car was like, I was like, dude, like this is
It
not
was
good.
Frankie.
I was gonna say it's probably someone who was literally exact same as us. Like they're just like,
dude,
I need that.
I wonder where the car is because it was so mint, and like it later sold for like $5 or $7 grand in like 2010, which back then was a lot of money. But the dude, I remember him, the description very clearly. He's like, I know what I got, blah blah, this and that. It was one of the very first overpriced chassis that
Yeah.
I
Was it a
back then-
manual?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This thing was
lot of auto S14s. That's why I asked.
yeah.
I remember S14s were around $5 to $8 grand with a KA.
Mhm.
What are they now?
When I was looking for a car, you could get a KA S14 for $4,000.
Wait, yeah, that's a lie. $5 grand or less, I would say. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
For like a legit Kawuki back then, it was like $7 grand.
Yeah.
$7 grand was like got you a solid car.
Yeah, if it was a Zenki, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Senkis are like $2,000 to $3,000 cars.
It also
Yeah.
was still. What year do you think this was? Sub 2010,
This was 2008.
2008. So that's only like a 10-year-old car.
2008, I wasn't even into that stuff. So I
Yeah,
wouldn't even know.
2008, man. Shit, I got my first iPod Nano. iPod Nano, hot shit, man. 2 gigs on that bitch.
Yeah. 2008,
this-
man. Yeah.
They were still, dude. I would see 240s on the road. It was once I knew about these cars, like I learned about them, like I would see them on the road. I see
That's
A86s,
always what happens.
MR2s, and I'm like, dude, like this is sick. And back then I would watch Initial D too, so like I learned a lot about the Japanese cars, and that's how I really got into it too. And like watching Wangan Midnight, mind you, like these shows were also kind of relatively new.
Yeah.
Back then, so I was like, oh, like that's like the Supras and all that. So like, I was like, these are the cars that I want to get into because most of my friends were like into like Volkswagens. That was like the whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
in Connecticut, it was like a big Volkswagen.
It was a thing here too. Don't worry.
So I wanted to be different. I wanted, like I said, and I found out about the S15s and like drifting, and then I was like, dude, drifting is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
So like, I was like, I think I want to buy a drift car.
So you found out about drifting pretty young.
Yeah, I was relatively extremely young.
You were still in high school.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Before I even got my license, so I made sure that like I wanted my first car to be like a car that I could modify into drifting.
So
Yeah.
what did it end up being? When did you find the car?
So I got my heart broken by that white S14. So I
Gave
went
up
home
cars forever.
like destroyed, dude. Like it's like, dude, I literally felt it was like heartbreak. Like
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
so I went home and I kept looking. Then I got my first job at CVS because I didn't have a job throughout high school. My parents were just like, just study, finish your school, and then go to school.
Yeah.
And then you can get a job after college. So I got my first job, save up some money, and then my parents were like, all right, like we're ready to lend you the money. So I found the black 95 that I have right now on Craigslist. So I messaged a guy and I'm like,
Zenki
hey,
now.
I want this car. Like it looked like it was like lowered. It had like American racing wheels and it had like an Apexi N1 dual exhaust.
The one with the two cans in the
Yes.
back? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that
But
exhaust.
but one of them was cut off for whatever reason. So it
Okay.
was just
God.
one can and the insulation was like showing. So like the car was like 20 minutes away. It was in Hartford. So
Yeah.
I told my parents, I was like, oh, this car is $2,700. Like I want to go check it out. So we took like the family trip in the Jeep. We went to go see it. And then like I didn't have my license. So like my dad test drove it and like we showed up. It was some Spanish guys. So like my parents were able to talk to them.
Yeah.
Which is a big plus. And they had the car there. And like back then I didn't know base model S14s were 4-lug. I thought everything was 5-lug.
Okay.
So I show up and I'm like, why is this thing got 4 lugs? And I'm like, oh no. But it was an S14. I was like, oh, this is sick. Like I want this car. This is the first Senki I ever. I actually,
And that's when he said, "Sorry, dude, I'm 5-lug. Good luck with sale."
yeah. But I'm like, no. I was like, dude, I wanted it. I haven't even driven it, and I wanted it then.
Yeah.
So, but the weird thing is like, so this dude also in the back had a Mark III Supra,
Oh.
and it had a giant intercooler and a giant turbo. And he told me, it's like, oh, this thing makes 800 horsepower. And now it's just like, holy shit, like, this is a big turbo car. Like, this is like huge. Like, I have a picture of that thing, and like, it looks like an old Yankee early 2000 setup, but like,
I
it
kind of
couldn't-
like those more, though.
And it was a 7M, like 7. Back then, I didn't even know.
Built,
it was 7M.
built 7M will sound like a rocket ship.
It is. They're nice.
I went to college and there was one tootling around the town. It was it's still in a Mark III, so that's why I was like, sounded like a Jay-Z in there, but it was just worked 7M. But yeah, so you ended up picking it up, or
So I found the 95. We went and test drove it. My parents liked the car, so we're like, okay, like we'll go buy it next weekend. So I'm like freaking out the whole fucking week again.
yeah,
like,
your
'cause
slowest week of your life.
I'm an anxious person. Like I need everything now. Like when I see something, I want it.
Yep,
Like
yep.
which is a bad thing.
Nah, I feel you.
So my parents were like, all right, we went and bought the car. We met up with the dude, and the dude drove it to my house. So like the whole time I'm like in the backseat of the Jeep looking at this S14 driving through Bristol.
and like that's mine.
and
That's
I'm
mine.
like, oh my God, it's happening. Like,
I just find it
it's
so
coming.
crazy. That's literally the car you have right now.
Yeah.
like
So
the
this
same
is, dude, I was 17 years old back then, and I was just like, dude, like this is happening. Like I'm getting it and like stock. So, but it's standard.
Yeah.
So I had to learn how to drive standard because I didn't know how to like drive standard. So
Hey, man, better than learning how to do a 5-speed swap. So
absolutely, which is what I'm doing, what I was dealing with right now before
Yeah.
I came over. So I'm glad I got to jump into a 5-speed right off the bat. So it was $2,700. So I worked at CVS. I paid off my parents with my $150 paychecks at the most, I think, back then.
yeah,
And I was like, eventually I want to like build a car, like build it into a drift car and like sick SR20. Like that was my goals back then. Like,
okay. So you already knew what you had to do.
pretty much. But I was really broke, and I was also really young. I just wanted to party and hang out. And
Yeah.
I went to car meets, and like I lived for the car meets, but I had a KA, so like
Yeah, I see on your posts sometimes you always bring up the car meets how they used to be, you know, and now no one really does anything and shit.
pretty much,
They're
dude.
takeovers now.
Yeah,
You guys have takeovers over there?
I guess we do now. I guess we do,
Okay.
which is unfortunate, but
Yeah.
the car scene, as boomer as it is to say this, the car scene that we grew up with no longer exists.
Yeah. Nah.
Damn, that's so
Yeah,
sad.
I'm gonna go ahead and say Instagram ruined it. I don't know why.
The
but
social
it
media.
did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like, oh fuck Instagram. I'm just saying that is when it changed.
Yeah, I think it's just the need for gratification and wanting to attempt like do things, like, cause it's just reckless. Like, yeah, it can seem fun,
Yeah.
but in the end, it's pointless. You're just crossing chaos.
I think it's like
I feel like everybody's competing, trying to
exactly
be better
people
than
are
one another.
competing. That's
It
what
is.
it is. And
Which
it-
is-
and it used to be like you just go to a car meet with whatever you got, and it's like it's not a big deal. But all of a sudden, it turned into like,
You need
well, now
that.
people are going to take videos and photos of you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now it's like, oh well, my car's not nice, so I don't really want to go. I think that's what a lot of people are doing. Like that's what it turned into.
But I also think that they just strategically get the car to do what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because that's what's happening. People are just buying, like, at least like the
G37s.
takeover kits, like.
Motherfucking F80 M3.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? How the fuck are you avoiding that right now?
OEM burble tune,
I don't know, but so did you start drifting in the S14?
Yeah.
Or you just started, doing some donuts or something?
So I wanted to drift. The car was a base model, 4-lug, no rear sway bar,
Okay.
open diff. I didn't know what an open diff was.
The
back
world
then.
is against you.
Yeah. So like, I learned a lot of things with this car. I learned about differentials. I learned about sway bars. It taught me how to drive standard, basically.
Yeah.
So
And like work on stuff. I'm
and
assuming.
oil changes and stuff. Like I said, I didn't know how to do any of this. I just wanted the car. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted to hop on it. So actually, I got the car and I couldn't register for a week because I didn't have money. So like, it just sat in the garage. So I would just like sleep in it and just like listen to the radio and just like,
Yeah.
dude, like this is a S14. Like this is it. So I got the car register and like, eventually I wanted to drift. Like
Yeah.
I stopped going to car meets and then like I found out about a drift faction in
Oh, yeah.
Massachusetts. I mean, sorry, in Lebanon Valley.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, I want to get my car to like go drift at a local grassroots event. So I found out about differentials and stuff, and I would do some street stuff. Like I was young and dumb, and I did plenty of stupid street drifting, like dumb. Like,
That's what's up.
and I got arrested. I mean, I didn't get arrested. I got a couple heavy tickets at one time. Like going to the local car meet in the Berlin Turnpike. We were going, and I think I bought my coilovers, like fresh coilovers, stance coilovers. I always wanted them, stock a.k.a. And I was just like, yeah, like I got real suspension.
You
now,
got the
so-
OG stance coilovers,
Yeah,
like
the GR pluses, I think. they were back then.
was it
The orange
the
ones.
orange ones.
Yeah, I had those on my S13, the
Yeah.
first one.
I still have them in my S14. I get them rebuilt every time they blow. I'm like, dude, I'm like your loyal customer. Like rebuild them, and they're like, yeah, they take care of me over there. They're
Yeah, dude.
awesome.
Dave's
Stance-
awesome. Dave does pretty much everything like himself with the valving and everything like that.
Really?
Yeah. Like I'm sure they have them made somewhere, but he knows those coilovers inside and out, like completely.
Yeah.
Like, and he'll give you like you tell him what you want to do. He'll give you specs and everything. Like, oh, you run this spring rate, this and that. So
Wow, that's awesome. I know them as a company. I don't know who
Yeah,
runs
so
it or stuff, but
it's Toge Factory. So Dave owns Toge Factory and Stance. So he's the one that's kind of doing all that stuff. Yeah.
So I've spent probably like $20,000 to this guy over time.
It sucks though, because like right now the coilovers are getting expensive. I don't know if you've
Yes.
seen, but it's
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
It went up the past year, I thought.
Yeah,
right?
BC went up like $250. Stance went up about $400 to $500.
Oof.
So it's like
How much
you know,
are stances if you were to buy a set right now?
Malcolm, do you know? I want to say I don't. 17.
Oof.
Yeah.
Wow. Back then, $1,200 was like
Yeah, that
like,
was it.
That was
Yeah. So now things are just more expensive now. And
How
like,
much were they again? Sorry.
nowadays? Like 1,700. Yeah, I know. It sucks.
No, just because the ISs are all kind of not great.
Well, the ones in your car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm scared that they're going.
And it sucks because stance coilovers are good, and we want to support Dave and everything. So like, but
absolutely,
the
and like
pricing just is like
Just
oh,
have no
man.
money.
I know everyone's
God
broke.
damn it. Fuck.
Yeah.
yeah. No, one of my friends got stance coilovers, and I saw the quality of them, and I was just like, dude, this is a really nice coilover. Like,
Yeah.
this is, you could like back then. I think BC had just started
Mm-hmm.
in like other companies, but like you could like the shock body, you could look at it
Yeah.
and tell that the stance was just like nice. Like the collars were different. They didn't look like the other coilovers.
Yeah.
They were
And
just heavy duty.
Where yours probably were so old they weren't the inverted design. Now
They
they
were-
have like the inverted.
They were inverted.
They were?
Yeah, and that was
Oh, shit. So
the
he was-
reason. One of the biggest reason I didn't know they were inverted. One of my buddies bought coilovers for his SDI. My best friend, like I said in high school, he got an SDI
Okay.
and he wanted coilovers too. So we were buying our first set of coilovers. We saved up, So he could only get like a weird company because Stans didn't sell them for SDIs,
Yeah.
or Subarus. So I got mine, he got his, and then he was just like, he's like, dude, what the fuck? Yours are way nicer. Like, look at these, they're inverted. And like, I'm like, what's inverted? And he's like, oh, they're upside down, so they're way better. And I was like, really? Like,
Yeah.
But like, you look at the two coilovers, and like, you could tell like the stance was just like nice. Like the collars were beefy, and like the wrenches, and like, I was like, I got my money's worth. Like,
It's cool because it's a U.S. company too.
Yeah.
You know, which is like back then and even now. I mean, we always want to support JDM companies, but I feel like even more nowadays. Now American companies are like really stepping up for these cars.
absolutely. And like I said, like I'm always support the JDM. You know,
Yeah.
I'm that guy too. But like I said, we got to believe in these companies because like, you know,
Yeah, because I mean, look at the economy. So we got
Well, I personally
we got to
am
support this country.
from like
Yeah.
a logistics standpoint. Like if you're supporting like a U.S. company, you're gonna hope that it's gonna ship from U.S. and not
Yeah,
have that delay that a lot of people experience right now.
yeah. It's just like another thing about that whole like buy American type mentality is always for me. It's always like, yeah, buy American and then support Chinese slave labor. So it's like, is it really? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
but if they're making if the shit's made in America, then yeah, that's awesome. I mean,
I think the target is support the people and support the business because that way Stans can stay in business and Stans can develop
Exactly.
other things. Now Stans makes coilovers for Subarus. They
Yeah.
make like random things like the coolant adapters and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
like that's pretty cool that like you can support a company and help them grow to
Yeah.
help the chassis and like this aftermarket support.
and they like you said they give back to the community and start making more things and
Absolutely. I'm glad Stans has stayed on the game this long because I swear by them still.
yeah,
Like,
we
I
do
love
too.
them.
Yeah, I try to sell everyone on stance first before anything else. But I'm hoping one day I can try their like really expensive coilovers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't you? Does anyone else feel that way? Where it's like, I'll know I made it when I can afford the
the
third
track.
tier.
Yeah.
You know,
Soon.
the external reservoir.
Yeah.
Money
Shit.
will rain from the ceilings.
Dude, I don't know, man. That's like that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm like, so you had this S14 for so long, but like, what did an issue arise or something where you were like, all right, I'm gonna work on this engine now and I'm gonna learn about engines? Because I want to know how you got to. You do a lot of shit, dude, in that shop. So I'm like, God
Yeah.
damn, because there was a lot of engines in there, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so I was not a mechanic, you know. I play video games, I build my computer, that was just play paintball. So like I fiddled with paintball guns, that's as much as building as I could get. I never really had a dirt bike, so I didn't really have actual engine work, so
Yeah, just a lawnmower in high school.
pretty much, yeah, just a lawnmower that never ran. So like but I had the idea of like how an engine worked, but I never attempted it. I was like, that's my dad, like I asked my dad for help. Like
Okay.
so I got the car, and back then street racing was a big thing still. Like
In Connecticut?
like we were talking about the car scene. Like back then, it was just like
Oh,
car
street
meets
racing was big.
and street
Yeah.
racing. It was huge, and like car meets and all that. So like, I grew up around. Most of my friends they all had more money than me. So they all had the fast cars, the fancy cars. They had SDIs, they had SRT4s, they had whatever the Golf GTIs, whatever was like turbo
Yeah.
and fast back then, and like Eagle Talons. I think were
The
hot.
R32 Volkswagen, that was the fucking car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my other friends too. Yeah, he was like he wanted an
What is it,
R32.
R32, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark
blue,
IV.
the blue thing. I
Dude,
love
that shit was sick, man.
I
was like, that thing's all-wheel
love
drive?
that car when it came out.
Yeah, you gotta see
Five-cylinder?
Travis's car because he has
Oh,
one
he
of
has
those.
that?
Yeah, that's his baby. Yeah.
Oh,
He has a
okay.
blue Mark IV
All right,
R32.
cool. He's got the only German car that's kind of cool.
I
Good
had
job.
so I liked those because I ended up getting a B5 Audi as my
Which is like the
first car.
same thing.
Nah, it was like the same era, so a lot of the plastics kind of felt like it, and it had that same like pixelated center screen that
Now,
always
this is the
went
Mark
out.
IV.
Yeah, Mark IV.
Now, did that have a 5-cylinder or a VR6?
That's
No,
a
I had a
VR6.
VR6, yeah.
Okay.
So the funny you say that because Travis says that like the B5 S4 was the fanboy car. Like he has like the two fanboy cars because like the R32 Mark IV R32 and then the B5 S4 of the era where like the Euro kid. If you had those, you were the hot shit.
You were
Yeah,
hot
yeah.
shit
No,
because
for
I'm-
sure. Yeah, because if you had a Golf, it was like, eh.
Yeah.
And
Your
then you had a
wheels are
GTI,
probably-
you were like, yeah, that's pretty sick.
Dude,
Then
no.
you had the R32, you're like, whoa.
There was this one dude. I honestly think he was from Connecticut, but I followed him on Instagram when Instagram's header was like blue and shit. And he had an S4 and he posted a video of a launch and I was like, "Damn. I want that."
Yeah.
Like
They're
thing was-
cool.
boom.
Until you find out what the real R32 is, and then you're like, all right, well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, no, I couldn't. I didn't really know how to work on it. Like I got the car and I literally just didn't know how to do anything. I was like, "What the fuck? Why can't I open this like lid for the coolant. And I'm like, why is it boiling in there? And I'm like, I don't know anything about
Yeah.
this thing.
Yeah, no, I knew the Audis just suck to work on. Like, that's unless you
Yeah.
really love them. Like,
There's nothing good to say about working on an Audi. I feel
no,
like.
no, I love Audis, but I love old Audis. So like my cutoff year is probably like 1995 down, which is
Okay.
where the simple stuff. Like if you look at mine right now, like it looks like a 240. It's just pretty standard. You know, the engine's facing the right way.
You
Everything's
could
like
see the
roomy.
engine.
Yeah, there's no stupid plastics. The
Yeah.
turbo's there. Everything's there. You know, there's no. So the old Audis are cool, but Travis likes the new Audis, so he's got the fanboy B5 S4 and the
I mean, hey, they're
R32.
nice, but like you said, you know, you want to if you got to work on it, it's like fuck, dude.
Yeah, no, and they're also expensive, dude. Those cars were just out of my spectrum back then. Like I knew of S4s because Bam Margera had a blue
yeah.
automatic. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that
Yep.
thing was nice.
Yep, he had the Nogara blue, and dude, and I was just like an Audi. I was like, I don't know Audis back then, but I was just like, that's sick. Like that looks like an expensive car.
Was it the B4 or whatever? That's the one with the wider body, right?
The
Like
B5 was like had like this little notch in the trunk.
well, I mean, like the wheel well, like the
Oh.
Fender flare type thing, like it kind of like
I
stuck
feel
out.
like it
more.
really wasn't. It was the bumpers and like the
Yeah,
color
dude, I
matched
have this
trims.
weird. I have this weird thing where like I imagine this car
No.
a lot different than it
You're talking
was.
about the
No, you're-
RS4.
You're right, because so a lot of the S cars for the Audis actually have wider fender flares. So like,
Was it?
yes, by default, and like the RS6
That
actually
one was wide as
has like
fuck.
really wide fenders.
That's,
really
maybe
wide.
that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, but like if you look at my S6 right now, which is a 95, and you look at a regular A6, which is the normal trim, the fenders are wider than mine. The bumper is wider, so it
wow.
makes it look more aggressive, which kind of sucks because then the bumpers are unique to the S car.
Yeah.
And there was only like less than 400 of those wagons brought into America.
Oh
so
wow. So your car's pretty rare.
it's extremely rare.
That thing is
And we're
sick.
just throwing SRs in the trunk.
yeah. And I'm just driving it through New York City, like
Yeah.
with engines and stuff. So.
Yeah, whipping engines around. Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong here.
So I love that thing, dude. It's sick. I love it.
No, it's good. I mean, I like how the trunk, like we were saying when we were putting the engine in, the
Bro,
fucking
the
hatch is
trunks,
so.
the trunk struts literally launched that thing up. I was like,
Yeah, and it's got a lot of room. Like you open the trunk and you have a lot of room to put that engine hoist in, so it's perfect for
Yeah.
what
yeah.
you do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I bought it with the intentions because I've always had my 240, had the BRZ, and I never had a truck. I never had a
Are
bigger.
you trying to not buy a truck?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like
I've been
wanna-
there before too. I
I want to
get it.
be that dude. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And like I have like that foreigner scent where I'm like, nah, I'm not. I'm not
Yeah.
American where I need a big truck. You know, like
Yeah.
I'll get like a little truck and then that's it if I need it. But my dad has a truck. My dad has a Dodge Ram, so
So if you need it, you can get it.
yeah.
I was the same way, dude. And then when I needed a truck, I was like, oh, I gotta get a truck. I gotta trailer my car, this and that. And then I was like, I'm gonna get a short bed. You know, I don't want I don't want to have to park this thing, this and that.
Yeah.
Then only ones I could find were long beds, and I was like,
Hmm.
all right, let me just buy it anyway. This one looks clean. After probably like 6 months of owning it, I will never, ever buy a short bed truck ever, dude. That long bed changed my life.
I'm sure. Dude.
You can just throw anything, full size motorcycles, anything you want back there. Dude.
It makes a difference. That little extra 3 feet or whatever, 4 feet.
Yeah, 3 feet.
2 feet.
2 feet. Is it 2 feet?
Oh, that's it.
how many more
Yeah,
bodies
5
could you
feet.
put in there?
5 feet is like a newer.
Is 5 foot a standard bed?
Is like a newer truck.
Yeah, it's like
nowadays.
4.5 or 5
I thought it was
feet.
a
It's a
6
standard
foot
bed.
bed was a norm.
Oh, you're right. It is a 6 foot bed.
yes,
so it's
sir.
2 feet. Yeah.
Bitch, I got you.
Dude,
I
that
won.
2 foot difference
Makes a world.
It
Yeah.
Well,
makes a
it's like
difference,
newer
man.
Generation trucks,
I'm
right?
sure,
6
dude.
foot was the shortest bed. I
for
think
for
you
a,
could get.
yeah for American trucks. 6 foot is the quote unquote
Yeah.
standard size.
But
It almost
nowadays, a lot of 5 foot beds are.
Yeah,
short.
dude. Nowadays, don't even get me started.
Frankie has me noticing this shit now because one day we were where were we? I don't know, but we talked about 8 foot bed, and now when I'm like looking at a truck, I'm like, that was kind of.
If you ever see a Dodge Ram on the road, that bed is like 1 foot.
it looks so small, and I'm like,
Yeah,
huh?
they don't because people don't care about they're not using trucks for truck
yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
You
no,
know what I mean?
exactly.
What are they
They're-
using it for?
To put their family in it and drive to the
Oh,
restaurant
like
after
not
work.
pickup trucks.
Feel like
Yeah,
a big
Like
man.
an Avalanche.
Yeah.
You got a pickup, but you have a family.
I fuck with the Avalanche.
The
though.
these guys just want trucks because they think like, oh, if I have a truck, then my friends will think I do stuff. But it's like, your bed
Is
is
that what it is?
for sure, dude. And the bed is like 2 feet long. And you're like, dude, you ain't doing anything.
The,
like,
the hitch receiver is like dead clean. That's how you
Yeah.
can tell, dude. That's like if you have a clean hitch receiver, you're a bitch.
if you have a clean hitch receiver and the nuts hanging from the back, like the nut sack, you know that fucking thing.
It's Jake's truck.
Like, does he have that?
No.
Oh,
Maybe I
like
should
his keychain.
Maybe
Yeah,
I should get him that.
yeah, like his keychain, the nut sack. Do you ever see those things in Connecticut?
Yes, yeah.
dude. What the fuck is
Yeah.
that?
Why did you specify in Connecticut?
I don't
still
know.
don't
We
know
have a lot
how
of hicks.
JB got into engines.
Okay, dude. All right.
God damn it.
Look, man, I got to make this a little bit exciting. I mean,
It's
we
'cause
talk
you had
about
a cookie.
He brought up trucks. All right, go on. Go on.
But the thing is, okay, I do fuck. You said your dad had a Dodge Ram. Is that there's a diesel in that, right?
No, my dad bought a gas truck. He's a truck guy, so like I said, like I told you, he had the swapped Cummins.
That's why I
Blazer
just
back
assumed.
then.
I was like, that sounds like a sick build.
So like my dad liked trucks. He likes big trucks and stuff like that. So when I wanted to get a sports car, he wasn't really supportive about it because like he didn't know, and like that also came into the engine building because I was like, I want to change the pistons. I want to change that, and he's like, no, why are you putting aluminum pistons in it? Like you're fucking it up. Like leave it alone. I'm like, no, Dad, I have to build this motor. Like I want to do it. So.
I want to race.
But that's another story.
That's the second podcast episode.
So street racing was super prominent in that time.
Yes.
With car meets and stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
So there was a lot, like back then, seeing a big turbo car was like a big deal. Like you had to have money, you had to have resources, you had to be into the game to
Assets.
like build a car like this. Like you, back then it was like, dude, like this person took an engine out of a car, modified it, put a big turbo on it, and like, you know, like that's a lot of money to me back then for a high school kid.
Still a lot of money.
So back then, like there was Hondas racing at the local car meets, and there was like literally 10-second Hondas with big turbos, and like back then when like people just did drop in pistons and rods, so like they would have a lot of piston slap, and like you would hear the pistons in the car as they would idle in the pump, and then you knew that was a Bill motor, and like I would be like,
Yeah.
oh my god, that dude's got a Bill motor, and it'd be like
Like CP pistons.
pretty much, yeah, with like 5,000 plus piston and wall clearance.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
like
yeah.
on the whole, like they're just like rattling in there,
Jesus.
but
Is that really how it was?
yeah.
Piston
That almost
slap.
just seems like I wouldn't want to do that.
I mean, back then most of the engine builds were like home build, like
Yeah,
you know, like
like-
you put it together at home. So I
And
looked.
That's crazy. Just because I know all the machines, I saw all the machines that you guys use and shit now.
So I mean, it's unfortunately you can half-ass a lot of stuff. So like you don't need all the fancy machines, and we honestly don't even have that fancy of machines. Like we're pretty standard for what we have.
Okay.
There's a lot way nicer stuff than we have, but with what we have, it does generally everything. Like we don't need a fancy CNC hone that measures by itself. You know, we know how to read a dial board. Like in the end, numbers are numbers. So whatever machine you use to get there, like that's good. But you can't do a valve job at home. Like you can't lap valves, and like you can't call that a valve job. You can't hone at home with a three-finger hone.
Little drill.
Yeah, no,
Dude,
like,
I don't want to get into this yet, but I got questions for you when we get to the valve jobs and stuff like that. Because holy shit.
absolutely. So that's one thing. So like I said, you can half-ass a lot of this stuff. So that's why it brings the industry down, because Joe Schmo in like the backyard can say that they can rebuild your engine for $500 versus the big machine shop that's gonna charge you $1,500.
Yeah.
So they go to the Joe Schmo that's gonna freaking like lap your head on a sandpaper and like
I
lap
seen
the
the video.
valves. Yeah. And
Cletus down in Patterson.
Nah, dude, this guy put like the engine head. I think Riley from the Roadstar showed me this video. He fucking like puts the engine, or it might have been Fischetti. He put the engine head like up against a wall or some shit, and he's just sitting there going, shh, 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 shh.
That is one way to do it.
it is.
It is?
Yeah.
But not if it's warped. If it's warped, you're not gonna get the warpedness out of that. Like
Yeah.
that's just to clean up the surface, and like we do that. That's called lapping,
Okay.
lapping the head. So like, if you take like a head and it was good enough, say like it's an iron head, they're pretty sturdy.
Yeah.
So you're trying to just clean up the surface, and like we grab like it's a piece of a stainless, like a heavy stainless that's like ground flat, and then like we put a sandpaper on it with a high grit, and then just kind of like scrub it with it, and that flattens out like the little imperfections out of it.
But that's for like minimal.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
like to kind of clean it up, and like usually after you do that and you see like the kind of like where the head gasket sits, you start to see like the witness marks,
Yeah.
and that's when you know like, okay, I need a real resurface because there's gouging in the where the head gasket is going to seal.
Okay.
But most people won't think about it like that. They're like, oh, I can just do that and just slap it together and throw a composite head, which is fine, because there's composite head gaskets out there that will crush.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to do race stuff, doing MLSs,
Yeah.
that's not okay.
No, you're not going to get away with that. 'Cause
So-
it needs to be perfectly flat.
You can get away with really haggard stuff like in a tractor engine on a daily driver car, something like stupid like that. Sure. It's not done right, but it ain't the right way. You're not rectifying a head unless you have a nice resurfacer or
Yeah.
honing a cylinder to size unless you have actual cylinder honing machine.
So it's like if you're gonna go to a shitty machine shop or something, you might be better off with a stock head gasket.
Pretty much, yeah. And that's why those machine shops thrive, just because up until recently, I would say, the standards were like that. They're like people weren't using MLSs like this. Like people are using like O-rings and stuff like that, like really old school stuff.
Yeah, I feel like even OEM stuff is probably way more like high tech now, right? Like,
Yeah. Now all engines are like MLSs pretty much,
Wow.
right? I think
yeah, I don't know, but I would assume like I could see that happening, like
Yeah.
BMWs and stuff.
most of the stuff is like all MLSs, Volkswagens, and
Wow.
yeah.
So now it's kind of like they got to start stepping up.
Yeah, even Nissan actually switched over to MLSs for the VET turbo.
Oh wow.
So, and they still sell it, which is weird because they still sell that head gasket and they sell the S13 head gasket. So if you buy the S13 head gasket, it's like a shitty composite
Yeah.
like cardboard, and then
Yeah.
you buy the 2007 SR20 VET of the X-Trail GT, and it's a nice MLS. Like,
wow.
dude,
I didn't know that.
they bolt up to the S13 block, so like that's a cheap ticket
Yeah.
to get an MLS on there, and it's bulletproof to, like I say, up to 1,000 horsepower, because that's what the front wheel drive guys do.
Yeah.
They throw the head gasket on there.
We've been using Apexi head gaskets. How do you feel about those?
I love those. Those are
Okay.
the best things.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking. We're like, it seems like Apexi seems to be the best head gasket.
It is, yeah, no, absolutely. Before MassWorks, I think MassWorks copied that design, but the Apexi head gasket, I like it a lot because it's a full grommet. It's
Around
not
the
a crush.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like an O-ring.
Mm-hmm.
So you can reuse that head gasket. I've reused my head gasket like 5 times.
Holy shit.
So it is expensive, but if you're reusing your head gasket, dude, it pays for itself.
Yeah. So Tom, make sure you get those Apexi head gaskets.
Yeah. Just
Isn't
don't-
that what
No,
he bought?
he
from-
always buys Apexi head gaskets, but I think he reuses them. I mean, he doesn't reuse them. So
No, I would dig through the garbage. I actually dug through my garbage and found my own Apexi head
the
gasket.
thing is, it's Tom. He better replace everything and just pray.
Back then, like, yeah, I was in that same mentality, and I was just like, you know what? Let me take my chances.
Yeah.
And the more I learn about engine building, so I was just like, you know what?
Yeah.
I got away with it. And I was like, I wouldn't reuse it to a customer. I'll tell the customer now,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. No.
buy it. Like, I wouldn't.
Like,
but-
yeah, I can reuse this if you want, but it's not gonna, there's no guarantee now. So
Yeah, no.
You should probably get a new one.
And thing is, like, I think I posted about that one time in my Instagram story, and somebody like reused the Tomei one.
no.
The crush, yeah. And it just instantly leaked, and I was like, well, I saw you doing it like yours, and I was like, yeah, bro, but I have the Apexi one, so like, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, like you had to go, you said go, it's all right, and I was just like, oh, my bad, dude. Like, so now I
man.
specify that like the Apexi is the only one that you can reuse,
Yeah.
because yeah,
Not
don't.
even Tomei?
Tomei. Well, I mean, we have some here, I think.
So wait, so the moment you took down the head, that Tomei head gas is no longer good.
No, well, here's the thing with MLSs, you can reuse. I mean, don't do this because I said it, but you can reuse them if
Allegedly.
you don't run them. So like, say like you put the head on, and then you forgot to do something. You forgot to put the water connector, because like you can't do that without the head off, and then you gotta take the head off. So okay, like you can take the head off, and then just plop it back on the Tomei, and that's it. You haven't run it, but if you ran it, if you put a couple heat cycles on it, like I wouldn't.
Oh, it's
like that.
done?
Yeah, that's done.
Okay, I was getting a little worried
Yeah.
Oh,
that-
what, you did that with yours?
with my engine. So, a short story. What happened was I built my SR.
Mm-hmm.
I had a Tomei head gasket on it. There was a washer inside one of the cylinders. So I was like, great. So I took the head off, and I was like, okay, only the head took the damage. I had a spare head laying around. Took it off, swapped the head, and then my friend torqued the ARP head stud too fast, and then it snapped.
Oh.
Which brings us to our next subject.
Wait, was the washer in between the head and the block?
No.
Or,
Oh wait, the small washer.
yeah, the one that you said like was in there.
Upon first startup, the small washer was in between the head and the block.
Oof.
Oh,
And
wait, really?
I couldn't get it out. Oh, you mean like it crushed the washer?
Yeah, like
No,
the-
it was
you
just inside
in the cylinder.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I was like, I
Oh,
thought you
and then-
clamped it down.
No.
But you did start it up?
Yeah, I started up and I heard it
Oh, fuck.
clicking. I was like,
You got lucky.
yeah, and then I still have a picture of the head. It's like a little chewed up. Like
Yeah.
the squish pad,
Mm-hmm.
it just got chewed up a little bit.
Yeah, that's where it will crush against the piston.
Mhm.
So
You're lucky a valve didn't get in the valve. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I tested with water. The valves seemed fine, so
Yeah.
I kept the head. So I took the head off, swapped the head, torqued it back down, snapped the ARP head stud, and I was like, how the fuck does this happen? Like, he was doing it fast. Like, he was torquing down lug nuts.
Did he have like the lube on there?
I
The
had
molly
the lube on it, yeah.
under the washer, under the yeah.
Yeah, I did.
I mean
did
that
have it.
happens. That happens all the time. Like,
So then I hit up Frankie and I was like, I need a set of ARP head studs. And even that day he was like, how do you snap an ARP head stud?
yeah.
That was years ago, and that was the first time you came here, right?
No. I was
Oh,
coming
was it?
before that.
Okay.
But that's why I was getting worried about reusing a Tomei head gasket, because I have a Tomei head gasket.
Mm-hmm.
And my car's been running fine for the past 4 years.
No, you're golden, dude. Like,
Yeah, if you're gonna have a problem, you're probably gonna have it.
Yeah,
yeah,
it would have happened by
it's
now.
from something else. Yeah.
All right.
But
Okay.
what was I gonna say about? Oh, ARP head studs. So you have a love-hate relationship with ARP head studs with SRs, right?
Yeah. So what happens is like it's a faulty design. I think so. The SR20 head studs are it's the Ks. The Ka head studs are the same part number as the Saturn 1.9.
Okay.
liter, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, those are the same head studs, and like you'll find that into a lot of engines, they share the same head stud.
They do the same thing with the flywheel bolts, because the flywheel bolts we have there for a Ford, but they fit a SR.
Yeah, and they also
Yeah.
feel like RBs and everything, and like
Yeah.
it's so a lot of the hardware, like main head studs and main studs, are pretty much the same for.
I'm assuming there's like some sort of like a length that
Yeah.
people use.
The thread pitch and the length, and then
Yeah, so like you mainly match the thread pitch. If you match the thread pitch, which is most like Mitsubishi, Toyota, they all usually use the 11 millimeter threads. So as long as you match the length, even if it's just protruding a little too high, and you get the washer in there, like you can use those head studs.
Yeah.
Like that's not a problem. Which is like one of the ways that SR20 people have been using L19 head studs is because the 4B11 head stud is the same length as an SR. So they sell fancy L19 material head studs for 4B11s. So people that are SR20 people that are trying to make like a lot of power, they'll buy those and they drop right in, which is like a weird front wheel drive trick. But they also work on SR2 on rear wheel drives.
But the main problem is the length of them, right?
Yeah, so talking about that reason why they interchanged the studs, so I think ARP uses a Volkswagen main stud for the SR20 head stud.
Okay.
Or like one of those. It's like a different engine. So the thread engagement is very little because it's meant to be for an iron block. So iron blocks are a lot stronger threads. So it engages poorly into the SR20 aluminum, and then when you go torque it up, and I think back then they used to tell you to torque it up to like 90 or close to 90, which is like insane.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
know.
it still is.
It still is the same?
For sure.
Yeah.
They tell you doing 3 equal steps to 90 foot-pounds.
Yeah. So, which I mean, the torquing is right.
For an iron block?
Yeah, and for the fastener, which is they determine that by whatever engineering calculations that they do. They come up with a torque value. So we don't have enough engagement on the aluminum block because number one, they're using a different stud from a Volkswagen, and they refuse to make a SR20 specific stud with the updated fix.
But Mazworks got them too.
So I think that's the reason why Massworks did it, was because they were like, all right, because the stud that Massworks sells is made by ARP.
Yeah.
So
and
they
you can't get them because I've tried. So they have their own little.
Yeah, they're
deal.
locked. Yeah, you can't do that unless you customize your own blueprint.
Yeah, your own one,
Yeah.
or you buy them directly from them.
Yeah.
Which we do, and we stock them. Well, we try to whenever they have them.
Yeah, but you have to go through a couple people to get them. But thank God for Massworks for addressing that issue and coming up with the right one. So
yeah, because I personally didn't have those issues ever until we started talking, and you brought it up, and I was like, "That's weird. I never really seen that." And then I think someone else had an issue with it, and all of a sudden I started seeing this shit all the time.
hopefully I didn't jinx it.
Yeah, I was like, "What the fuck, man?" Remember when you were tightening head studs on someone's, and then you were starting to freak out because JP had a problem with my engine.
Oh yeah, I stripped yours.
This was Wags's engine.
Yeah, and you were like, "Oh God!"
And we were using
He was,
ARP
like, so
head
scared.
studs. I was like, yeah, because I was on the second step. I was trying to get to 60. And it was at like 56, and it just wasn't getting tighter. I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And then
He's like,
eventually it
"Frankie."
tightened it up. I just
Yeah, no, because the washer squishes onto the aluminum, so like sometimes you get like that that spin.
Yeah, that's
And it's
scary.
like,
yeah. Yeah.
It scares me. Oh my god.
So we did Tom's engine the other day, and he had the Mazworks one. I'm assuming he did, but I don't remember. Did he? I don't know.
Yeah, he bought the Mazworks one.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I feel like they weren't, but I guess they were. But yeah, so they're just a little longer. They bottom out in the actual block. So what I'm assuming is happening is the regular ARP ones are bottoming out with the threads.
Yes, so they bottom out before they
threads
touch.
end.
Yeah, the threads end onto the body. So like,
So you still could have some.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I have a picture of all three studs, like the half inch, the ARP, and then the Massworks next to
okay.
each other, and you can visibly see how much more thread engagement the Masswork
Okay.
one has.
So at least I mean that solves that mystery. I mean that's exactly what's happening. You're tightening
Partially, yeah, because the SR20s also like the 11 by 1 millimeter threads are just so puny and.
Well, I mean, at least we know what's happening. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's obviously the stud's not long enough. They're probably using it from another one. You know, if only they just made one for the SR instead of borrowing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about the Volkswagen market versus the SR20 market. So like,
Yes.
ARP they make bolts for everything. So they could just drop the SR20 bolts and then be like, we don't give a shit. Like,
Yeah.
we don't care. So
But yeah, like you said, the threads you just don't like it because it's aluminum and they're just weaker, right?
yeah,
In general.
I mean, SR20s are just usually they've been taken apart already. Like it's 2023. These engines are as old as us.
Yeah.
So it's just more like the block is brittle. It's not a new block. So like even if you use a Massworks, you can end up stripping it because that's what happened in my engine. At first, when I had Massworks machine it, I had standard size studs. I broke the timing chain. I sent the head back to Massworks to get the valves fixed. Got the head back, and then like I went to go torque it up, and like it didn't hold 60 pounds before it started
God.
spinning, dude. And like this was before I worked at the machine shop, and dude, and I was like, my stomach sank, dude. I spent $5,000.
Dude, I know that feeling, man. That's like, I mean, because now we don't have that feeling because we're in the industry. But like,
Pretty much.
when you're not, and
It
you're
was-
and you're stripping, that's like hitting your quarter panel on something, you know? It's like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
fuck, now the car's like total.
Pretty
because-
much.
Yeah,
Been there, done that. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
It's
So
like that feeling, like fuck. It's like your spark plug stripping out or something. You're
pretty
like,
much.
Oh,
yeah,
fuck.
it's like, and dude, back then, like I assembled my motor before. Like that's the one thing I did. Like I assembled the engines. I never had a stock SR20. I had to put my first SR20 together
Okay.
from I brought one that was like burning oil for like $500. Back then, you could find a shitty SR20 swap for $500.
Oh yeah.
So one of my buddies called me. He's like, "Oh, one of my friends has a SR or something. Like you said you wanted," and I was like, "Really?" Like, and he's like, "Yeah, how much you want for it?" And he's like, $100. And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, he just wants to get rid of it. And I was like, "No way." So we drove there, and then I show up, and then this is like pretty wealthy kid's house. Like they
Yeah.
have. He had like a Shelby GT 500. That was his car. He's 18 years old.
It's Nicolas Cage.
His younger brother had a Roush Mustang. He was like 16 years old.
Pretty wealthy is an understatement.
the-
But yeah.
the-
Anthony Rizzo.
I don't know, man. That's the thing about Connecticut. Like we have like the wealthy people like that. Like they're low key, but they're cool. Like and
Yeah.
I guess like the mom and the dad had also like other Roushes. So like
What the fuck?
yeah, and it was pretty crazy.
It was
And
the
he had a
Roush.
shitty-
It was the Roush family.
Yeah.
And this kid had a fucking SR.
So I guess like he had a flatbed. Like he had this flatbed, and I guess like the story was that like one of his buddies had a 240 and it got stolen or something, and then he got it back, and then like he got it back with the flatbed, and then like came to his house, and his parents didn't want it there, so he wanted it gone. And he was like, "Dude, $400 for the whole car or $100 for the engine." So I was like, this is bullshit. Like this is not real. Cause like these are not 240 kids. And like my buddy was into SRT4. So like he didn't even know what an SR20 was, but he heard
Yeah.
me talking about it saying like, "Oh, I want to put an SR20 turbo. This is what came in the car." So
Please tell me you bought the whole car.
yeah, this is where the story gets crazy. So we show up there and I'm like, okay, like I see this S13 on the ground. Like it's got no wheels, it's got no like they took the coilovers out. It's a hatch. It's got Mark IV Supra taillights molded onto the back.
What the fuck?
Oh wait.
Oh yeah. Yeah, OEM Mark IV Supra taillights.
No, because I feel like I've seen photos of that somewhere.
Yeah, people probably do this shit.
Yeah.
People have done that like a few times.
I had
Okay.
a kid
But-
in high school with 2G Eclipse with
Wait.
Mark IV Super taillights.
Hell yeah.
Another common one is the what is it? It goes on one of the Hondas where they put the Mark IV Super lights.
It's probably a fucking Skyline,
No.
right?
No. It was they put it on I think an EG or like a Del Sol or some shit where they put the fucking Mark IV super lights long.
Oh my god.
But anyway, so they had it molded on this shell.
Yeah, you could tell that like somebody tried to build this car. So I was like, okay, let me see the engine because this is what I'm after. Like I can't buy another car. Like I don't have nowhere to put it. So we show up. I think this was probably 2010. Yes, 2010 before I had an SR.
Okay.
So we show up there and the kid's like, yeah, give me $100 and just take the engine and whatever else you want from it. So the engine,
Hype.
the engine was like, it wasn't installed. Like the transmission was on there, like plopped in there, and like they threw the engine and like the cross member, and then the head was also off. So like it was like,
Pieces.
like if you like somebody got evicted that didn't pay their bill and like you threw everything together like because you were pissed and like you threw it
Yeah.
outside. That's what it would look like. You were halfway done through his engine build and like you threw it out. So
The head was off.
yes,
That's so.
You should have took the taillights at least and sold them on eBay.
I regret the taillights. Like, a lot. I think about those taillights a lot because I was like, damn, dude, like those are OEM because I remember looking at them. But like back then, like they were like, I don't know.
They probably a dime a dozen
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
No one cared back then.
So I gave the kid $100 and then I took the head and I noticed that it had BC stuff in it, like springs and retainers. You could see like a lot of the red RTV like around the oil pan. So you could tell somebody like
touched it already.
put this thing together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the kid was like, this thing was built. So like I was like, you're selling me a built motor for $100? Like no, like that's why
Something's up
Something's
here.
not right.
yeah. But
Frankie's red lights would be.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but at the same time, I'd be like,
then $100.
all right, dude, I'm fucking buying this shit. Like, I'm like, if you're that fucking dumb, then I'm just buying this car right now. Sorry, we got someone picking up a car outside. Everyone's staring at the camera right now.
Yeah, as long as my car's not getting stolen.
No, you're good. We had a
Gotta be like,
customer picking up.
looks like that's where my IS is, and they're getting in. So
Yeah, no. But it's, you know, as a reminder, this is an active shop,
yes.
so this happens occasionally.
Wait, I need to hear about this SR.
Yeah, so you get the SR. Well,
So yeah, I'm looking at it and it's like, okay, like it's in pieces, but it's got parts in it. It's got like, looks like springs and retainers. There's like some BC boxes and then like everything looked like really trashed.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, $100. So I take the head, I take the block. I can tell it has some aftermarket pistons and like rods in it. So I take that. It looks like an Excetti flywheel. So I'm already like, okay, I'm already like making money. Like, this is
Yeah.
fine.
I already
you're
made
in.
money on this
Yeah.
shit.
So
Holy
like I'm
shit.
taking that and then like one of my buddies like starts taking off the steering wheel and it's like it's got a Momo Champion steering wheel that I knew was like $300-$400. So like we take that and then like I
dude.
take the Walbro fuel pump and I forget
This is
what
a
else.
whole
Like,
SR build sheet right here going on.
pretty much. This is how I got my first swap. Like was like
By
was,
the
like-
time JP left, the car was a shell on the ground.
Well,
You
it was
ever-
already on the ground.
No one saw it. Anyone see the movie Lord of War? Anyone?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yes.
You remember the airplane when they leave it in the middle of Africa, and
Yeah.
and then but the next day they come and the whole plane is dismantled.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened with that car.
Literally.
Yep.
So I mean, he said like if I gave him $400, he would take it and like deliver the car with a flatbed. But like I said,
Yeah,
back then I was young. My parents would have never let me
your dad would have
take.
killed you.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I bought the motor. You know, I was like, oh, super tail lights. Like I should have probably took those. But I got the steering wheel. I got the fuel pump. I got the engine.
Yeah.
I don't know if an intercooler. No, I don't think an intercooler came.
And how
with it.
much was this? $200?
$100 he gave me, and then yeah, he said $400, and I could have took everything, but $100 I could take the motor and like whatever else.
$100
I
you could
wanted.
take anything you can walk away with.
Back
Alright.
then, those Craigslist deals sometimes was it Craigslist or it was through a buddy? you
No,
said?
it was through a buddy. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
but
that's
I
even
feel like
better.
people back then were more willing to that. I caught like the tail end of that of people being super nice at a sale. Like
Oh,
that's when did that happen to
That's
me?
how you got those wheels.
That's
2010.
That's how I got
I would say.
Chris's wheels, those LMs. That's how I got a Sylvia front traded for a pop-up front.
The LM story is the craziest story.
That's because you almost
Give
got
him the
killed.
fast version.
Yes.
Fast version. I was on Craigslist. Fucking loved Craigslist back then. By the way, shout out Craigslist because that shit was dope.
Yep.
But I saw a picture of LMGT2s. Didn't know what LMGT2s were. Had an S13. Now I just Google it, and they were $500. But it was only a picture of one, and I was like, "Is this for a pair?" And he was like, "Nah, for 4." And I was like, "What the fuck?" So then I looked it up, and it was in like Buffalo or some shit, which was 7 hours from where I was from.
Jesus.
And I only had an S13, but it was an SR, and I straight piped the car the night before, drove up there, was talking to some dude at the address. I asked him like, "Where's the wheels?" And the dude was like, "What wheels?" And I thought I was getting kidnapped. But then this other guy showed up and he was like, "That was my neighbor. Here are the wheels." Fucking LMGT2s in the box. I went home, $500. Boom, boom,
I
gone.
feel like that's
And
crazy.
GTR spec.
And GTR spec square
I
with
used
the
to
caps.
see them back then too, and like thing is, I wanted LMGT2s too, and I couldn't afford them. Like I was like a broke kid.
Yeah.
So I got my Rhoda P45Rs, which are like the LMGT2
I
ripoff.
still like no, those are GT4s.
Oh, the
The
GT4.
GT2s were those like multi-piece looking ones, like on Chris's.
Oh, the
wheel.
flat.
It was like a 5-spoke that was
With a
flat
lip.
with a lip.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I always
yeah.
get them mixed up.
Yeah.
So the LMGT4s, yeah, were like the newer looking. With
But that
the,
Yeah, like the Mori spec.
He gave me
ones.
mad shit too. Like he was like, "Yeah, I got rid of my car. Do you need like gear oil or like oil?" He's giving me like AMSOIL shit. I'm like, which by the way, at your shop we had a quick conversation about oil.
Mhm.
I believe Driven Motorsports was one,
Yes.
but I use Pennzoil now
yeah.
because of that.
Oh, the
day.
Pennsylvania.
the
oil thing.
Pennsylvania oil
Yeah.
field thing,
Absolutely, yeah,
dude. I be buying Pennzoil, man.
Yeah,
that was you.
absolutely. Support the U.S., man. We got the best racing oil here, right in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, you were telling us we have the best oil field for.
Now, even that day, I on the back of the label.
Yeah.
We were at JP's shop and he was explaining how the oil fields work and like on the labels and shit. And now when I'm at the parts store, I got
You're like,
I'll
where
get
was this shit
curious,
made?
and I'm like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, what the fuck, this shit oil field in Texas? Nah, get a different one.
Yeah, give me that Pennsylvania.
Nah, get a different one.
They actually have like those bottles have a stamp where it says like Pennsylvania grade oil, like
Yes.
stamped on them.
Yeah,
Which is
dude.
So
Weird.
that's what you want to look for.
Yeah, Pennsylvania grade for like your
That's
racing.
sweet, sweet Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the reasoning for that?
So my boss is saying that it's something to do with the geographic features
Yeah,
of the
just
land.
like that section of land.
Pennsylvania also has a lot of what are those mines, like lime, or is it what do they
Zinc.
have? Zinc. A lot of zinc mines. Yes.
I don't know, man.
Did you
Don't-
just guess that?
zinc is because zinc is the shit in oil that I feel like
It's
Oh
the
yeah,
cushion.
yeah, that's the
it's
thing
it's
people want.
it's that and like I know in Rotella it has a high
Phosphor.
amount of zinc in that. I think
Zinc and
right?
phosphor are like the two best ingredients that you want to look for. in
Okay.
oil. So a high zinc oil. The zinc is like the cushion. That's like it's basically like a metal.
Uh-huh.
So the more zinc you want, you can have on your oil, the better. But zinc's gonna ruin the cats. It's not emissions
It
friendly.
clogs up the cats. That's who did we? I honestly think it was Chris in this conversation who told me that Rotella would clog up a cat.
Oh,
then,
is that like
but
a
then,
thing?
But then on SRs,
Well, I mean, I guess.
First
on
time
a-
I'm hearing this.
on I don't know what it was early on, but I knew that for some reason. But
So
no
zinc
one
is
runs.
not great for cats.
No one runs a cat, so like.
Whoa,
or well,
whoa,
allegedly, allegedly, I don't have a hollowed out one.
Yeah,
No, I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
kidding. But no, yeah, that's what it is, right? So
Yeah.
that's what that is. That's why. Because
Yeah.
they got zinc.
Yeah, zinc is a big
cores?
deal in oil.
You have to think about like so oil. Back like when we were young, we all got taught that oil came from molten dinosaurs, right?
Yes.
So like we were gonna run out of it. There's not enough. Well, the truth is that oil comes from the crust of the earth getting mulched up and whatever over thousands of years, and then it eventually
No.
rises up in petroleum form.
These teachers were liars.
Yo,
So yeah,
I'm learning way
and
more right now.
Mind you, like
The
I learned
rainforest
this.
is still there too.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Wild.
So in certain areas of the world, there's obviously different types of vegetation and geography and all
Yeah.
that. It's all different. So Pennsylvania has a lot of zinc and whatever other minerals are in that area, and that's why Pennsylvania is known for a lot of mining and stuff.
Yeah.
So all that gets into that petroleum that's in that ground in Pennsylvania,
Little marinate going
and
on.
yeah, and pretty much that's like
Then
the
it comes
spice to it.
Yeah.
So my boss told me that oil from Saudi Arabia it's different, obviously, because the other side of the world they had different way back in prehistoric times they had a different type of vegetation than we did. So their petroleum is good for gasoline. So that's why that's the hot ticket oil, because everybody needs gas.
Huh.
So gas that's made from the Saudi Arabia oil is the best one. Now Venezuela is another part of the world where there's a lot of good oil. Venezuelan oil is good for cutting oils, industrial oils. And that is all because of the geographical features of the land have an effect on the oil that broths from the Earth's crust.
It's weird. Both places he named is somewhere America wants to go to war with. So
That's
weird.
crazy.
That's wild.
No, well, I was thinking more of it as
If I die tomorrow, you guys know.
I know it as, and I'm thinking about it as these are the conversations where when I'm buying something, I'm like, huh, that right there is from Venezuela.
Well, that's good. I mean, you got the pro tip now.
That PB blaster is gonna work way better.
Yeah. I don't know about all that, but
I'm just kidding. Like,
I mean,
like
Yeah, like
industrial type oil, what like hydraulic fluid and shit like that, maybe.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
what are you
Yeah,
talking about?
I mean, and also like gasoline, because Venezuela has stupidly cheap gas, despite all like the socialism and stuff. But Venezuela was a very, very nice place to live in the early 2000s, and then they had all the gas, all the oil and stuff, and they could have been like a mini
something happened.
Saudi Arabia. Yeah.
Goddamn.
But politics ruined that, and now they have plenty of gas and just
Yeah.
shit economy.
Well, at least you bought that SR20 for $100.
Yes.
oh, we're wrapping it back around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like how you did that.
You like that? You like
yeah,
that?
that was good.
We were about to be in fucking heavy tiptoe territory there. So
With me?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I don't need to get Frankie riled up now with politics and stuff like that and oil talk.
Yeah.
So
all right.
let's
Well, yeah,
So
we'll leave it at talking about the oils of the earth.
oils of the earth.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the name of this podcast. But so
So-
you got this SR20 for $100. What did you start to try to put it together? Obviously,
Yeah.
So-
What do you do now? You got a bunch of Legos on the ground.
because
You're
you couldn't just 2010 Zilvian shit. That was probably your
Yeah.
bread and butter now.
Yeah, it was actually 240SX1.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What is that?
240SX1.com. That was
That's the alternative site.
Not
the-
240SX motoring or whatever the
No,
hell.
no. I mean, that's a parts website.
Oh, parts website.
Yeah, 240SX1 was like a forum, like the New England 240 people, which is like mainly like New Hampshire, some in Connecticut, and that's how I met the people. Because like when I got my 240, I was the only person with it.
Yeah.
Like people, I went to a skate park. One of my buddies was like, "Oh, like JP bought a Skyline, blah blah. That's a Skyline," and like he was just
Yeah.
going around like telling people that's a Skyline. People believed him.
Yeah.
They're like, "Yo, you get the Skyline? I thought those were right hand drive," and then
Yeah.
I was like, no, this is a S14. Like this is kind of related to it, but
but
My
not
bud-
the same.
It's
Yeah.
got the same window switches. It's
Yeah.
something.
yeah.
My engine is NA.
Pretty much. But back then, it looked like a two-door Nissan, and
Yeah.
like it was like.
I mean, everyone thinks every single 240 is a GTR for some reason.
Till
I
this
don't know.
day.
Yeah.
Pretty
Like you see a
much.
hatch from the back with Cokie taillights, you're like, oh, that's a GTR.
It only happened a month ago.
Yeah.
Some dude stopped me like, yo, is that a Skyline? I'm like, no, that's a 240.
Well, those.
All right, bye.
Well, those S13 Cokie tails.
Yeah, they're just circles. That's why.
I just
Pretty,
love
yeah,
them
they
so
can.
much.
Yeah, I like that rear end a lot.
That
Yeah.
So
I
I kind of
remember.
like when they put the R32 taillights on
Tails?
them too.
Oh,
I-
okay.
Oh boy, you
You're
lost
tiptoeing
me.
into.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Frankie.
You might as well just put the fucking super taillights on.
I didn't think the Super taillights looked that.
Oh shit!
I was like,
man.
they kind of had it. If the car was a little wider
That
and like
shit worked?
roundier, it kind of would have worked. But
I
they
wanna
look
know-
nice. I like
wanna
the
know
rounds.
How much Bondo was on that bitch?
Dude, imagine. I was just while he was telling me this, I was just thinking like, imagine the guy that's just sitting there
He thought that was a good
fucking
idea.
molding this shit for hours. Like this shit's gonna be fucking hot at the next hot import nights. This shit's taking home a fucking trophy.
That's what would happen.
It
though.
probably would.
It,
Honestly,
it probably was
Yeah.
a hot import nice car because like I said, it had a Momo steering wheel. Like it had a semi-built SR20 from what it looked like. So like
Dude, I'm
It
just
was
thinking
hot.
about like the amount. Have you done any body work at all? You haven't really fucked your car up that bad, right? Knock on
no,
wood.
I crunched up a quarter panel. Yeah, not going.
That's what I'm talking about,
Wood.
really, because it's like, you know, I hit a guardrail once or whatever, and I had to like fix my quarter panel. Dude, you're there for hours, just fucking like sanding it. Just
What-
picture
what you-
this guy putting the super taillights in.
The problem is you weren't in the right form. Here's the form of a body guy. Put a cigarette in your mouth. Get the music going.
Yeah,
Absolutely no nose, eye, face, ear protection whatsoever.
that was me so far, except for the
And-
cigarette.
Well, then you were missing the cigarette.
Okay.
Then they're just shh, 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 shh.
Yeah,
shh.
that
you
was
can't
me.
be angry at nothing. You
Yeah.
gotta be like gone,
And then you're just like,
sitting there calmly. That's
And-
the secret.
and what do you say when you think it's good?
You go. That right there's glass, like smooth as silk.
Yep.
Like that.
And then you
probably
crash it
took
again.
so fucking long. Yeah.
And then you crash again at the wall. And then that's it.
Yeah, but you win hot import nights though.
Yeah.
You're winning.
Bro, eventually you will get through this story, I promise you, but it's gonna.
Yeah, I mean this is over 10 years of my life we're talking. So yeah, let's take our time.
Well, because I feel like I love to get to know the person behind it. We all know you build sick shit. Like
Yeah, we follow the Instagram.
We follow the Instagram. We see what gets made, like, and how, and if you want to see where it gets made, go check out that YouTube video. But like, I'm always curious, like, how did somebody get to where they are now? So you got this SR. This has to be probably one of the biggest stepping stones, right? Because now you got this. As a kid, you're probably tweaking.
Yeah. So I was, I think, 19 at this point now. So yeah, 18 or 19, and I couldn't afford an SR20 swap. That was my thing. Like, I could barely afford coilovers. I got the coilovers. That was all my money. It took me like 2 years to save that up, on top of paying my parents back the $2,700 for the 240.
Yeah.
So, like I said, $100. I was like, whatever. So I bought that, and I knew, I was like, okay, like, it's got pistons and rods, and I was like, okay, I can build a motor.
Someone put this together. I can do it.
So I was like, I'm not gonna spend. I think back then for an S14 swap was like probably $2,800. S15 swap was probably $3,000. So I was like, I don't have $2,800. Like, I can't. I don't want to justify buying that. Like, I couldn't. So I got that SR, and I was like, I'm gonna put my own together, because back then my buddy with the SCI was also building his motor, because he wanted to put a big turbo on it. So he was like going through the process. So I was like, you know what? I want to build motor too. So going back into the street racing thing, like the street racing that I grew up, I mean, the car scene that I grew up with was heavily into street racing. So having a built motor was like a big deal. You know, it was like you're a badass, like your car is powerful, like it's sick. Like having a built engine, like you're the shit. So I wanted that. Like I wanted to have a built motor in my 240, even though I didn't need a built motor to have an SR. But like I was like, I want to have like a sick motor.
Well, you're also just getting into it. I feel like we all make these same, I'm not gonna call them mistakes, but sometimes they're mistakes where it's like we just dive in too far. You know.
Yes. So that's part of like what happened after that. So that was because like I said, tough times create strong men.
Oh yeah.
Like easy times create weak men or whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel like if I would have bought an SR20 swap, dropped it in like how I'm doing right now, it wouldn't have taught me anything that I would have known now, because I had to put my first SR20 together using the parts that I bought for $100. I used the pistons, Ross pistons. I don't even know what Ross was.
I don't know what
Ross
that is.
I still don't.
They're like an American piston company. So like they made pistons for SR20. Like I think they were the front wheel drive ones because they were notched for the oil squirter, and you could tell somebody did that by hand. So they probably brought front wheel drive pistons, put those in there. It had Eagle rods. I knew of Eagle rods back then because my buddy was like,
Honda people love Eagle rods, man.
Eagle rods are good.
So it had those. I forgot what bearing. It had King bearings. I remember. Oh yeah, it had the bearings.
That's
good. It didn't have studs, which is what saved me. We'll get into that later.
Okay.
So I kept the head, which was BC springs retainers. I kept the pistons and rods, the bearings, and I kept the block. So I bought all that. I brought it home, and then I went on 246.1 classifieds, and I searched for like the cheapest SR20 swap I could find. So I found one that was in Massachusetts that was like burning oil or whatever, and the kid wanted like I think like $400. So it was a red top assembled. You know, it was like oily as shit. It was like really disgusting.
But complete.
Complete. Yes.
Okay.
I think I had the turbo. Yeah, or like the long block was there, and like the manifold was off, or like it was like generally everything was there. And it came with like a super hacked up wiring harness. This was before Wiring Specialties was in business, I think.
Okay.
And so I bought all that for like $400. We picked it up in the Jeep. And then we got home, and then I took it all apart, and I was just like, okay, like we have to rebuild this motor, and I'm going to put the pistons and rods in it. So I argued with my dad, you know, that we're changing the pistons and rods, and he's like, no, OEM factory is the best. Like, why would you do that? Nah. And then I showed him the clutch, and he's like, no, why would you put a $6? Like, you're supposed to use the full. And I was like, nah, dude. Like,
well, your dad was onto something.
Yeah.
Like, I get his philosophy. Like, he just fixes stuff OEM, and he works on big dump trucks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, he doesn't understand the racing. You know, like I'm trying to.
Like, Dad, I'm trying to go fast, Dad.
Yeah, and I'm
damn
like,
it.
yeah, and dude, it was an argument getting. I wanted to weld the diff, so like when I first got my car and I learned that it had an open diff, I was like, I need an LSD to drift. So I told my dad, I was like, Dad, can you weld my differential? And he's like, oh, you're not doing that. Like those are for people who are street race. I know what the fuck you're gonna do. He's like, that's gonna break your transmission. Blah blah. I know this. Like so, like there was no asking my dad to weld my differential.
Yeah, so you're kind of on your own now.
Pretty much. So I went on eBay and I found a 300ZX C32 differential on eBay for $50.
Damn.
And I bid it on it, and I won it for $50. And I was like, no way, I won it. So it showed up, dude. Like the box was all ripped up, and it was late at night. Like I remember going outside, and the box was like the diff was like halfway out.
You got a good memory, man.
Dude, it was the best times of my life. Like I remember that. So I got the diff. That was like my first real mod. So I got it. I put it in. Did my first burnout. I fell the rear end like skid around. And I was like, yeah, I have LSD now. So
Win.
that was hype. That was mega hype. And back then I used to daily the car. So like I told one of the biggest things I told my dad was like that I couldn't drive the car in the snow because it was a one tire fire. So like I would get stuck on the snow, which it happened a couple times.
Yeah.
So
Now
Was that how you were trying to convince him for the LSD?
yes.
Yeah.
So like
I mean, hey, for those kids listening out there, that's the way you convince your parents.
pretty much. I was trying to like use the responsible approach, which I mean was also right because I shouldn't have been daily driving a welded diff car. Like I don't agree with welded diffs, but like I also didn't have money. Like $50 was a big
Hey man, you
deal.
gotta do what you gotta do.
So I put the LSD in, and it was cool. And then I went to the junkyard, and I realized that base model S14s don't have a rear sway bar. So
I didn't even know that.
yes,
What the fuck?
yeah, they don't.
I believe it though.
That's crazy. Mine didn't come this way either.
So
Wait, like for real?
No, somebody just took it out of my car.
Oh, all right. Well,
but-
or maybe it didn't come with it.
I'm saying that he should put that back in there.
yeah, it's
Snappy.
very important sway bars.
Snappy.
So like I said, I wanted to like do the things to my car. I wanted to like fix it up. So I went to the junkyard, and I found back then J30s were everywhere. Like
Yeah.
back like early 90s Nissans was flooded. The junkyard was like an amazing place. I wish I had more money back then.
Yeah.
So I got the sway bar, I put it in my car, and I felt like a world of a difference. Like it was like, holy shit,
wow.
like yeah. Because I had like this little back road next to my house where it's like kind of like windy uphill. And like that's the way I still take to work, but like I call that like my tuning road. Where I would like do the mods in my car and like go and drive it up really hard up that
Yeah.
road and come back down.
That's
and
the
like
practice. That's
yeah.
the practice track.
that was the practice run. So I felt my diff there. I felt the weight sway bar there. And that's pretty much how I started like to get the car basically basic enough to drift, like at Lebanon.
Yeah.
So I would go to Lebanon with my VLSD and just fucking drift, and then it would fucking open up and it would just be shitty. But I had a good time, I was mad young, showing up with 14-inch tires, and it was great. It was great. Like, it was awesome. I lived it. So then after that, I said, I got the motor. I got the SR20. So I got the two motors, and I was like, okay, I'm going to learn to put this thing together because I want to build motor. So I've had my dad teach me. My dad's a mechanical engineer, so he had done an engine rebuild before. So he taught me how to like lap the valves. We did like the basic at home stuff. We bought like the 3-finger hone from AutoZone, and we like deglazed the
That's
cylinders.
pretty sick.
And I have like pictures of myself like washing the head outside like in the driveway with like
Yup.
a garden hose, like just
Yup.
like blasting it. Like
I feel like we all been there too.
yeah, dude. Back then, mad people talk shit about that, and I'm like, dude, I'm
Yup.
basically doing that nowadays for a living with the air hose and putting it on Instagram. People love it. Like
Yeah. Dude,
So-
we had a block in my driveway, and we're just like hosing it off, and I sent it to Josh to Lee's. They'll never let that go.
yeah, no,
Dude, they'll always bring that up. They're like, remember when you had that block in your driveway and you guys were hosing it off? I'm like, dude, you got to do what you got to do, man.
yeah. I mean, that's the way to do it. That's how we clean blocks at work.
Yeah.
Like, we wash them with water.
So that engine blew up. Anyway,
So, yeah, I put that motor together. Like I said, we did the basic stuff, just re-ring it. We put the same bearings. We put the
shit. Okay.
because the bearings look good. Like I also didn't want to buy anything, dude. Like back then,
Yeah, you're trying not to spend a lot of money.
yeah. So back then, like my budget was like $600. Like, so I put that together. I bought the epoxy head gasket because I read that it was like the best one back then. So I bought it. It was like the most expensive thing that I bought for it.
The most expensive part of the build.
Yeah, it was like $250 or $220 back then. So I put it together. I had to teach myself how to do the valve lash because I knew that rocker arms were an issue with SR20. So
How the hell did you do this without any tools?
That's what I'm saying. Where was the source of information?
it was all on the internet. Like
Yeah.
I said, I started digging up and I went through the FSMs and seeing how the SR20 worked, like how the rocker arms worked, and why would people are having this issue. So I was like, if you do things right, they should be good. So I went by the FSM. It tells you to buy a $400 indicator tool that like bolts up to the head.
Yeah, which I'm still looking for if anyone's got it.
So I didn't buy. I was like, no, I'm not spending $400 in this thing. But so I found some dude that was like, oh, you can make your own by disassembling a lifter, putting a rod in there, and just buying an indicator from whatever Harbor Freight for like $20.
Chris is nodding.
Yeah.
Has this something that you've done?
Yeah.
At my old job, we had a rod welded to an old rocker.
That's
Or a
exactly.
lifter.
That's all it takes, dude.
So
Like
you actually made one.
So yeah, I made that piece because let me see, was I going?
You got to make me one.
Yeah. No, that was before I went to school. So like I had to teach myself that like how to read a dial indicator.
yeah.
Sorry. So I did that. I made the tool, made my own valve lash, dialed it in,
Perfect.
and then put the motor together. It had a NIST to an ECU. Oh, I ran in a stock ECU, a T25, and I think it had yeah, it was like that for a little bit. So I ran it. It had a little bit higher compression because I bought the thinner Tomei head gasket. Because like, I was like, oh, I want to up the compression. Like, I want to be a badass. Not thinking that I need a tune for this.
Yeah.
So I put the thinner head gasket. I put the pistons. I don't know what the hell the pistons compression ratio are. They could have been 12. For
Yeah,
all I
they
know.
could have been crazy.
Yeah. So put it together, and then we fired it up, and it ran. Like, and I was just like, oh my God, like this thing is awesome. But then it started smoking really bad.
Oh, fuck.
Like
Here we go.
the whole garage filled up with smoke, and this is like a week before the big Yukon car show. Like back then, I was like big into car shows, so like
Yeah.
I had to make the spring car show. Excuse me. So I was like, my buddy was like, oh, just drive it, it's whatever. And I was like, no, something bad happened with the rings. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I can't. Like, I gotta take this apart. So I had to take it apart again. Found out that I bought OEM Nissan piston rings for the Ross pistons.
Oh.
So I didn't know you like the pistons were
Different
unique.
size
I
or
mean,
whatever.
no, sorry. The ring package is unique to the pistons.
Oh,
So even if you are at the same bore size, you can't just slap like OEM rings on JE pistons and
Yeah.
vice versa. Like you can gap them, right? But like they're not. Like the ring lengths are designed differently. There's tolerances to be had on the rings to the piston.
okay.
So that's where I failed. I bought OEM piston rings for the Ross pistons, and they were smoking. They were burning oil. So I was like, okay, great. Take it apart again. So I bought a set of used JE pistons of somebody on Nico Club. I bought JE pistons for like $200. Thank you. So I got the pistons, and I put those pistons in there with the rings. My dad showed me, filed the rings. We filed them, and that one ran good. So
No more smoking.
no more smoking. I was like, okay, thank God, like we got it right. Everything ran good. So I drove it for a little bit with the stock T25, stock computer. And then the sketchy wiring harness that I had started like acting up on me. Like it would just freak out. The car would like start like to stall, and like I remember at one point I shut it off and the car wouldn't shut off. It like stayed running. And it was like, dude, it was possessed. So I freaked out, and I was like, you know what? Like I hate half-ass shit. Like I hate this. Like everything about this sucks. So I parked the car and I bit the bullet and I bought a wiring specialty harness back then. Like brand new. It was like $400 fully loaded. And it was a DET version. So, it was a DET version. I had a DET engine back then.
So that made it like drop in.
So yeah, it dropped into the engine harness, and
Yep.
like now there's no electrical issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought a 2871R turbo for like $600. I bought a NIST to an ECU for like $300.
You're really trying to go fast.
I know. I'm like, damn. Now
This is escalating.
Here's the downhill.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I had to build motors. I was like, I don't want to be stock turbo. Like, I want to
Yeah.
get my labor's worth. Like, I want this thing to be fast. So
Yeah.
I was like, the 2871R is the hot ticket. It's stock location. I can use the stock manifold. So I bought a 2871R, and I bought a factory log manifold that had a wastegate welded to it.
Frankie's setup
Yeah,
before.
I got that.
So I bought that, and I bought a wastegate just because I wanted external wastegate. I was like,
Yeah,
that
me
sounds
too.
cool. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care. So I had that, and I think I had it on the T25 for a little bit, and it just sounded like ass. Like little turbos with a wastegate is just the worst. It's just like when they open up, like.
Yeah.
So I bought the 2071R. I bought the supporting mods. I think I bought SDI injectors.
Yeah.
And
Z32 MAF, probably.
the Z32 MAF. Back then, when you can get them at the junkyard, like I used to go to the junkyard all the time. I got all these things for like $50.
Bro, Z32 maps now, that's like gold.
What?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, because you want an OEM one.
Yeah.
So you got to find it used.
Those ISR fucking maps
Fuck
are terrible.
that. Yeah.
They're fucking terrible.
Anytime someone tries to buy ISR electric anything, I'm just like,
Well, no. Every time I've seen one on a car and like it's running, it almost like, doesn't sound good. Like
yeah,
always.
they they never seem to work right. So I always try to sway people away from anything.
And then here's JP at the junkyard getting them.
Dude, that's
Back
a better.
then, that
That's
was-
a
I think it
better
was
idea.
like $10 a pop.
Hell
back
yeah.
then.
Better idea to get old, used OEM maps.
Yeah.
My-
Or
that's
to
my
get a
opinion.
standalone and get a map sensor.
Yeah,
So
that's the goal.
So you got all the map. So now do you slap this in together and it's you made a rocket ship? Like
So yeah, so I put the turbo on it and got the ECU and
working and
put the
stuff.
little supporting mods on it, and I brought it over to the tuner, and that tuned all my buddy's cars around, and he was like the only guy that I knew. So we got the car tuned. Like he looked at it and like I don't know, he got kind of like a bad vibe out of it, the whole car setup, because like I reused like the PCV pipes, and once you reuse those, like the press fit loses on them, so like they don't really hang on. So it was
Yeah.
kind of like loose in there, and it was like spewing a little bit of oil, and then he
Oh.
was just like calling all the bad stuff that was wrong with it. And I was just like, I was pretty embarrassed because I was like, yeah, like, there's some half-ass shit, but like generally the car is okay.
Yeah,
So I'm not,
it's your first build.
yeah, so don't mind you the leaky PCV or the weird catch cans. I use like a thermos for a catch can.
pretty
Like
smart. Metal.
Yeah.
pretty good.
Better
Yeah.
than a Snapple bottle.
So back then I also didn't know anybody that welded. So whenever I needed, like I think my blow off valve, I bought a Blitz SS blow off valve, which is
Yeah.
pretty sick for my buddy for like $20. And the flange was like leaky, so I JB welded it. And because I didn't know anybody that welded back then, so I JB welded a lot of things that were
Yeah.
intercooler, and it worked out. So, but the dude ended up tuning my car, and it made 330 wheel, 350 torque.
Damn,
which was,
dude.
Pretty good.
which was dumb. Yeah.
That shit is probably
Yeah.
fast as fuck.
Yeah, he tuned it in, like, I remember it was like the 4th of July weekend. Like it was like 4th of July day. And he's like, oh yeah, I got your car tuned. It made like 330 so far. And I was like, oh my God, no way. So like I dart over to like the tuners and like, I'm like, yeah, dude, America, they made more fucking torque than horsepower. Like, hell yeah. So I was stoked because like I did a little bit of work to the car. I think I used like the front wheel drive camshafts that I found at the junkyard also of
Oh.
SR20DE NA, which are a little bit, I think, higher profile.
Oh wow.
A step above the DET stock cams.
That's pretty cool.
So it had that little bit of a pep on the cams, and I think I did some port work to the fucking exhaust manifold. I shaved.
God knows what that looked like.
Yeah, no, dude, it was sketchy, but like I kind of had a weird idea, but it worked.
You had
It
the
made
vision.
power, dude. It made 330 wheel.
Yeah.
It was sick, dude. It was the fastest thing I had, dude. I remember I went to my friend's house. It was downtown Bristol, and I'm like ripping this freaking thing like downtown, and I'm like, I didn't even put the shifter cover on the
So just
plastic.
heat coming out.
Yeah, heat and like hot tranny fluid. I was so happy. Like I was just like ripping on it. Picked up my buddies. That was the thing. That was my setup, and it ran. But I never drifted with it because at least I got an event.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I never trusted it. I knew it wasn't balanced. I knew
Well, that's smart.
I knew things weren't right, and it still didn't run right because when I got it tuned with the shitty harness. So the new harness kind of like you got to get a reach in. But I was like, dude, I can't afford to get a retune. I didn't want to go back to that guy because like he didn't like my car.
And he's gonna roast you when you come in.
Yeah.
I told you so.
So, but back then I also thought that you get your car tuned once and that's it. Like you're set for life. And so, but I learned. So that setup I never trusted it. And like back then I ran with that setup up until Lime Rock started doing drifting. Back when like
Yeah, I
Lime Rock
remember
was first starting, and I think I was already going to school. I went to school for machining because I was originally going to school. I wanted to go to school for being a commercial pilot, but I was too young. Like you're not gonna find a commercial pilot that's like 18 years old flying a transatlantic flight. So I was like, I got to do something in the meantime. So I was like, I want to be a cop. So I was like, no. And then that was when I realized I like street racing. So I was like, no, I want to street race. I don't want to be a cop. I want to be a bad guy. So
Machine shop it is.
yeah, so I got a job. I think I was like cleaning houses. I was like, because I wanted a Monday to Friday job so I could go to the car meets on the weekend. Back then I worked at a CVS, so I was the new guy, so they would put me on the weekends, and I would hate it because that's when the car meets happen. It was Friday nights and Saturdays.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not making enough money here. I gotta need a better job. So I found a job on Craigslist as a organic maid, a house service.
Okay.
So just show up to people's houses and clean, and it was like houses that were already clean because it was like organic. So it was like rich people asking us to come in and like just make things smell good.
I was gonna say, what's that mean, organic?
So we didn't use chemicals. Like we use like homemade cleaning products. Yeah.
That was a thing.
I guess, but it's also a thing because like people pay good money for that.
Yeah.
Like because like mainly the thing is like we had a lot of special needs clients, so like they couldn't handle like bleaches and stuff like that. So it was good for
okay.
that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, not only just to be lavish, like I got
That's what
organic
I was
house
thinking.
cleaners, yeah.
Yeah.
But so in a sense, like it was good in that. So
Okay, so you're doing this.
I'm doing that. I have my weekends free. I'm making a little bit more money. So I hated that SR20, and I was like, I'm parking my car. So I parked my car for like 2 years, and most of my 240 friends were just talking shit. You know,
Damn,
like why
2
are you-
years.
I would
That's like
say
me
so.
right now.
I was about to say, damn.
Beat you to it. Beat you to it.
Whoa.
2 years, yeah, and that was like at my daily too at the time. So I would just drive my parents' Jeep, like this stupid Jeep Cherokee, and it just sucked. So
I'm just saying 2 years is a long time when you're that young. You know.
yeah, oh absolutely.
It's like, you know, and that was all you were into, like street racing and having a fast car and drifting.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So I decided to make the leap onto machining because I needed a better job, and like my dad was already working in the machining manufacturing business, so he told me to go to school for that. So I did because I was
Okay.
like, when you're my end goal was to build my motor, you know, like have a sick car, but I wasn't planning on working like directly with cars because I was like, I don't want to make a hobby out of my my job out of my hobby because it's gonna kill it.
Another smart thing.
So aerospace manufacturing pays really well. So I went to school for machining for like, I did like an apprenticeship because I was going to school for like general studies, like at random colleges for a while, just like wasting my time.
Yeah.
So I went to the school that offered the machining, and I went with the machining program. So I did everything. They taught me how to read a caliper, how to use a file and everything like from scratch.
It's pretty cool.
Yes. So they teach me how to reach blueprints, basic machining, but mainly it was learning how to read calipers, measure stuff really accurately, and like that was the biggest thing. It wasn't so much getting to use the machines because I was afraid of the machines. I still didn't know, but I knew how to measure now. I knew how to read a blueprint, measure thousands and stuff. So I finished the program, and my car was still down. So I got a job, and then I forgot how much I started making. I was making like $14 an hour. And back then I was making like, I think like $8 an hour.
And you got a job with your degree from the school?
Yes. So,
Okay.
well, I got an apprenticeship, and then one of my buddies worked at a machine shop next door that like also did aerospace. It was like a complex. So he's like, oh, whenever you graduate, like come work here because they gave me a bonus, like $1,000 bonus if you get somebody hired.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, okay, we'll see what happens. So I went to school, then the unpaid internship. I learned some stuff, and then the program was over. I got my certificates, and it was time to get a job. So I went to apply to my buddy's job because the place that I did my internship, they ended up laying off a bunch of people. Like it just something happened in between.
Okay.
So I'm glad I didn't go there. So I went to my buddy's shop, and then the supervisor there is also Colombian. So like he liked me, and we started talking, and he got me in there. So the company is a contractor of Pratt & Whitney. So like we made engine components, we were known, that machine shop was known to make really complex stuff. Like we made like the oil pump drives and gear drives for like these jet engines, and they're made out of very exotic metals like wasp alloy, Inconel, like stuff that you see like on the space shuttles.
Yeah.
And the tolerances are ridiculous, and like the shapes are absolutely insane. Like compound angles, like you have to be a very seasoned machinist to like be able to do this type of stuff.
Okay.
So I got thrown in there because they needed somebody, and so I picked it up. They started giving me races. I was like probably making $18 an hour, and I was like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm learning.
Yeah.
And I was still not doing my own thing. So I was like, I want a legit built motor. So I saved up my money. Then I went to Larry's Auto Machine in Groton, Connecticut, which was where my buddy had a super motor built.
Mm-hmm.
And they were expensive. Like they were one of the most expensive shops, but I knew that they were race, and I knew that they were import shop. So I had them build my SR20.
So you pulled the engine out and...
Yeah. So I pulled that out, and then I wanted a new engine to be built. And I wanted it to be a VET because I had the DET and it was just shitty, and it had 28 C1R on it. And I was like, yeah, this is cool. But like back then I forgot to mention that when I ran into the VVLs, I don't know how I ran into them, but like I remember like the valve cover struck out really hard, like the P12.
Because this is the reason I knew who you were, because you had that engine.
That engine, that's what set me aside from
Yeah.
the crowd.
And your car looked really good.
Thank you.
What's the What Aero was it?
I had the full Navan.
Yeah.
Aero. Yeah. back
Yeah,
then.
that's not really common either. So yeah.
It wasn't. Yeah. That's like That was one of my things. I was a Navan dude, and
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
had a KA, so I was like, all right, whatever. Back then, I bought the Navan. The Navan front bumper was like $600. I bought it from a dude in Canada. He shipped it. The skirts I paid like $400. They shipped from Thailand.
When did you start caring about the outside of the car?
As soon as possible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
like-
you did, because the whole time we're having this conversation, I'm like, he seems to be very focused on performance.
Yeah, I skipped the whole aero era because yeah, no, that was when I was younger and I didn't know mechanical stuff. Like I said, like,
Yeah, and most of the time it's like that appearance stuff usually waits till the end anyway, because like you're trying to get your car running, you're broke, you know, you don't want to worry
That's what I
about.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't want to worry
I
about
did
the
my
outside.
engine and suspension first, then the aero came.
Yeah,
I
but you
did-
did want to make it look good.
I think I did because I had already lowering springs on it. They had the Tokiko blue struts with like some
Yeah.
back springs. So the car was already kind of low, and I wanted the KA ran fine. It was already 5-speed, so like I could do KA things. It would be fine.
Yeah,
I was
KA
like,
things.
I just wanted the car to look cool. I wanted the K's wing, K's arrow. I wanted the
Hell yeah.
like I found out about the Navan because I wanted to do the Kouki front end. That's like what I fell in love with. I fell in love with that white one, so I wanted that. So I settled for
Yeah.
the Zenki, but then I found out about the Navan, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make the Zenki look cool until I can afford a real
I like
Kouki
Zenki
front
more,
end.
man.
Everybody here likes Zenkis more.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I'm a
here's-
Koki guy. I'm a Koki guy.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
I think JP is too.
Well, here's. I mean, thing
it
is
needs
like
a wing though. That has to be the whole Koki.
Yeah.
package.
Well, the thing is, what really set me aside to love the Zenki more is the fact that when you look at an S14, it's a 90s car. It's a bubbly car.
Yep.
It is round.
Yep.
Yes, thank God.
The Kouki front end is very sharp.
That's
and-
why I like it. It makes it look like a new car.
Yeah,
Yes.
but only the front.
But if you look at the car, like say like in an angle, like say this my iPhone's the car, and you're looking at the front end, and you can also see the sides. You can see that the back end is really bubbly,
Yeah.
and that really contrasts to me nowadays. When somebody pointed that out,
Yeah,
And ever
that's
since-
what I agree with you. But I mean, the wing
the wing makes it sharp. in the
makes it a
back.
little sharper in the back.
That's why it needs the wing.
Yes.
I get it, but
And the rear like spats that come on a Koki that are sharper.
yeah, but at the end of the day, that car is round.
Still around.
like the roof line. Like I like when people do the S15 front end and the hatch because the hatch has like the kind of like the wedge type, so like the headlights flow up.
Yeah, yeah.
And also like when people do Kouki front end like an Avert S13. I remember seeing one a long time ago.
You're never
And
gonna sell me on that, but
I saw it, but because the S13 coupes are square, they're
Yeah.
more square-ish.
yeah,
So I thought it looked better on that.
I get what you're
had
saying.
an S13.4.
Wait,
So-
what,
You
It did.
for a very short time.
Like a month.
bro?
It had an RB20 in it.
Yeah.
I remember now. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Dark times.
So, yeah. So the Navan. I was like, damn, the Navan looks really good.
Yeah, I mean,
And,
it works.
Back then, I would look up everything that I looked up was Japanese S14s. Like back
Yeah.
then, if you looked up like a nice Zenki, it was like on Workmeisters 18s and like it had a
Yeah.
Navan front. And usually I saw like a lot of Australian builds, so they were already like the Navan Aero. They just
Okay.
put wheels on them and lowered them, and I thought that was super cool. So I was like, I want the Navan front bumper, and I was like, it was like $600 for a bumper. I was like, that's retarded. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
Like,
crazy. Like,
So-
how you gonna spend? You just spent $200 on a head gasket, and you thought it was the end of the world. So
That's what I'm saying. This slope is so slippery because you go from like, yeah, let me piece this together. I'm gonna piece this together, and then now, as time progresses, which is funny because this happens to literally everybody. I feel like you go from kind of not half-assing everything totally. You're putting effort into it, but then you're like, fuck, let me put in more effort, and that effort comes in the form of money.
I knew this was gonna be a slippery slope once you brought up that turbo. I
And
was
then,
like,
but
oh.
then, so the VE is that? Did you get like a VE or something? Like,
So you said you saw them.
So I saw them online because I was always just researching SR20 stuff.
Yeah.
I was just like, building motors. And before I decided to part out with the DET was when I saw what the VVL was. And I was like, oh, it's a front wheel drive engine. But back then, I would go on like JDM Engine Depot and like look up SR20s. And then I would see like DETs. And And then I'll see like the front wheel drive ones, and I'll see like SR20 VE, and I'm like, what the fuck is a VE?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's front wheel drive. Oh, it's $700. Like, oh, nobody wants that. Like, it's probably like it's a Sentra engine. But then I found out that was like a really popular, well, not really popular, but like the godlike swap.
Yeah.
Like a hybrid conversion that like only like.
That is like god tier for SR20.
Well, because correct, and you're the person I want to ask is the VE has a really high cam lift. Is that true?
Yes.
Like a wildly high factory one.
It's kind of like it's the B series versions of the Nissan. So like the DETs are turbo engines, so they have mild cams and they have a turbo to compensate. But the VEs just have the better port design. They're made to make more power all motor.
That's a Primera. They came in. That was that engine. They used it a lot in racing.
For the Primeras they used the DEs.
Oh, that's a DE.
Yeah,
yes, that was still the DE.
But the Primera P11 had the Neo VVL, the VE optional. So like some of the Primera GTs came with the VE, but generally it's a DET car.
Oh, okay.
So the VEs kind of like came afterwards, and there was only also like a CVT tranny. So yeah, it was like not good for
what
racing.
is that doing in there? That's what I'm, like that's kind of weird.
Thing is, like the Neo VVL stands for Nissan Eco Oriented Variable Valve Lift.
Oh, informational.
That's what it stands for.
Never knew that.
If people were interested in finding out what that means, also the Neo and RB25.
That's what I was about to ask next.
Yeah,
is that
Nissan
also
Eco Oriented? So what Nissan did is they I don't know if it was like a law thing or something, but they figured out let's optimize the engines and call them eco-friendly because now they're better performing. They're saving more gas, but at the same time they have way more performance features and they make more power.
way more efficient?
Yes.
Yeah.
Quote unquote. You get better gas mileage, but you can floor it and like you can go really fast. Because a stock VE makes almost as much power as a DET does with a turbo.
They were really
Wow.
really capable engines, dude. Like when you said god tier, that's like probably
Yeah. So the VE, like back then, it was a team in Norway. It was TMBS Builder, I think, if I'm saying it right. But they had two VETs, S13s that were drifting. And I remember seeing a video in like 2012 of these cars drifting, and the engines they were like 900 horsepower engines, like fully built drift cars. And the way they sounded was just incredible. Like it sounded like a chainsaw. It was just, you could tell these things were revving to the sky, dude. And it was like wastegate screaming, and it was just like, I never heard an S chassis sound like this in my entire life.
Yeah.
If you go like on YouTube right now, you can look up Team BS Builder and SR22 VET, and it'll come up. I'm pretty sure those videos are still up. And that's why I was like, dude, I need that. Like, I need that sound. And then I found that the valve cover looked cool, and I was like, dude, that looks cool as fuck. So it's like sick as fuck. And then like I realized that it's like a super expensive swap and like really hard.
Yeah, it's
really,
like a pain in the ass.
really custom, really fabricating, intrusive, and
so naturally
you go for
too.
so that was when I started getting the job. I got the big boy job, quote unquote. So my first paycheck went to getting the Navant front bumper that I always wanted. Because I had the Navant skirts, I had the K's wing, I had the Navant valances, and then I didn't have the what else did I not have? Oh, I didn't have the bumper. I had the USDM bumper with a USDM lip. So I was like, I'm missing the Navant bumper. So I bought the Navant bumper, $600. I think it was like my entire paycheck back then. And I was like, sick, I bought it. Now the thing is I can get started on the engine. So I found a local guy named Jamie Marsh, which is my tuner now. He was a Sentra guy. Like, because actually one of the local people in the skate park that I grew up with next to, he was an older guy and he had a Sentra back then. Everybody called him Pops. So like when he found out that I had a 240, he's like, oh, you got it. And I told him, I was like, oh, I want an SR20, blah, blah. And he would always tell me, he's like, oh, you want like the VVL. And like I was just like, what's a VVL? And he's like, oh, this is what we have in our Sentras and stuff. And mind you, this dude's like 40-something years old. He's not that old, but he's like old enough. And he still had the Sentra. So that stuck to me. But he's like, whenever you want to get into it, let me know. And like, I'll hook you up with the people. So I did the DT, and then I was going to venture into the new build, and I was like, I want to do something crazy. because my buddy with the Subaru, he did something crazy. He made his car rear-wheel drive, put a big turbo on it, and like he was like,
He made it rear-wheel drive.
yeah. So
Wow.
he was like,
Meanwhile, on the other channel, like, what the fuck?
Geez.
this is the one friends that I was with, and I think it was great being friends with him because we pushed each other, because like he would do crazy shit and I would want to do crazy shit. And,
Yeah.
like, but he wasn't really into drifting, but like he saw me drift, so he wanted to drift the car. So like that's when he was like, oh, let me make my car rear-wheel drive for like just for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
But the main thing was like he wanted to build a motor with a big freaking Borg Warner turbo, big STI turbo. Like it was sick. It was a fast car. Like, so I was like, okay, now I need like a sick ass build.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me attempt a VVL.
Oh my God.
So I hit up Pops, and then he's like, oh, call this dude Jamie Marsh. And then I called Jamie, and I told him, I was like, hey man, like Pops sent me over, like I'm trying to build like a VE. Like I always wanted to have a 240 and S14, and then like he gave me the rundown. He's like, I got a couple heads for sale. Like come down, meet me in Wallingford in my shop. So
Okay.
I met up with him, and I met up with a dude before that was one of his friends.
This is like a quest.
It
This
was
is a
yeah.
Quest for this engine right now.
It is, yeah, an engine that I've never seen before. It's only on the internet, and like
But you got the hook up through Pops though, so that's
yeah,
Pops-
to the people. Yeah,
Pops knows a guy.
yeah.
So I got a hold of Jamie, and then Pops was friends with Jamie and Mark. Mark was more of like he was still in the game, and they were like their club was called SR20 Deep, like DEEP. That was their club. They were like these street racer Honda,
like it.
Sentras.
I like it
From the early 2000s, because they always tell me, it's like, oh, you think you missed the street scene when you were young? Is like if you saw the Pike how it was like back in 2005 or whatever, it was like, dude, it was like mad cars and everything. It's like you missed out the good stuff.
Yeah.
But I got like the last end of it before they retired, because like they were the people that I looked up to. Like,
We had the
street
same
racers.
situation around us, kind of. Like there was like old heads that drifted too.
Yeah.
So
But nobody drifted. It was just like all
yeah, yours is more like street racing
racing
stuff. Yeah.
So I told Pops that I was gonna do the build and stuff, because I had the build motor and I had good luck with the DET, and I was like, I think I'm capable of doing like a sick build like that. So I went and saw Mark. Mark offered me a couple heads. They had bent valves. So back then, like it was like I think he offered them for like $300 each, and I was like, nah, I'm looking for something complete that I can just like slap on and go. I'm not trying to do like head work and valve jobs and all this. Like I'm not trying to ball out that much. So I told him I passed on that, and then Jamie had mint heads still, because like he was still messing with the Sentras. So he showed me one that was supposedly good, and then $600. Like this was big bucks for a head back then. Like pretty much what a motor set cost.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
would be-
nowadays, I mean, that sounds like
Nowadays that head is $1,500, $1,600.
Yeah.
For the head itself, up to like $2,200.
honestly, it's not even that bad for what you get.
Frankie,
For what you get.
put the wallet away.
I mean, you have to build it. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's
So-
a whole nother like. What
not
is the
bad.
process now? Like you get the head and then.
So I got the head, and I was like, okay, I got to prep the bottom end, because I realized that you need a VVL oil pump, you need a special VVL pickup tube. I learned a lot of stuff from Massworks. That's when I found out about Massworks, was because like Massworks were the only ones in the States doing the VVL stuff,
Okay.
and they sold parts for it. So I was like, I can't afford a Massworks engine. So when I had Larry's auto machine in Groton do the
Yeah.
bottom end, they machined everything. I put it together at home to save the $400 of assembly. That's how much they charged. But because I was like, I know how to put an engine together. I can file my own rings. I kept everything. So I put the motor together. And then I got the head from Jamie, and I sent it to a machine shop to get just resurfaced. And the machine shop told me it had 4 bent valves. So I was like, great. Like now this head has 4 bent valves, and I paid double for it when I could have bought the other one that had 4 bent valves for $300.
That's
So
annoying.
I didn't know Jamie at the time, so I got mad, and I was
Yeah.
just like, bro, like you really fucking did this to me, bro. Like I spent fucking $600 and blah blah, and like we got in this argument because like Jamie's also a street racer, so like you can't really approach a street racer like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's like he's been through some shit, so
Yeah.
yeah, he's not my age. He's like, no. So I got uppity with him and whatever. We fought, and then he ended up giving me like 4 valves or something, and
Yeah, I mean, that's-
whatever.
That's good at least.
Yeah, we like squashed it for I forgot over what, but he gave me the valves, and then I took the valves. I gave them to the dude. He did the valve job on it. It was some like really shitty machine shop in Torrington that only did Subaru heads, Subaru jobs. One of those.
Okay.
So he charged me $300 for the whole job. You know, like he wrote it in like this 1950s looking
Like
receipt.
notepad thing that
Yeah.
Yeah.
they have them here in the shop.
Whoa.
You do.
We
You
use
lit-
computers. We use computers.
You
Come on.
literally have. Where the hell is it? There was this pad here
Malcolm's
with the yellow
probably got it.
paper.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah. Like that's the style, dude. And like you walked in there, and like you think our shop was bad. Like no, dude, this place is like I couldn't recognize the machine. Like it looked like it was just junk. And now I didn't even look inside, so I don't know if he had a real valve job machine or not.
Yeah.
Because you don't need a valve job machine to do valve jobs. You can use grinding stones, which
Yeah.
is okay if you're skilled. But
But like, isn't that just like you're kind of just dremeling? Like,
That's what I'm picturing when you said grinding stones.
yeah, but I mean, before you gotta think about valve job machines didn't come out up until recently. So
Okay.
stone valve jobs were like how it was done before valve job machines became more accessible to the public.
yeah, a lot of the headwork stuff seems like it's almost like an art.
Yes, it's
Right?
it's more delicate for sure. Like
Yeah.
it's very intricate because you're changing shapes. You're
Yeah.
versus like the bottom end, you're just honing.
But
Like,
that's like for me, 'cause so I'm very like, I don't want to say OCD in the wrong way, but like very OCD, like very perfectionist type mentality. So I'm
Yes.
like, wait, you're gonna do like a port job, and you're just gonna just grind away with a grinder, like you know what I mean? Like that doesn't make sense in my head
Yeah.
because
Oh,
I'm like, how you know if they're exactly the same?
I totally, dude, and I'm exactly the same way, and I came in with the same approach, bro, and like now after doing it myself, it's a whole different thing.
Yeah,
Because, like I said, yeah, like you say you grind a little too much in one port.
yeah,
So have you seen what fucking intake manifolds look like? They're all over the place. They're all different. So like, why would a little bit of too much grinding in one cylinder?
but I
make
can't
it-
see those because those are inside the manifold. So
Yeah, per se, like say my Audi right now, it's a 5-cylinder.
yeah,
It's got this extremely inefficient manifold that like the rearmost cylinder number 5 is known to run hot and burn a valve because it travels literally like a worm.
yeah,
Like the old screensavers in the computer, it goes like that. Like
pipe.
Yo,
And up into, like,
I
the
haven't-
wastegate.
The pipes.
yes,
Yeah.
the pipes.
Yo,
That's sick.
Haven't really remembered that in so
Yeah,
long. You know,
I always think about that. So
So-
it runs like that, and that's why it gets that particular sound because of the manifold.
because it's running like shit.
It runs unequal. Yeah, it's an unequal length. It's like all over the place. It's like
Yeah.
a Subaru. Like the old Subaru is like brrrr,
Yeah.
because like the manifold funnels the pulse is different. So
You get these heads back.
I got the head back, and I was saying with the valve jobs
Yeah,
because
yeah.
one thing. So when you go to a drag racing competition and they're rebuilding the motor on the spot, they're using grinding stones. They're not using a
Yeah,
valve
'cause
job
they
machine.
don't have a thing.
Yeah. So you got to think about doing a valve job with a grinding stone can still be skilled, and you can make it look like an actual machine did because you use different size stones, different angle stones, so you can manipulate. If you're smart, you can manipulate and you can know geometry. This is all geometry. You can manipulate the angles to get the right sizes, the right
I gotta
diameters.
see this shit done, man.
This is like I had it easy because I have a valve job machine and like half the work is done by the cutter. So like the
Yeah.
cutters are a form cutter. It's you just
So
take out
they're
the cutter.
literally grinding the angles on
Yeah.
What the?
So imagine grinding like cones, like little circle cones, up until you get like the funnel shapes.
Yeah,
And if you grind too much, you're gonna make it too wide, and then you're gonna screw the whole thing up.
yeah.
So you have to know how to hit the stone. It's an art form, dude. It's like
really is.
Michelangelo like type deal. Like,
Yeah.
that's the way when I think of
It
headwork.
really is. Like
I'm literally like baffled because I'm picturing myself sitting here,
port jobs are the things that scare me though.
fucking like the
And that's the
grinding-
tool.
Yeah, like
I feel like the grinding wheel is like,
Yeah.
the stone rather.
The stone valve job. So, but most people that do, unless it's like a professional, like they're not gonna do a good stone valve job. They do a stone valve job because they don't want to set it up in the machine, get everything dialed in. They can just hit it with like the 45, just hit the 45 angle, grind it clean.
Okay.
Who knows if it's even concentric? They're just like, it's clean, good enough. It'll run. It's a Subaru.
Yeah.
So that's why it's not good going through those shops.
Yeah, because they're not being super anal with everything.
Yeah, like I could have gone in there with my Subaru, like 2001 Subaru Outback engine. He'd done the valve job with that. I would have been fine. But I was looking for a multi-angle valve job, like performance valve job, and I asked him, and I was like, "Hey, like you do like multi-angle valve jobs?" And he's like, "Yeah, I do all that." Bullshit, he didn't do that. So I got the head back.
pain.
I got the head back all fixed up, put it together. It was basically a stock head with N1 cams, resurfaced and barely washed onto my fully built block bottom end. So I had that tuned, and unfortunately, a mishap happened in the tuning process. And actually, I got it tuned because I got it tuned in a Nistune ECU
Okay.
that I still had.
Yeah.
So I guess like the tuner copied the map from the Nistune to the AEM back because I landed the AEM on Zelvia for like $800 brand new, and I was like, I want a real standalone because
Yeah.
like for this build. So copied the map over, and
You're gonna
timing
tell me this fucking engine blew up.
No.
timing values were out the roof, and I drove it I made power in the dyno. I floored it a couple of times. Drove to a car show at Mohegan Sun Casino, probably like I don't know, probably 40 miles each way. And I think on the way back, I start hearing like a ticking sound.
Oh no.
Like, so I'm like hurrying home because like I'm just freaking out. And then I also like one of like the coolant nipples, so like for the throttle body that like usually you cap off, came undone. So like the coolant like spilled out, and like now the car's like overheating and shit. And I'm like pulling them to a gas station, getting water, and I'm like bugging out because like doing this. So I get home, get to a skate park, and the car's just idling. It's just like, and I was like, bro, really? Like, I didn't know what was happening. I thought I was like, it sounds
what
like
year was this?
The VE was like 2013.
Okay.
2013
That's
was the
pretty
first
early for
VVO.
what
Yeah.
you were doing. Yeah.
But I only got to enjoy that motor for 250 miles before
Alright.
I realized that. And then like 100 of those miles were to driving to the casino and back.
So what ended up being the problem?
The tune.
The tune.
So like I knew something was off like in the inside, but it
Yeah.
sounded like I don't know how to say it. It didn't sound bad, but it sounded like it was on the inside, and I knew like I was fucked.
Yeah.
So
So
I was really pissed and disappointed.
what you end up doing with that?
I got back in the car, and then I went to my secret tuning road, and then I
Oh.
went and fucking floored it, and I just went
no.
up and down. Yeah, dude. Like I was like I want to blow this shit up, dude. Like
Oh my god.
like I'm pissed, dude. Like this sucks. Like so
I get that. I totally get that.
Oh
You've
my-
never done that?
No, dude.
I have.
What? Yeah, so it's just knocking. I'm gonna blow it up.
No,
so-
there was.
but it wasn't knocking. It was like ticking.
Yeah.
So
Something with the head.
exhaust leak.
I was like, whatever, dude. I'm just gonna go and like, I have to tear this down. I was like, I'm gonna get my fucking money's worth. Like, I only drove this to the casino and back. Like, I'm gonna floor it. So like, I went up and down that little road, dude, which is like doing 50 mile an hour is pretty sketchy. And I was just flooring this thing. It dynoed like 420 to the wheels back then at low
Nice.
boost. So
Smoke it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
blazing it clearly.
I was like roasting tires up and down that fucking road, bro. And then I was like, all right, I guess it's not blowing up. So the end of the day, and I was like, all right, this is getting sketchy. So I parked it in my house.
Okay, so you were mad.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, this thing didn't blow up because like I was close to home. I was like, if it explodes, then whatever, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I took it home, parked it, took the head off, and then I found the fucking ringland like literally gone. Like,
Oh,
the top of the
wow.
piston was like missing, like I would say like an eighth of the
Yeah.
dome out, and then the rings were like pretty much like dancing up and down.
Holy
So
shit.
I was like, okay, that's where the sound came from. So I was like, fuck, my brand new bottom end that I just spent $3,200 on is gone. So
And Ma's work parts and all that
yeah.
shit.
So
yeah.
once again, young me gets pissed off, starts bitching out the tuner,
Yeah.
burn that bridge, whatever. And
God damn it.
here I am, mega pissed off. And then whatever, missed out, I think like the rest of the year. More people are talking shit about me, and then talking shit because I was talking shit about their tuner because like that was their tuner.
Yeah.
So like they were like, "Oh, you fucked it up," and I was like, "No, bro, I didn't fuck it up." So like, but back then I had no reputation of doing anything.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like, I couldn't say anything. But I was mad. Like nobody liked me back then. All my 240 friends were like hating me. So I became like this little outcast for a minute.
Okay.
So, but I hung out with my Subaru friend, who's
Yeah.
also an outcast from the Subaru world. So like we were like these little outcasts building these
Okay.
these things.
So now you're outcast, blown motor.
So I kept working, and then I was like, you know what? Like, I want the best of the best. I want a MassWorks engine. So I was like, I'm gonna save up my money. Tax return came. I had like $5,000 saved up. I was like, oh my god, this is the most money I ever had in my bank account. Hell yeah! So I hit up MassWorks, and I
Here
was
you
like,
go.
I was like, how much for? I want an S13 bottom end. I'll send my block or something. I bought a block for like $50. I was like, I'm gonna send a block. I want a S13 bottom end for a VE, done with the CP pistons for VE, whatever, everything like manly rods this time because they're a little bit fancier. So manly rods, CP
Sent them
pistons.
the grocery list, and that was it.
Yeah, the CP pistons were extremely expensive, but that was the only VE piston aside from the JE. And I had the JEs before, but I think I sold those or something. I forgot what happened.
Okay.
So I wanted everything brand new. Like
Yeah.
how my buddy did it, because like he had a better job, so like he had everything brand new, and I wanted that too, and also done by Larry. I mean by Larry's, but also that motor blew up.
Yeah.
So now I want Massworks to do it. Like I want.
So are they gonna do the head too?
Did I have them do the head at first? I think I might have, yeah. But it was like a basic, like springs and retainers.
Damn. So you shipped all that shit down there.
Yeah, I shipped. Well, I think they charged like $300 for the core, and I
Oh.
think for back then I was like, if I buy a block for like $50 to $100, ship it down, it's probably gonna be as much as like $300. Or it was like over. So I was like, let me just buy the core through them. Like fucking badass. Like I thought, fucking optional, yeah. Core purchase. Like,
Yeah, all the options,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. I'm
Cooking
not
all of them.
sending nothing. I just
All the
I want
condiments.
it.
Yeah.
Give me the works.
GTIR 5-hole main bearings.
Yeah.
Whatever studs, everything. Like I
It's
want
kind of a cool setup when you think about how they have it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I thought it was like such a baller back then.
Like
and
imagine you could have that in the future, like your own jpshop.com. You just go in there and
that we'll make an announcement later. on
Oh,
that, so
okay.
stay tuned for that.
Yes.
oh shit.
So we'll make a big
All
announcement.
right, now I'm interested.
Yeah. So, anyways, so yeah, they had the menu, and I was like, yeah, Masswork is the shit. Like, I love them. This is what my dream is, to have a Massworks engine. So like,
Yeah.
like I never. Like I wanted to drift, but I never wanted to be like the best drifter. I never
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
drifting competitively. I was like, this is an art form.
I'm the
this
same
is
way.
cool. I like doing this. I
Yeah.
need a mile form, but like I can't afford this.
Be
like
a pro or
I,
something.
I would like to be sponsored. I don't want to be like, oh, like I'm the best of the world. Like, nah, I just want to be able to do this as cheaply as possible and like be sponsored by Massworks and just get Massworks engines for free. That was my goal.
That was a goal.
That was my fucking goal.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll buy my own Massworks engine and like just build my rep up from there. So I bought all that, and then they shipped me I sent the head. That was the only thing I sent. I sent the head that I bought from Jamie
Okay.
for $300. The $600 head. I sent it over there, and I bought the whole block from them, and then they assembled the head. I assembled the block, but they shipped everything in pieces in a pallet. So I got the head back. I think I just did Super Tech valves, oversized valves and springs and retainers, basic setup. Put that together, assembled it. Then I pissed off the other tuner, so I couldn't go back to him, which was fine because I was just like, you know what, like I gotta venture. Like I'm doing cooler stuff, and I can't really go back to him because now I burned that bridge with all those kids.
Yeah.
So I hit up Jamie, who was also a tuner. So I was like, hey man, like would you like I squashed the beast with him
Yeah.
because like that was the biggest thing. So that got settled, and then like he started tuning my car, and the car ran great.
So you got it back, put it in, car ran great.
Yep.
Okay.
He tuned it with the AEM. He likes AEM. So the car made power, made like whatever power it was making, like 420 to the wheels. Still couldn't get the wastegate to work, but that I was like, I'm happy with like
What
400
turbo
wheel.
were you running around? The same one?
3076R.
Oh, okay.
I bought
That's
it.
kind of bigger.
It's
Yeah.
big, yeah. But I wanted, like, my buddy had a Bora Warner S362, which
Yeah,
is
you're just
freaking
competing with him.
massive. So, like, I was like, I don't want to be like 2871R. Like,
Yeah.
I'm on a little bit, but I was like, I don't want like a 35R. I want like in between. So I was like,
that was a good turbo.
I mean, I should have gone with the 3071, but I was like 3076. Like, it's a VVL. Like, it's gonna be. I wanted to make like
Yeah.
450 wheel. Like, that's it. Cap.
Yeah.
So I got that running, and I was like, I was making over 400. Like, I'm happy. So like, I kept that, and then I started drifting more. Like, with that setup, that was like my
Yeah,
first turbo.
This is when I probably noticed your
Yes.
car, or you on Instagram and everything. Like that's probably when I noticed.
Yeah.
No, you had that engine and you were drifting it. So
Yeah, so I started. Yeah, I got that engine, and that like kind of blew up because I was the only one around with something
Yeah.
like that, and it was like a really ambitious setup. And the thing is, like, I went to school for machining, and then my buddy with the Subaru went to school for welding. So he wanted to become a fabricator. So he did all my intercooler welding. He
Yeah.
made me a custom manifold.
yeah,
weld
your
them.
engine bay setup was sick.
There's a lot of custom to it. So like
Yeah.
all the welding I was able to do from him. So like thankful for him. Like, dude, I couldn't have done the VE if it wasn't for him being a welder.
Yeah.
Because I had no skills or means to pay anybody to weld my stuff. So
Yeah, one of my good friends is a welder as well, so
so
he helps
combined
us out a
the-
lot.
the
He has a
welder.
name. Ethan. Thank you.
Good old Ethan.
Yeah, treasury welders, man. They're really skilled people. And
Oh,
then,
yeah.
like I said, really thankful for the fabricators. I always
Yeah,
emphasize
I'm
that.
sorry. I'm just laughing because of how Frankie talks to Ethan sometimes.
What? What's wrong? What? I don't treasure Ethan.
Yeah. Get back in there and get back to work.
Hey, I mean, Ethan, he gets distracted easily. Sometimes you gotta like send him.
You gotta be a little
part of
rough.
the craft. It's part of the craft.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like an art too. So
Yeah. So anyway, so I was just saying, so he did the welding for me. So
Yeah.
that was a big advantage of doing the VVL stuff. Machining wise, I don't know if I did much to that one myself, other than like doing the valve lash.
well, what I'm wondering now is when, because you're still working that job. When do you decide I'm gonna quit this job?
And work on engines and stuff.
Yeah.
So that didn't happen up until probably like I started working there like 2012, 2013. It didn't happen until like 2018 when I quit that job.
So you were there for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
like that's the job that taught me everything. So I started as an operator, then I got to do setups, and then like I was doing toolmaker stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same shit that Miyagi and Wags did, or Wags still
Yeah,
does.
it's
It's
so
the same machine, basically a machine shop. It's just you're working on crazy shit there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like where I worked, being different than Pratt Whitney is that Pratt Whitney you're only pressing one button, and that's all you're doing, and you're getting
Yeah.
paid a lot of money, and you have to travel pretty far from where I was. So I didn't want to do that. I wanted to know how to set up everything because that's what really pays is the person that sets up the CNC
Yeah.
for the production guys to run. So the guy that I went and worked for, like there was a small shop that got bought out by a big corporation, so they had the big contracts. So I learned a lot of that by trial and error. Like we got these contracts, and then like it's just
Yeah.
like figure this out, and like I literally had to figure it out.
Yeah.
So there's some part numbers out there for the new Boeing 737 next generation that I literally made all the. It's called like a bushing. It's like a little like a round piece that's machined from like Inconel, and it's like 100,000 thick, and it crushes like a bearing crusher thing. And if you look at it, it looks like a rim, like a 12-inch rim.
Yeah.
But that's what loads the bearings of the engine, and that's a very intricate piece. It's got like all these tabs. Tolerances are ±1, and all the diameters.
And those are in planes right now, flying around.
Yeah, there's two. Yeah, there's one on each engine that preloads the thrust bearings.
Guys,
over
this
there.
guy built the planes you're in going to different countries. All right, so he could build your SR. All right, trust me.
That's when I realized I was like, engines. You know what? Like nobody's falling out of the sky. So like,
Yeah, no one's
worst
falling out of the
case,
sky.
yeah.
All right, for a while at least.
And it's ±1. When I'm not dealing ±2/10. 2/10 is literally like
Yeah.
a fraction of a thousandth.
So
of an
those
inch.
those tolerances are way different than
are
like.
absolutely ridiculous. Like almost impossible.
Okay.
So
So
if
moving to engines was kind of like, oh, this is a little bit.
is
more
a walk in the
relaxing.
park.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, it was insane. So I worked there. Like I said, it paid really well, and it was a Monday to Friday job. So
Yeah.
I started like putting money into my car, getting more stuff done, drifting, going
Yeah.
venturing out, going to Canaan, came to Club Blue, started like doing more.
Yeah, I definitely remember seeing you at Club Blues.
And I mean, I also had a couple issues throughout the build. Like I was having issues with the shims on the VVL. So like,
okay.
it wasn't that reliable. I went to Canaan a couple of times, and like I got crippled because of the spit out shim out at Canaan, and I couldn't find the shim, and I had to get it raced off. And I drove my car from home, so I had to I was like in the middle of Styx, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, I need a shimless setup.
Okay.
So back then,
I don't know much about these heads, but
so
I get what
like
you're saying.
there's no rocker arm
Yeah.
issues. The rocker arm issues are taken care of, but now you have the shims. So,
So now
it's-
you're spitting shims out.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait.
Yeah,
they
but-
just swapped one for the other.
Well,
and
it's
at least
probably-
the rocker arm hopefully will pop out, and it hopefully is right there. And the shims are hopefully where they kind of.
Yeah, the shims
mirror.
could go to the bottom of the engine.
Yeah, they could drop in there.
That's another real bad story right there. Yeah. So yeah, with the VEs, you eliminate the rocker arm problem. Now the problem becomes the shims. That's
Yeah.
the weakest link at that point. So
And you're revving this thing to what, $9,000?
9200, I think it was. yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
The-
God damn.
The N1 cams are like 288 duration, 288 exhaust intake. And
That's
like,
so dumb high.
it is.
I got my
That's
engine
high
back from
as
JP, and he's like, "Yeah, you can rev that thing to 8." I'm like, "Whoa, slow down." No, you said like 85 or some
yeah.
shit.
Oh, I trust it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, "Dude, I don't know if I can do all that."
If it makes the power, that's the thing. Like, it's gonna start like
Dropping
losing
off.
power. Like, so if you
Yeah.
make power up to like 8
that is an
grand,
SR too. That's like
Is
a
it?
regular SR
DET.
dynograph. Yeah,
Yeah, so it starts falling off at like 6 grand. So,
yeah.
but in a VE, like the way it flows and the way the camshaft profiles, you just have to spin it that fast because it's like a Honda. It has to rev really high.
High.
Yeah.
Through to the moon.
Yeah,
Damn, I need that.
but
You
it kind
have
of
it.
sucks because it gives you a lot of lag. So
I'm
it's-
okay with that.
So that's
I'm all right.
that leads into the other story of the anti-lag setup. But
Oh Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
this is all like a little snowball effect
Yeah.
of fiddling.
I don't know if we have enough time for that for all this.
How long have we?
We're long right now.
We're
Yeah.
3 hours.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
We're gonna have to continue this another time.
Yeah, which is great for us because
Yeah.
I want to bring you back.
We're only
anyway.
at 2013.
But-
we have another 10 years to
I'm
go.
dead at- yeah, for real.
I know,
because
I do
never.
want-
I didn't know that you were in it that early.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, me either.
because you guys are kind of the same age, and Frankie got in it, and you mentioned years of like 2012, 2013, not 07,
Yeah.
when the internet
Yeah,
in
when I
those
got
5
into it-
years developed a fuckload.
I was 19 or 20 when I got into like drifting and stuff like that.
Like
So-
your first car
You
was
were,
a
like, in high
S14.
school. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, not to speed through, but so you got all of this VE stuff under your belt, and then fast forward like 8 more years, I guess, to 2018. Was that when you started working on it?
Yeah. 2018.
So then, like, you have all of these years, trial, tribulations through fucking building this VE.
Yeah. And when you got this job, I guess give us a little rundown of like why you transitioned to take this job, because I believe what you've told me before is you took a pay cut, you know.
So I was like in a bad spot mentally. Like I broke up with my girlfriend at the time, so like my whole life kind of just like shit on itself. Like,
Yeah.
but the car was running good, so like, that was
beautiful.
it was
Well, could be worse.
that was what kept me. Like that's kind of what people already like knowing, like OJP has the VET, like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a new
yeah.
thing. And then like I said, I was in my job. It was kind of boring, it was repetitive, and then broke up with a girlfriend at the time. And I was like fuck that, so moved back home. And I was like, you know what? Like, I hate this fucking job. Like, I'm gonna fucking shoot myself. I keep working here. I hate it.
Yeah,
and now
yeah.
that I'm like dealing with a breakup, like it's even worse.
You're like, you know what? Fuck. Well, we already see what JP does when he's upset or angry. He goes full.
Builds a
into,
VE.
Yeah,
fuck it, I quit.
yeah, no,
Yeah, or just pedal to the floor when the engine's making noise.
Literally.
yeah. Which isn't like me, dude. I'm a
Yeah.
calm person.
Yeah.
Like, very responsible. I show up to work every day. But I was like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna venture out. So my buddy that was the Subaru kid, he knew
This
of this.
Subaru guy, man.
Yeah.
man.
Pretty important guy in your
no,
life.
I'm very thankful, but we're not friends anymore, unfortunately.
Oh,
God
that's-
damn it.
Yeah. It was,
Well, it's okay.
It was over a drift accident, so
Yeah,
Ooh,
alright.
that's another.
Yeah. Okay, we're definitely gonna have you back on.
Yeah,
Wait, so you ventured out. The Subaru guy.
told me that there was a machine shop locally because like the one in where I had my motor built in Groton was like an hour away, so
Uh-huh.
I wasn't gonna try and work over there. And I knew they couldn't hire anybody because I tried to work there, and I was like, "Hey, do you guys hire? I have some experience doing the aerospace." And they're like, "No, we're not looking to hire anybody." There's a local shop in Bristol too, where I live, my hometown, and they weren't looking for anybody either. It was just like a 2-people shop.
Mm-hmm.
But my buddy with the Subaru, he's like, hey, like I've been welding for this dude that builds Volvos, and he has all his Volvos built at this machine shop in Watertown. And I was like, really? And I was like, he's like, yeah, he told me the name, and I was like, I never heard of him. And he's like, let's just go down. Like it's like 15, 20 minutes away. So we went there, and
You quit your job at this point, or you're thinking about it?
I was still working there.
Okay.
So I went there, and a weird thing is like this shop doesn't advertise or anything. I never knew about it
Yeah.
until this got up. So I walk in there, and the first thing I see is an SR20, like sitting on like that little. I don't know if you've ever been to the front door where it's like really narrow and people drop
I
stuff
have.
off.
Yeah.
So there was an SR20 dropped off there, like a block, and I recognized it. I was like, "That's an SR20," and I was like, "Weird."
That's
I was
kind
like-
of a weird sign.
Yeah, so I walked in there and I met the owner, Bill, and then I chatted with him and I asked him, and I was like, hey, like whatever's going on, I'm looking for a new job, and like we talked for like 3 hours. It was
Yeah.
a 3-hour interview.
Fire.
Yeah. So they loved me on the spot, dude. They showed me around and they're like, yeah, we build all this. They had a Viper motor, mainly a V8 shop and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh,
Most
yeah,
machine shops that deal with performance, I feel like.
yeah.
There's big ass engines in there.
Yeah, he told me, he's like, we don't do that much import stuff, but like we do some Subarus here and there, we do some Porsches, and then like some random Hondas that come in. But they're like, it's a shitty town, so you get like all the ghetto Honda people to come in.
Yeah.
So, but they were mainly like V8 and stuff, and they were willing to give me a job. So I took the job, and I told my old job, I was like, yeah, I'm quitting. You know, like I hate it here. I'm trying to like do what I like, which is like engine work, and like I want to do that.
Yeah.
Burn out at the parking lot.
Yeah. So they were like, all right, good luck, you know, whatever. So I left there. My brother actually
This is
stayed
kind of
working.
this is kind of crazy.
It is.
I'm just saying it. All right. All right. Continue.
So like me and my brother were working together, and then like I said, like I just got in a shitty spot, and then I decided to leave.
Yeah.
So I told him I was like, I'm gonna put my 2 weeks in, and like I'm leaving. I want to do car stuff because that's what I like. I want to build engines. So at that point, we hadn't discussed pay with the new boss, but I just like I want to get out of there.
Yeah.
Like I want to do it. Like how bad could it be? So.
Welcome to the automotive field.
Yes. Very, yeah. I got a kick in the ass right there. So I started working, and he's like, I told him how much I was making at the aerospace base, and he's like, oof. He's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay you that much. He's like, you're eventually going to get there. He's like, so, I don't know. He gave me the whole rundown of the small business thing, and like, I would build it up, over time, prove yourself. So I was like, okay, whatever. He's like, I'm going to give you enough to pay your bills. And then from there, like, you can do some side jobs and stuff like that. So I looked at I was like, okay, I can do some side jobs and like make up for it. And like, I don't have to pay for engines.
That was the upside to taking the pay cut.
That was the catch. Yes.
Yeah.
So I started working there. I was like, okay, working with V8s. Kind of cool. I was fresh in the water. So I was hyped.
Yeah.
Then I got my first paycheck and I was like, oh boy, like $9 an hour pay cut. So I told my buddy, I was like, yeah, dude, they're paying me this much. Like, I was like, I can't, dude. I'm sorry. Like, and it's like, yeah, no, whatever. It's like, he's like, oh, you gotta really stay, blah, blah. And I was like, nah, dude, like, I can't. Like, this sucks. Like, I started making more than this at my older job. Like, so I didn't come back. I think I told him that I was like, I went back to the place and I told him, I think it was at that Thursday. We get paid on Wednesdays. So I went in there and I told him, I was like, hey, I'm sorry, but like, I can't work for this. Like, this is not enough. And then they were like, all right, it's fine. We understand. So I left and then I just like, I don't know. I kept thinking about it. And then Monday came back and then I showed up again.
Oh, God.
And then
they got him.
Yeah. And I was like, he's like, and then the son was like, he's like, oh, JP, you came back. And then he's like, yeah, man. Like, he's like, I thought about it. I'm going to stay. And it's like, he's like, all right. So I would
have been like, yeah, well, I already quit my fucking job, dude. So yeah, here I am.
Yeah, I'm here.
Well, my old job was willing to take me back because they were that desperate. So like, I was already talking to my old boss and I was like, hey man, like they're paying me this much. Like I need to come back. Like I made a mistake.
Yeah.
So he's like,
I'll be right back.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'm coming back next Monday. But I didn't go back to the job that I was supposed to. I went back to the engine shop instead.
Yeah.
So
that was probably a huge pivotal moment in your life.
Yeah,
it was.
You could have taken two different paths.
And he still doesn't know if it was the right decision.
Yeah.
I could tell.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
We're at a turning point, bro. But like, it's
yeah.
looking really good. It's looking a lot better than it did back then.
Yeah.
But I remember driving away from the place and like thinking about it. I was like, it might possibly be fucking up the best thing that's probably going to happen in my entire life.
Yeah.
So.
Could be.
I went back and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to do this for like a year. Like, I can show up, like, the biggest thing, like, I showed up at my old job at, like, fucking 5, 6 in the morning. And I wanted a job where I could show up, like, 8 in the morning they started. And I thought that was sick. I was like, 8 o'clock, like, I can wake up and, like, have a breakfast and, like, have it easy. So I liked that job. I was like, whatever, make some money. I struggled. Like I said, my dad understood what I was doing, so he was very supportive. My mom was not okay with me taking that big of a pay cut, but my dad was like, he's doing it for the experience. Like, it'll be worth it. You can always go back to what he's doing.
You have the experience already, so it's like,
So I stayed, and then, like I said, I started doing work for my buddies and like doing my own things, and then I did the shimless setup on my own. Mm-hmm. Actually, no, the reason why I started working there, one of the biggest push was when I stripped the head stud.
Oh yeah.
Which we'll get back. We'll into that story. So when we were speaking about the shims and the VEs, one time I was doing like a burnout. We were like at a party or something, and then like we were leaving. I did a burnout. And I remember I spit one of the shims out while I was doing the burnout, and then I was like, I hear it. I was like, I hear the tick, and I was like, God damn it, it's a fucking.
Let me get out of here really quick,
bro. You can't get away from the shit with SRs. Something's gonna pop out, and you're gonna be.
Thing is, like, it was every time I backfired, so it jerks the valves around, and that spits the shims out. So I was like, the party was like pretty in the town, so I was like, I'm pretty close to home. I'll just fucking drive home. So I drove home.
Yeah.
And I fixed it and put the shim back, and then I put the car back together, and I heard like a weird sound when I started it. It was like a scraping sound almost. Mm-hmm. Sounded very weird. I had a weird bad feeling about it. So I put it back together, and I went to like a local car meet, like in town too. Mm-hmm. So we hung out there, and then whatever, it's time to go home, 10 o'clock at night. And then on the way home, like I was just driving and not even boosting it. And then out of nowhere, just like boom, like everything shuts off. Everything, nothing. Like I'm trying to like, I'm trying to crank it, and it's like spinning, but like not. So I pull over into a parking spot, and then like I'm like spinning. It's like, and it's like, and I was like, fuck. So I had to get towed. I got towed home. Take it apart, and I'm like looking at things outside, and then I take the cam angle sensor. I'm like, I think my cam angle sensor is like broken. I thought I broke the shaft on the cam angle sensor.
Okay.
So I was like, I broke the cam angle sensor shaft that rides in the cam. No, that piece was fine. So I look back more, and then I noticed that my timing chain's gone. So I'm like, oh, there is no timing chain.
It's just gone.
It's gone. It's in the bottom of the block. So the shim that I spit out doing that burnout worked its way into the front of the SR20, fell through the front into the lower sprocket, broke one of the teeth on the sprocket, and then broke the timing chain like in half. So it was still held by half the link, but that's what I drove. That's what I heard the noise. That's what that noise was the chain literally like hanging on. So I drove to the meet.
Yeah, it fell off.
Yeah, it completely like fell off. It was broken in half.
That shit probably sounded like the weirdest sound now that I'm thinking about
crank
it.
rotating.
Just
Yeah. And then, but I got lucky because like it didn't like crunch valves. It wasn't like it tapped.
Well, yeah, because now the bottom is.
Yeah. So, but I wasn't beating on it. I was like really low RPM. So like that's when it happened, and then it was just like poof, kiss the valves, and then like I think I put it back together and it had low compression. Yeah. So I was like, oh, the valves are no good. So I sent the head back to MassWorks to fix 2 little valves. Like I wish I just sent it to somebody local. Got the head back. I go put the head on, and it didn't hold the 60 pounds of torque.
Oh no!
This is my $5,000 bottom end that I bought from MassWorks. My heart sank, bro, and I was like, bro, I broke up with my girlfriend. Now my engine's fucked. Like. This is like the worst. Like this is like I went upstairs and I was like, dude, I think I'm gonna sleep on the train tracks tonight. Like I was like freaking out, and I was like I was pacing. I was like bugging out. I was like, dude, I trashed this motor. Like it's gone. So
and you didn't know that you could oversize them yet or anything.
I knew you could, but I didn't want to take the whole thing apart. Like
Here we go
literally
again.
start from scratch again. Like, So I talked to one of my buddies that like I couldn't do stuff on my own shop. It was like still strictly supervised. So I talked to one of my buddies that was also a machinist at his shop. It was mom and pop owned, and I was like, "Hey, buddy, like, do you want to like help me convert my shit to 1/2" 13 on your shop on your Bridgeport, and like we'll put it assembled and like we'll mock it up and tape up everything." So he said, "Yeah, let's do it." So I took the motor, we set it up on blocks because like you can't set the SR20 flat on it because the crankshaft hangs lower than the block itself.
So I feel like this was when you first got.
That was the biggest push because I was literally pushed into a machine.
Now you're in the machine shop. You're looking around. You're like, oh, okay.
Fight or flight, baby.
Yeah. So I bought the 1/2" 13. Like tapping a 1/2" 13 bolt is pretty common thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, indicate everything. I took 6 hours to do the whole job, which is overly like I was like making sure every hole was like within 1/10. Centered, even though like you can be pretty crooked. But anyway, I did that and I pulled it off. And I didn't have to send the thing to MassWorks.
Awesome.
I felt like a badass. I was like, yeah, I converted my shit to a 1/2" 13. Like, I can do engine job. Like, I can do work on engines. I want to do this. So that's when I ventured into the engine shop.
That makes sense.
So I happen to be friends with all the growing YouTubers at that time. So I became friends with Jimmy and Adam.
Yeah.
Through my brother because they all biked at the skate park that was local, like literally down the road from me.
Yeah.
So they knew my brother. They knew Jefferson's brother had a 240. Like I came to the skate park, hung out with everybody. They saw my car.
That skate park is a pretty important place in your
also,
life.
now I feel like you're transitioning into being the old head there.
Yeah.
Like, there's this guy, JP.
Yeah, right?
He builds engines and stuff. Hit him up.
Like thing is, like, this was before I built I built the engine at home. So like people thought I was an engine builder because I put the thing together at home. So I was the only dude with a car. All my brothers' age were like they were just starting to get in the cars. So they were like, "Oh, JP's brother has a sick car. He goes to car meets and street races, badass drifting." I thought it was mad cool. And I was just like, yeah. So What was I going with this?
You're talking about the YouTubers.
Oh yeah, so yeah, they were all the YouTubers were friends with my brother,
Yeah.
like Adam and Jimmy, and they started getting into cars, and then they built up the YouTube thing, and then we kept in touch, and then I became more friends with them,
Yeah.
and we started doing cars things together. I started working at the machine shop. Jimmy was about it, and he was like, I started helping Jimmy with stuff,
Yeah.
doing work for Adam, and then they started shouting me out, and that's when it really started blowing up.
Okay, so yeah, it was a mixture of all that. Dude, all the Connecticut YouTube. Why are all the YouTubers in Connecticut? Can anyone tell me this?
I'm sorry. There's some YouTubers in North Jersey, Rutherford.
Okay, I wouldn't call us YouTubers, but
We could be.
yeah.
People said they liked it.
Well, it really is because like you said, they're friends.
Yeah.
And then if one person starts making it, he'll support the other person, and then before you know it,
Yeah, I
You're
think
everybody eating.
Adam was the biggest.
yeah, Adam was the biggest
tumble-
one.
the one that started the whole ball for everyone.
Yeah.
So, but Adam was cool with my brother, and like I said, he knew that I had 240 and stuff. So,
So that's when you okay. So now you got this job.
Mhm.
Your Instagram's getting more popular, and now you start. I guess this is kind of when you start filming stuff in the shop. And,
Side jobs and stuff start hopefully pouring in, so now
Yeah.
the pay isn't bad.
so I mean, like nobody wanted to trust me in working on their motors because,
yes,
like, you know,
I was one of them.
yeah, I was like, who's this dude? Like, I haven't proven anything other than what I have, and I didn't really build it myself. I didn't put it together.
Yeah,
So I was just like building like these V8s, and like I got a couple of side jobs, and I was just like, okay,
yeah. Well, you're always like, you know, does this person have experience? You know, this and that.
yeah. So that's when I came in and I met my buddy Travis that works there. Like
Yeah.
he had been working there for like 3 years, and he actually told me, he was like, dude, like you don't want to work here, like dude, you're not gonna make any more than $19 an hour here tops.
Yeah,
So he's like, you should probably go back to your old job. And I was like, you know what, dude, like I can't go back. Like I think we can pull something off. Like, you know, I think we can get
yeah.
enough
You had
side jobs.
bigger plans than just working
Yeah.
there forever.
So that I got the first shop job, and I split it with him, which was an RB25 for one of my buddies. And he was like, damn, like you actually really do know all these people, because he's not into 240. He's got Mark IV R32 Volkswagen, B5
Yeah.
S4. So he learned all this Nissan JDM stuff from me. And I told him, I was like, dude, there's a big market into this. Like it can be a big thing. Like if you help me out, like I just need help, you know. And he was about it. So I, you know, started sharing work. I fed him some work. He helped me, and like
Yeah,
I needed all the help that I could, because like it's very intricate work and stuff. So the two of us made it, and then like I said, the YouTubers got bigger. I started doing more work for Jimmy.
Adam's sending you engines.
Yep. Then Adam started sending me stuff, because Adam had people doing stuff in Florida for him.
Yeah,
So I was like, I'm not counting on Adam like coming through. Like he's got
Yeah.
everything in his hands. Like, but Jimmy was smaller, so like Jimmy came to me, and like I did a couple jobs for him, and Jimmy's following came up big time, and then now everybody was coming to me from Jimmy.
yeah.
So I started doing more jobs, and then like just local people that were drifting also like started getting their motors done, because I was the only guy around doing it, and they needed a really fast turnaround time. So word of mouth just spread locally and also on the YouTube.
Yeah.
So it just like blew up to like where it is now.
Dude, I'm telling you, your Instagram stories are very important. Like,
I appreciate that, dude. And I get a lot of messages like people are like, dude, like I look forward to your Instagram stories every day. Like some dude was like, when I found your Instagram, it was like I found a gold mine. I was like,
yeah, because we most people in the car, I don't want to say car industry, but even drifters, like anyone who's in the cars, we like to learn, obviously, you know. So with someone who works in a machine shop and is able to, you're basically teaching everyone, you know,
pretty much. So
little things here and there.
I like to share the experience. I think what we do is very cool. Like it's not like people probably think I'm like a big show off, and I just like think I'm like this badass. And
I
like,
don't think many people think that.
There's some people think that because I stopped responding to messages because I got overwhelming, so they think I'm like too good for them. But
Oh
like,
yeah, I could get.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, they just don't understand.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
it's unrealistic.
You have to be, unfortunately, have to be mean, and not everybody's gonna like you.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, I have to do this. This is part of the process. You know, like I didn't count on it getting this big,
Yeah,
and that gets to the other chapter, which is it got big enough that by luck of chance, I found an investor I'm working with and opened up my own shop.
Hell yeah, I fucking knew it.
So
I was like, I remember that conversation we had where he's like, I'm working on something, don't say it.
yeah, I spilled the beans last time a little bit when you guys came over.
Yeah.
So, but
I
was
didn't say shit, didn't say nothing, but I
So-
knew it though.
yeah. So
Aha.
that's the biggest thing. Like he sent me to PRI. He's the one that sent me to PRI.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna keep it confidential. Silent investor. Like it's not who you think it is. A lot of people are like, oh, I know who it is. Oh yeah, he's gonna treat you really good. I'm
no
like,
one really knows. Yeah,
nobody knows. Like it's actually like extremely.
Yeah.
And there's a whole nother story about how I met this dude and how because it came through Instagram.
Yeah.
But anyways,
How's that situation looking? Because last time we spoke, it was like
I mean, it's going extremely slow.
it's just a slow process.
Yeah, it's just very slow. But things are moving forward, like
Okay.
slowly but surely. Like, we got the spot. Now we're just working
cool.
on agreements and
Yeah.
between the owners. There's 2 investors, and then they want me to run the shop, and I'm gonna have Travis as the first employee, and then we're eventually gonna hire more people because we're gonna be buried into it with
Yeah.
work, dude. Like once you have
a process set up where you can like, oh, you hit us up, you do this, and you send your engines here.
yes.
Once the process is smoothed out,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, dude, I've been turning away so much work that I'm like, bro, like I need a full-time shop to take care of everyone.
Yeah.
So that's how I became a thing. And then I was like, I talked to the investor, and like being under the YouTuber shadows, I'm like, dude, like all the stars are aligned.
Yeah.
Almost like, so I'm like, yeah, we can do this on our own. Like I have a decent enough found that I can get enough jobs to support a business. But if we have the YouTubers, like
You have the marketing done already.
it'll be insane, dude. It's
Yeah.
gonna be absolutely insane.
That's awesome. dude.
Business model.
You need a clerk?
Do you need
We need everything, dude. I need somebody to take care of invoicing. I need somebody to do the payroll. Because right now I'm doing basically everything. Like I'm the customer service. I'm the machinist. I'm the freaking getting you quotes, talking
Yeah.
to customers,
Yeah.
doing everything. Like
Turn Chris's mic off. He's trying to quit. You're trying to move over there. I see what you're doing.
Oh.
Well, that's awesome, dude. I'm glad you could share that here because I know you were on the fence. You're like, I don't know if I should say anything yet because
yeah, it like I said, it was time sensitive stuff. So
Yeah.
I didn't want to like buy the saddle without buying the horse.
Yeah,
type
yeah,
deal.
yeah.
So I didn't want to get everybody too hyped up. I mean, like, oh, just talking about it and then like doesn't.
I mean,
nothing
hey,
happens.
if you're saying it on here, that means you're pretty confident that this is gonna happen. So
well, here-
1.5 Jay-Z sounds real good right
Oh,
now.
thing is, like, if this doesn't happen, dude, I'm gonna have to quit and go back to a shitty job.
or you'll find another way to make it happen.
Yeah, we'll see.
I hate
Yeah.
when he does this. He does this shit on his story all the time. You've
Bro.
actually stopped.
I know, well, because of this.
Okay.
Because it's gotten a lot of faith, but
Dude,
like, there's been
I'd
up
always
and
go on
downs.
your story and it'd be like JP be banging out all this work, everything be sick, and then it'd be another one where he's just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna quit this week." So I'm like, "Bro, what? Shut the fuck up! You
No,
quit?
dude,
you can't
there's-
quit."
like everything looks better on Instagram.
Yeah, no, I know you're
It's-
struggling. This is bad. Like the
it's-
pay's bad. Yeah, it was
it's-
bad.
It's happy. The toilet's bad.
The toilet's bad.
Everything's bad. Everything looks good on Instagram. Like, we're having fun, but like that I just upload a little bit.
Well, there's one thing about the automotive industry that is better, and that's the people in it and the fun you have in the shop.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
something that you don't really get anywhere else.
No, I love the people that I work with, dude, and like quote unquote, no offense, like I work with a bunch of boomers, and it's just, it's awesome. It's
Yeah.
hilarious. It's like the funniest.
I
thing
like
ever,
watching your
dude.
videos and seeing the old guys. And,
Yeah,
and doing,
I try and record them.
Yeah.
because
And you could tell they're like, oh, why are you recording me?
Yeah, no, they're not. Like, I keep telling them, and I'm like,
Yeah.
there's this dude Bob, and he's like, don't record me, blah blah. And I was like, no, dude, like people love this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm talking shit, like all this, and I'm like, no, I'm dude, like people love. Like,
I'm
keep
here to
talking
see
shit.
Bob.
Like, yeah,
All right. So like, let him know. Like, I remember. Yeah, you'd be all right. All right, Bob, what are you doing? And he's like,
yeah.
but no, they're getting better at it though. I could tell.
Yeah.
Some of them are getting better at it.
Bob is. We have a couple of part timers, so Bob's one of the part timers. The owner's Bill, so he's like the
Okay.
full timer. I don't really joke with him that much.
Yeah.
But the other part timers and the older dudes, like I joke with them. It's just like
Yeah.
you said, it's the automotive industry. It's just
Dude, it's a fun time, man. You hear some crazy shit in the shop though. God
yes,
Damn.
yeah.
Yeah.
Man, if there was a mic in this office,
Oh, the office too. Damn. All right. Yeah, me and Malcolm get a little rowdy.
yeah.
I'm glad that you have that in the future. Hopefully,
Dude,
we'll be
In the near future,
seeing something.
he's got to make this shit happen. man.
Yeah.
Like,
Pull up those questions.
yeah, let's do some questions right now.
I'm curious. It's gonna be like, what build should I do? Or
Yeah,
something.
let's hope that
What's
it's
my
not
ring
a
gap
bunch of like.
supposed to
What's
be?
my ring cap supposed to be? What's
Bro.
a 5-angle valve job?
Yeah, watch them be like
Yeah.
30
Put a
different
1K
technical
headline
questions.
SR20.
Let's see. First thing, let me see how many there are.
I was hoping nobody would ask stuff that you can generally Google because I get that floated a lot now. It's just like, what's the torque spec for this? What's this? And I'm like, dude, like really, you can Google that. Like,
fuck.
Yeah, dude. Like at the end of the day, it's like JP wants to help everyone out, but like guys, you got to be realistic. If you can Google some of this information, you probably shouldn't be DMing him. He's got a lot of shit on his plate.
I mean,
So, you can try.
I did it. I did it off the
Yeah.
internet, dude. Like, and
Yeah.
there wasn't as much internet as there was back then.
I will then definitely let
You want to start with this?
Frankie or
You want me to start? I mean, bulletproof KAT setup, question mark. So these are like kind of, I mean, this is a general question, but
Yeah.
just
So,
something.
I mean, like, right off the bat with a KA, piston rods. Like, they have heavy, shitty pistons from factory.
Okay.
Half counterbalance crankshaft. Doesn't like the RPMs.
Oh, wow.
So,
what? I didn't even know that.
dropping info right now.
Yo,
Yeah.
did I? Should
I
break
mean-
that down.
KAs are good, but like people got to understand that KAs weren't designed to be a performance engine.
Yeah.
It was supposed to have like low end, and just drive. Like it's
Be
got a low
strong.
red line,
Yeah.
and that's it. Like you're not supposed to peg limiter off of them, and that's why you see so many dual cams throwing rods left and right because like they're unbalanced. And they just have a shitty rotating assembly. It's not meant for that. It's not like an SR20 where it's a square rotating assembly, fully counterbalanced crankshaft.
So can you even like balance that crank really well?
Yeah, you can balance it. So
Okay.
like we do the balancing on the crankshaft, and now I think BC sells the stroker kit or like a full counterbalance crankshaft for the KA. So like
Okay.
that's another hot ticket. But the KAs that we've done, we haven't had any issues, and nobody really revs that high. So like
Okay. Well, there's some info. There's a tip right there. Make sure that shit's balanced, I guess, and pistons and rods.
yeah,
So,
so pistons, rods, bearings, and like I said, usually the valve guides are worn, just like an
Okay.
SR20. They're just old engines.
why does JP choose to stick to the SR platform? I love mine too. I'm just curious.
That's what I wanted because that's what came in the car originally. Like I said.
you're a purist in that aspect.
Yeah, and also the way it handles in the car, like it's like, dude, I went from my KA to my SR, dude, and I feel a big difference in the way the front end felt.
Wow.
So like I was like, dude, like this is great. Like I like 4 cylinders. I like little engines. I don't.
Yeah, if you put a JZ in there, it would feel a lot different.
No, yeah, like I like RB sounds, but like I said, that's why I'm putting the RB on the other street car that I'm not gonna drift because like I want the power, I want the sound, but
Yeah.
I can't afford an R34, so I'm gonna live my R34 broken dreams through that little red car, and then eventually, hopefully, I afford my own R34 and I can do RB things.
This is Wags. This is a friend of mine. What is the best meat for a taco?
Chorizo.
Shrimp.
Mango.
I'm a big shrimp.
Yeah, you're a
taco.
shrimp taco guy.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
he is.
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah,
Nobody likes lengua?
The tongue?
yep, tongue, yeah.
I fuck with that. Salt.
Al pastor tacos too. They're like pork
they're
and
good.
pineapple.
Yeah, they're good.
yeah,
That's Malcolm's favorite.
yeah.
I fuck with that.
Yeah, you guys gotta come up and go to the taco truck.
Those those Al Pastor tacos we had in California when we were literally going to a fucking taco spot, like a restaurant though. And then beforehand we went to a taco truck, and after we went to a taco truck.
Oh my god.
Same
yeah,
taco
we
truck.
went to a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my buddies that lived in California, like the Subaru kid.
Yeah.
He lived in California.
You guys, we're gonna rekindle
Yeah,
that friendship
yeah.
eventually.
So yeah, he lived in California because he got a job like working at a fabrication shop in California, like doing pretty nice stuff. So and he came back and told me, he's like, dude, I've had legit Mexican food in California for when I was there, dude, and this taco truck somehow like slaps.
Yeah.
Like and more like
I mean,
we gotta
that-
try the taco truck.
Yeah, I meant to do that last time, but I just
Yeah.
Is that the one?
to be honest, I never had a shrimp taco, so I'll have the first one there.
dude, amazing.
Is that the one that's like on the side of the highway, where it's like a bunch of food trucks?
No, this is like behind the mall in
Oh,
Waterbury.
okay.
Yeah,
Next
it's not.
time-
I know what you're talking about. That's like a known spot, but this is like a standalone food truck.
Next time we're there, we'll grab it. This guy, he said share Frankie's backstretch routine.
Look, you mentioned it last time,
I know,
and
I
I was
know.
like, huh.
All right, so-
and this is Dylan. I
any leg stretches you can do, just touch your toes. That's the key. Touch your toes. You could do it sitting down. You could do it standing up. This is for lower back. So there you go. JP's already doing
hey
it.
yo,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a secret. That's his engine builder secret.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have. It's nothing crazy. So,
I'm not gonna try it. My fault.
Yeah.
so any questions that you've already answered, I'm not even gonna ask. Like, how did you learn about VVL SR?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
we've kind of went over
There's
that.
a 2.5-hour segment on this episode about that.
Yeah, like come on. Now let's ask the important ones. What's your favorite cereal?
Where the fuck is that
Frosted
question?
Flakes.
Frosted Flakes. Okay,
Yeah.
I can dig that. Favorite game right now? Maybe video games.
It's gonna be Car X.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
what's up? Faction
Yeah.
Discord. We're on there.
Yeah.
We were running comms last night. I was
We
making
were.
brackets and shit on a piece of cardboard.
We actually almost filled a private lobby last night.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun.
Yeah,
Yo,
no,
I'm gonna
it's-
send you a link to that shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
because
guys-
you're in groups with that too, right? Like
Yeah.
you have- yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, it's just like my local buddies, and we just fuck around, get
Oh,
fucked up
yeah.
on a weekend night, and just like play. And
That's
bullshit and,
exactly what we do.
like, yeah. We can have a sick private lobby.
What's your favorite tool in the machine shop?
Oh,
10mm socket.
Right. I was
Okay.
gonna say that probably acetylene torch.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it
That
gets
shit-
fun. 'Cause you could cut.
Yeah,
cut with
that and like the CNC machine.
I
like,
knew
that
you were
from
gonna
the
say
Centroid.
CNC,
Like
yeah.
you can't really argue that freaking $300,000 machine.
Yeah.
Like, sick.
300,000.
Yeah.
How the fuck did your shop afford that?
It's like $4,000 a month like for the loan and shit. It's like it's insane. Yeah.
That's a lot of
Now
V8s.
I'm not gonna brag or anything, but I also did a little bit of my own head work as well. I did valve seals on my
Jesus
car.
Christ, Carl.
And I got this tool that you fucking hit the thing
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
magnets. Favorite shit.
I
ever.
thought you were gonna say you did like bowl work and like fucking like.
Yeah, that's what I thought
What?
too.
Yeah,
Like,
Oh yeah, that's
supporting.
why I daily drive the
I
car.
was like, oh,
mad
no.
far. Thing is healthy as well, but that's one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
He also asked, "What's the most hated?"
That's
tool
the
to
one I
use
wanted you to
at the
ask. What do
machine
you
shop?
not like using?
Probably the the Magnaflux thing because it's just like really dusty and just
The hell is
dirty
a-
and like it's like a magnet like we used to like check cracks and blocks and heads. So
Oh.
like we put like this like ferrous dust on it and then like we put the magnet and like you blow the dust out of it.
Yeah.
And everything but the crack is gonna like blow away. So
I
you
think
can
it's pretty
visibly see the
sick.
cracks.
I
Ah.
think I've seen videos of that.
Yeah,
So-
he's posted a video once on his
It's
thing.
once in a while. Like I don't do that much
Clearly.
because it's like a part-timer job. So like Bob
Yeah.
would do that. Like they have like just, it's a shitty job, but
Yeah,
we all have to do the shitty jobs eventually. And like
Might have
Yeah.
been your story I saw that on.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it was because that's. I remember seeing that and I was like, I've never seen this before. What's the best advice on maintaining an SR20? This is a great question.
oil,
Pennzoil.
change your filter every other drift event.
And
like
I'm
I
going to
was
chime
doing.
in too and say, make sure you actually have oil in it.
Yeah, put an oversized oil pan right off the bat.
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest thing.
And I say coolant temps. Watch your coolant temps.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like the tune, like that's the number one thing. Make sure the tune is always good. Just don't run a stock ECU. Stock ECUs were tuned for 100 octane in Japan.
Yeah.
We're running different gasoline here. We're running intercooled pipes. Stock tune should be just to drive it, like just to get it to going.
Drive it to the tuner.
Yeah. So I always sharpen up the tune, put an oversized oil pan, and yeah, like I said, just watch the vitals.
Good to know.
Oh my
Hold
God,
on.
these
no,
questions.
no. This one. Hey, don't glance over this one now.
You gotta send
Wild
me the bad
Steve.
ones. 'cause,
No, that's a good question. I like it.
This is.
Read
I
it.
will ask this. Okay. From Wild Steve, who will finish their car first, JP or Frankie?
This is good.
Oof, that's a good one.
Do you want to make a bet?
Are where
Frankie.
yours is? Are you guys similar? Like yours is out. Everything is out.
Yeah, Frankie's car pretty much looks like mine right now.
But is yours
Good comp.
assembled yet? Oh, it is kind of assembled.
It is assembled, yeah, the engine. Did you put yours together now or no?
No.
I thought you already did that. I thought
said,
like
oh.
I would have been stoked. I would have put it together in front of the stand.
I asked him one day. I'm like, "What's? Are you missing anything?"
I said no.
And he was like, "Nah." I'm like,
all right, guys, place your bets.
Place your bets.
Yeah.
I think Frankie because I might send my
think
car out
JP.
to get the rockers fixed because I had like rocker rot on it from the sunroof.
Yeah.
So I got a guy that I built a motor for that like knows a guy I don't know in like the Bronx or something that like I guess
Okay.
he fixes a lot
"Oh
of like
yeah."
S chassis rotten. So I was just like, let me do that before I get the car painted. But I mean that's kind of the point of the red car was to like
I know.
fill
And
in.
the thing is, now he's got another car, so now
Yeah,
he might get distracted.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
I might like the DET with the S15 turbo more for drifting. Too.
Yeah,
I-
yeah.
I'm a little scared about
Simple
those.
setup.
It's fun. I mean,
Simple
it's
setup.
definitely fun.
It is, yeah.
But-
I miss it.
Once you turn that rev limit up to $9,000, and then you see what the rockers do.
Just
That's a conservative 300 wheel stock red line. You know,
Yeah.
just have fun. You know.
What are your thoughts on a proper 2JZ GE-NAT 400 horsepower build? Is it better than a GTE?
So right off the bat, the GE heads flow better.
Yo, somebody said that on another question, and I also
Yeah.
read that on forums.
Yeah.
But then why is it?
So they have the same intake, but the exhaust ports are different. This is also it comes to like Frankie's thing of like how come you things aren't the same. So when you look at a GTE head, it's got the group three
Three and three.
runners. Yes.
Yes.
So like group them towards the twin turbos.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
you have very awkward runners on each end, like facing really awkward shapes.
Yeah.
So that affects the flow. A GE just comes straight out like a normal cylinder head. Those ports straight out, that's what you want.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what anybody on the internet says, dude. Formula One cars are not designed with group headers like that. Everything's a straight shot out. So the GE is the hot ticket. So if you're building, like, the thing is, the GE restricts your exhaust manifold options.
Yeah.
Because all the manifolds are for GTs.
You're gonna have to make some custom shit, probably.
Yes. But if you're trying to like beat the world record, get a GE head and build it.
Okay. Fair enough.
Interesting. I have one of those.
Okay. Yeah, I see the other question with the head. Okay.
Well, I want to ask that one next because that kind of piggybacks off of the information.
Well, he kind of just explained it, right?
Yeah, but the sound of a 1J. So there's another question here. Why is a 1JZ so good, but yet I hear that the heads don't flow as well as a GE? And like now I guess that's because of the grouping, but like almost like the intake noise. Maybe that's because of the intake manifold is not that like crossover shit. I don't know.
So that's part of it for sure. But the 1J is just different than the 2J head.
Smaller.
Yeah, it's small. The ports are very small, so that's why. Like it's not bad, but it's not like the 2J is a new head is different from a 1JZ. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Now the runner thing. Now I'm gonna be like, yeah, check that.
Yeah. Yeah, and absolutely the runners.
Just for the record, it's been 2 minutes. Malcolm put a poll in the chat. There's been 5 votes, and it's all JP.
Yeah, fuck all you guys.
Yeah. I want to see what Frankie's engine does. Like that was a really intricate build. Like
Yeah, it seemed like I feel like you were pretty excited about
yeah,
that.
I'm stoked. Yeah, I can't wait
all
to
right.
see it.
It's still apart.
I'll get it done. Shut the fuck up, Chris.
Sorry,
All right.
Sorry.
What's the most common problem you run into? This is a very open-ended question, but let's say with most engines that come into the shop.
They're leaned out. They're
So
just
detonation
tuned, yeah.
and stuff like that.
And then you end up needing sleeves, and then that kills the whole process.
Yeah, we're the sleeve club over here now. I've decided we're just sleeving every SR.
Yeah, I mean the sleeves are replaceable. So like if you sleeve one and you detonate it, we'll just put it on the oven, pop the sleeve out, put a new one in.
I just feel like it's a lot stronger than
100%.
that aluminum top above the sleeve that you were telling me about.
Yeah,
I was like,
and in between the cylinders, the water jacket. That's like with the high power ones. That's one of the weaker spots where it splits in between.
yeah.
So, but at work, we've been doing like welding the top. My boss is really good at welding blocks, so like I've been pushing him to do that for us.
Oh, okay.
So we did that on Stoneback's engine because he didn't want
cool.
sleeves.
Yeah.
But I also wanted it to like hold.
If
as
Tom
much-
gives you an engine, make him sleeve it.
yeah. Okay. Gotcha, Tom. I send you the invoice.
Yeah. Opinions on 4B11 platform. God damn it, it's Johnny. How do you feel about those Evo engines?
Like I said, fully built. Like I said,
Yeah.
you have to fill them. We've done a few of them through the shop. Like I haven't done any for my friend. Actually, we did one for one of my friends, and like he had a clutch issue. Like the clutch was just not set up right, and like, it wiped the thrust, dude, and it ate the main bearing housing, dude, and like had to have my buddy my
It's funny
boss
you
weld
say
it.
that because didn't 4G63s have a crank walk issue too?
Yes, they do. Yeah,
That's kind of weird.
yeah, no, it's not relevant to that.
not
It's just
different?
like this is just all
Just a
hand.
freak.
So
incident.
crank walk can be caused by what? Like improper input shaft pressure?
So crank walk is weird because like even I don't really understand what it is because I talked to a couple of people. It's more like an old school term when they term
I thought
crank
that it's
walk.
just when it goes like this.
Yes, but
Yeah, yeah.
naturally the engine is supposed to do that. Like if you don't have any thrust play like this on the engine, stop. Like that's not good.
Yeah.
You're supposed to. That's why I tell people first thing you do, like grab the crank pulley, pull it, tug on it. It's gonna like click. It's not gonna move like, but it's gonna like you're gonna feel like a click. Like
That's
it's like
one of the critical measurements too.
10,000s, I think it is, the clearance between the thrusts, and like that way you know like your clutch isn't binding up the thrust because the clutch pressure plate tugs on all that assembly.
Yeah.
So if your pressure plate is tugging on that and rubbing the crankshaft against the thrust, it's gonna wipe the thrust out.
Okay.
Damn.
Why you tell JP about the story you found a crush washer?
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
a thrust washer.
So 'cause the reason why I ask is because I had this funky ass clutch set up because I was doing trial and error of a trans swap with a CD, and one day we went to a private day with Frankie and them, and I accidentally jacked the car up by the pan because it was dark and I was just being reckless.
Yeah.
And then I hit the pan and I heard something. Dropped the pan. And there's this U-shaped piece of metal that's been broken in half, and it's a thrust washer.
That is.
Copper on it,
I looked it up and I was like, "What the hell is a thrust washer?" And I looked where it goes.
Well,
and-
when you called me and I told you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you were like, "That looks like a thrust washer," and the motor was running fine. Like it was running great.
So
So,
the Nissan
I think it
SR20 has two.
Yeah.
So you were probably riding on one of them.
On my I have a GZ. I have an IS.
Oh, and a JZ? Hmm.
Yeah. There's a couple more of them.
I was gonna see is it 1J or 2J?
2J. It's a GE. Like it's a. But
I thought those were one piece.
it was broken in half.
Oh,
the
okay.
one was broken in half.
Yeah,
But it
okay.
was still running fucking mint.
This is not your engine, is it?
It was my old one.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, this probably means this is on a time limit. So let me get rid of this. And a buddy of a buddy was like, I have this normal stock one too. You could just give me yours and give me $200. And I was like,
Dude, that's crazy.
cool.
I would have
Now
been
I
like,
have mine.
oh, all right. Well, I guess
But
I'm
I
taking
never
this
knew
apart.
what the reason was or how you can even measure those. I guess that's what it is.
Yeah.
Well,
If
you
I
measure
bet
the
if I
play in
tugged
between the.
I bet if I
Yeah.
tugged on it, would do more.
Like factory, you're supposed to put an indicator on the back, and then like just zero it out like on the flywheel, and then just like tug on it, and that'll give you like the measurement. And then there's an FSM spec for it.
Interesting.
So, but the thrust washers is what keeps your crankshaft from moving laterally,
moving
like
too
up and
much.
down. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you probably broke it from doing like a clutch kick. That's absolutely horrible on the thrusts and the clutch.
Yo, nah,
Yeah.
because that day
Fuck,
I
man.
remember there was no grip.
Never really thought about that, but you're
Yeah.
right. It's
Yeah.
like.
And
Oh,
you had
absolutely,
a
yeah.
sketchy setup.
I had a super sketchy setup, and like the car wasn't aligned.
I remember, guys, check your oil pans for your thrust washers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and first of all, don't jack it up by there.
don't like get a good clutch. 'Cause
That too.
A clutch, like I said, like my buddy's 4B11, the clutch cooked the entire built engine because it ate the thrust and it ate the mains, and then it had to
What
get
kind of
welded.
clutch was it?
Some triple disc crazy 4B11. I don't know.
Okay.
He was shooting for like 900 horsepower.
I always say get the clutch you need, not the one you want.
Yeah,
But-
exactly.
That could go both ways. But what I'm saying is, if your car's making 350 foot-pounds of torque, you don't need a clutch for 850 foot-pounds of torque.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, what's the point adding the added abuse to your drivetrain?
Exactly, and
You
it's
know.
in the pedal field too. Like,
I'm gonna skip some of these guys. Sorry, we're running a little late here. But this guy's name's too good. Flick my Bic 55. Is JP
Frank.
is JP excited to drive a slow SR again?
I'm actually very excited, dude. Like I said, it's gonna take me back to like the early times of me having
Yeah.
like a stock HSR. So like I picked up the S15 turbo, so hopefully it's like close enough to a 2871R by also being a lot more responsive.
I mean, that was my only setup, so I can tell you it's fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Ball
what I
bearing,
said.
too.
It's a
Ball
proven setup. Yeah. So like I said, I got a couple of tricks under my sleeve too that it's not gonna be just a basic setup. So
Yeah, I feel like you cannot, for you personally, you would not want it to just. You got to throw a little.
yeah,
JP
no.
magic
Yeah,
in there.
I've been spilling the beans on the stories. I've been like cutting camshafts and doing like these weird things, and like hopefully a couple people have caught on it, and I'm just like, yeah, it's not gonna be just stock.
Yeah.
We're doing some crazy shit.
Yeah, I saw some stuff. There's two questions I'd like to ask last. Favorite engine to build from scratch and why?
Probably SR20, dude, just because I know them like the back of my hand.
Yeah,
like
you know them
literally,
very
like
well.
it's yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Bori Olsen, is that the last question?
Yeah, you can ask it.
Yes. Who or what inspires you right now in your career? Because right now, you're just. So far, you've just been fueling your own fire, and Subaru guy has been fucking. You guys just been. So like, if you tell me Subaru guy, I swear to God.
Yeah, no, I mean, I owe a lot to the Subaru guy.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
he's,
yeah.
he's my buddy, dude. I'll build his engine for free whenever he wants. Like, he's got the open door. I don't care.
Yeah.
Damn, man.
If we crash into each other drifting, and then
Come on,
he got
Subaru,
mad
man.
about me.
Come on back, man.
No, he's cool. I like him. I miss him. But I mean, like I said, doing my own thing. Like I always, like it's like I wanted to be like a business owner. I didn't want to like have like work for somebody and be just another freaking tool in the corporate world.
Yeah.
So having my own business and just making a living out of what I love is like my ultimate goal in life. So if I can pull this off, I'm not looking to make top dollar. I just want to make a decent living, do this, have access to this, and just be involved with the cars and building engines and be freaking sick. Like that's my end goal. But I think for say like inspiration wise, I think I would say it would be Mr. Junichi from Jun Auto.
Oh, okay.
In Japan. That's somebody who I like. I could say, I mean, I don't idolize people that much, not to say that in a cocky form, but like you should idolize yourself mostly. Like you should build
Yeah.
yourself up to be a badass.
But there's always role models and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
So I mean, I always looked up to Dai Yoshihara S14. He had a Zenki just like mine. And then I was like, dude, I want a setup when he had the 300 horsepower HKS setup. It was sick. It was a Zenki, looked sick. I was like, that's what I want. Like,
Yeah.
and then I looked up to, like I said, Jun Auto.
Yeah.
because they machine everything in house. They build their own parts. They're like literally like the all-in-one shop.
Yeah.
And they've been around, dude, like with the Supra, the Z32, dude. June's like the ultimate engine builder of
Yeah,
like
but their
JDM
cars were
motors.
like literally god tier again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I also look up a lot to like Smokey Nagata. I grew up watching all those videos,
Oh my
dude.
god, yes.
But he's more so like a tuner versus like Junichi, like rest in peace. He put the cars together and machines everything, makes his own rods, makes his own stroker kits, camshafts, dude.
Yeah.
Like I would love to visit June Auto Machine Shop because it's just an insane place. Like,
Dude, let's get a trip together, man. Let's do a Japan trip. We
Yeah.
never been, so
yeah. I've never been either. Like yeah, I would love to go.
yeah.
Machine shop and a junkyard, and I'll be happy.
Josh DeLee says he wants to go to the end of the year, so get that passport ready.
Oh boy, I got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. All right, well, get us out of here, Carl.
If you made it this far, thank you so much. JP, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thanks for coming here, man.
Thank you for
Sat
having me,
through
guys.
traffic today, and also you're gonna have to probably drive back. Well, at least now it'll be quiet.
Yeah,
It'll be
you have a
What
nice
time is it
peaceful.
now? Dude, it's 10. Oh my god. I can't believe I've been here. I left at like 3 o'clock.
Hey, it's been a long day.
You
Yeah.
just did a flight. You just did an international flight. Just
Dude, I know. It's been a crazy day. I don't know,
Yeah.
off work. I put the clutch pedal on the S14, so I was like, no, I got something done today. I'm feeling good.
Yeah,
Let's go early.
loaded 2 SRs in the Audi, so.
Yeah, now I'm just
but-
kind of worried to see where I'm gonna put those because I have like no room. But I'm gonna talk to
Well,
my
good
brother
luck.
into making some money. Yeah.
But thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your stories and stuff. And I'm sure everybody loved. There was a decent amount of people in here.
There was 42 people in the live chat.
Yeah.
Jesus
50?
Christ.
There was the most people that's ever been in the live chat.
Wow.
So-
dude, that makes me feel incredible.
Do you have
that's-
anything you want to say to anybody listening?
Like I said, well, number one, I got invited to a couple podcasts, so I'm just gonna say it. Frankie put a gun to my head, so I had to come here and do this one first. And I'm also here to pick up parts, so like, but like,
So there's some other podcasts out there asking for you.
yeah. I mean, I just work
ma-
so much, and
You'll
like,
make it eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you guys have been here with me since the start and stuff, so like, and I'm coming here to pick up parts, so like, this all worked out great.
Yeah, for
Aside
sure.
from the traffic.
Thank you, man. I do appreciate you coming out here. So
Yeah, absolutely.
maybe next one we'll maybe the next one we'll have it in a machine shop. You know?
Yeah,
You never know.
Little
I thought
tour.
about that too. I thought that'd be cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
we could do that. We could do it with Travis. Like, I'm sure
Yeah.
Travis we could be in here.
We're
too.
down.
Let's
Whatever.
do it.
Yeah.
Go up there and try the taco truck.
Yeah, and we'll tell you the
Yeah.
truck.
Yes, sir. But thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure to check us out on Instagram at Faction Motorsports, as well as YouTube Faction Motorsports as
And
well.
where can they check you out?
At JPS14.
At JP
underscore.
S14, right? Yeah.
Mm.
Hey, it's been the same the whole time.
And
man.
stay tuned on there.
Yeah.
JP's obviously going to be making moves soon, and he clearly makes moves. So
Yeah.
And I'll be
Thank-
running into car alarms and whatever else I run into in my daily life. so.
Yeah. Yeah. The daily life story videos are the best. So, all right, let's go see if anyone's open so we can eat.
bro, I'm going home. I think
That's fine. I'm going to Juicy Platters.
it's late, but thank you guys so much for listening. That's a wrap.